One thing I've learned, everything looks better on the big screen.
Come on.
Good Lord. What did these teams eat for breakfast this morning? Because it clearly worked out. Both games on both streams going into multiple overtimes, and both times it was the team that would be slated as the underdog picking up the victory. Renegades beats Cloud9 over on the B stream in map number 1, and I think a 17-15 affair. And then we have T1 beating Sentinels over here as well, due to some heroic work from both Brax and at times Skadoodle as well. Shift. What on earth is happening? I feel like things have turned upside down. We're in the upside down. We're in topsy-turvy land.
Yeah, season 4 of Stranger Things hitting a little bit earlier right now. For me, it's one of those things that there is a diligent plan in place here for T1 as far as the pace and tempo they want to play at. And there have been some criticisms. There have been opinions that have been all over the place as far as, is it good? Is it bad? Is it boring? Is it exciting? I don't care what you label it as. It works, but there are moments where I think there need to be considerations as far as how you play around the speed. We saw a number of different moments that, yes, this strategy works out very well when all of the pieces of their utility work in tandem with their execution. There are other times, though, that maybe there aren't enough considerations for, hey, we haven't scouted out this paint shells or this boom bot, or hey, they still have a showstopper or a Hunter's Fury that we need to try to bait out before we make those diligent calls. And overall, I will say that as we saw this T1 team try to play this out last week during Luminosity, I was very critical of the fact that this is too one-dimensional, this is too predictable, but they kept Sentinels off their game for the better part of the first half of this entire matchup. And that's great news. When you can take a team that I think a lot of people would argue is the most adaptable squad in North American Valorant based on what we've seen and keep them down that long, this clearly does have some moments where it's very successful.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot to unpack here for sure. I mean, I'm looking at this particular map so far, and the first thing I'll say is that 7-0 start is really impactful here. I noted that was going to be probably something that we have to address back again. The fact that T1 goes 7-0 up,
please,
really
Omen,
interesting
please.
stat brought up in the middle of the cast
Shoot
as well.
once.
The fact that in the first 6 rounds, there were only 6 kills across the board for all of Sentinels, 2 of which came in the opening pistol. The next 3 rounds between 2, 3, and 4, only 1 kill total came out of Sentinels. So the early game here, the early few rounds stretching between 1 and 7 were really, really upsetting for the side of Sentinels. I'm not a big fan of their composition either. Seems really outdated. They're still forcing the Brimstone into play. You have a player making, some role swaps happening as well. I know, look, Shazam has played Sova in the past, but Sinatra's really made a bit more of a name for himself on the Sova more recently. And they're kind of just playing stuff that you look at the comp and you just think it's a little bit awkward. Brimstone definitely doesn't bring the value that the Omen brings to the table these days. Spider might have bottom frag for his team, but I think you can't deny that his impact in terms of utility and team play and support play was definitely there for T1's success. And then T1 has all had some really shaky moments. I know there's been a lot of criticism. I do apologize for the T1 fans if it sounds a little bit aggressive, but at the same time, I mean, look, I want the best for T1 as well. I want to see this team be able to improve and do better, and I don't think that's going to happen if they keep planting within like 5 seconds to go.
What's up, Kuya?
Yeah, they're
you are
playing
first.
that
Enjoy
very
your
slow
points,
and
bro.
methodical, traditional CS style of attack, which does kind of get concerning depending on the map. I will say this: there's a caveat to the Brim play, right? Like, if you're going to pick Brim on any map, it's this map.
Absolutely.
He's set up a little bit better for this map with both his long-range mollies to deny the defuse and as well as his ult. So to a certain extent, it's okay, but I do agree. I think that Omen has surpassed Brim as far as viability and competitive play. I feel like the flexibility is there, but I understand why they continue to go back to it to a certain degree. That
Kuya,
said,
enjoy your points.
if you're a T1 fan, you're both excited, elated, as you are disappointed in that first half. Because you're like, oh man, we got off to such a great start, and then like we kind of fell flat. Like that got really scary there for a bit. It was like, are they really going to let them come back? I think it was, you said it was 7-0. I think it was 11-8 at one point. That's a massive turn, and that should not ever happen. So while T1 has some major takeaways that they can look at and they can say, oh yeah, we did really well in that first half, there's also some
Don't
major
bring the
takeaways for
foul
T1 where
language
they
in
can say,
here.
hey, we almost lost this game, and it was because we started to fall apart a little bit. Shift, what happened there?
Yeah, I wouldn't count your chickens before they hatch, because we're going to see this same
Definitely don't
playstyle
count the
come
chickens
through
before
for
they hatch.
Haven. So even though I'm going to have an explicit answer to that question, I think we can translate our conversation from Bind to Haven. When they played Gen G, they were still able to find 8 offensive rounds. That's great news. So if it works for you, you keep going with it. It's just one of those things that it feels a bit weird to kind of see that be the set strategy, even when it might not necessarily be working in practice as we had there. So it'll be interesting. Again, when we take a look at the stat line specifically here, Avril, when it comes to Haven overall, this is a map that has been much more well rehearsed in just this First Strike series by Sentinels. They have not lost it yet, but one of those wins did come versus Dignitas in a 14-12 fashion, so it has not been nearly as convincing as you might hope. As T1 starts off on defense, you're going to see them playing, once again, this breach, which is another point of conversation instead of the double duelist that you're going to see from Sentinels.
And that's really a T1 style of thing right now, as they like to put AZK on the breach pretty much permanently on all the maps so far. So he'll only be playing the breach, and why not? Breach is fairly popular in the meta. If you actually look outside of NA, in towards Asia, in towards Europe, the breach pick rates are super high. It's only NA where the breach pick rates are fairly low. Most teams like to run double duelists instead of one duelist plus a breach. You are also going to see both of the Jets come through now.
See ya later, clown. What are you talking about, Smoke?
Both of these players between Shazam and Skadoodle had some mechanical mishaps on the Rays. Hopefully won't be seeing any of that on the Jet.
Kuya redeemed mod for a day. I got you, Kuya.
So I'm just going to look to execute here with Dirt Covers coming out. Dapper with him over towards the A short area, and T1 will back away as they were initially considering jumping in to stop the plan from coming through, but Daze from the top rope. He's able to find 1 kill. That's going to be very valuable, because now T1 are going to have to try to find a way to navigate the retake on a 5v3 situation. And it just comes down to trying to overwhelm and play for trades here, you feel like, at a certain point. Dapper tries to find a cheeky pick, but will be denied the opportunity. Zoms up top will take down Skadoodle. Dapper's able to find an opportunity for a second, so T1, now it's a 2v3. Zoms, if you can find one more, would be great, and he is able to do it, and Shazam from hell for
Oh my gosh, the 3v5, they clutched it out.
3v5 post-plant situation for the pistol.
No
that
way,
was
Renegade
really
69.
shaky. The Sentinels do it anyway. Zoms, if he doesn't get that first kill on the player over towards Heaven, I think Dapper just dies straight away. Dapper dies anyway, but not before getting a trade first. This is how Sentinels will eke out small advantages. Because you look at Dapper's situation, he's somewhat in the open there. He's obviously tucked into the cutout, into the corner. But at the same time, he's been paranoid, he's been flashed out. One player dropping out of Heaven will instantly see him, will probably frag him as well, because Dapper can't respond.
Let's see this.
So Zom saving Dapper's life, allowing Dapper to get a trade, and the rest of the Sentinels down to 3 alive.
Ooh, that's Sova Dart.
Allows them to rescue that round from a 3-5 deficit.
Got him.
Big defensive hold there. On the post plan, I should say.
Look at this defensive play.
Hold,
Jet
you want to call it.
Jet pushed up, Sova covered.
Now Sentinels with the weapon advantage. Where do you want to go? T1 is going to take a gamble stack over towards C,
Jet.
as you already see.
They're all gambling C
Skadoodle
because
has
Jet has
very
gotten
far
so
forward
much
defensively
intel.
through A main, which will mean that Dazed will also be just watching over towards B by himself. This is the correct stack,
Dude,
the correct
T1.
gamble, but Sentinels have not committed yet. And that means that Skadoodle has to be very careful in the timing of this push through, as now the recon bolt comes out, but even still, Sentinel's not pushing as of yet. The hit through Garage also on the way. Spider, Paranoia, going to be tossed out. Maybe an opportunity for one, but Sinatra
Oh, Dapper.
and Dapper behind him will not just take out two, he'll find a triple.
The split
and that'll
push
be an
through
easy plan for
Garage
Sentinels
gets
looking
him.
for a flawless second round.
Yeah, T1 just don't have the equipment here. I mean, they play all the utility correct. Probably swinging a little bit too early there for Spider. He flashes on through. Before the Paranoia hits effectively, he's already swung out, which allows Sentinels to get that trade nice and early. And
That
the
one.
counter
Big
flash
boy
already
Josh,
was
what's
sent out by
poppin'? What's up,
Zombs at the
B?
other end of things. Skadoodle might be able to get one kill, but
Yeah,
the answer
whoa,
is, I
everyone
think, no,
relax.
it's just
Everyone
everything
relax.
that
He
went up for
chose to
a
leave,
flawless
guys. He
round for
chose to
Sentinel's side.
leave.
And yeah, I mean, the equipment
He
value there
chose
just
to leave.
up and alive for Sentinels, and T1 can only do so much of business.
Is that the tactical bear up there?
Sentinel's offensive pressure.
I didn't know
on
the
Haven
tactical bear is up
one
in
of
the Haven.
Best in North American Valorant. The tune
Rooftop?
of 70% attack win rate on Haven specifically is
My day
alarming,
is going
I
good.
think, if
About
you're
to
a
go
T1
for a
fan.
jog here in about
Alright,
2
let's
hours.
hand
So
it
I
right
got.
there.
I was like, might as well just do a quick
Yeah,
2-hour
learned.
stream.
Thank you, Mr. J Pistachio, for the flyby. But now as we jump into this third round, again, this is the one that T1 will hopefully be able to find some favor. But considering how convincing the first two rounds have been, at least in some stretch for Sentinels, they still will be a little bit weakened on what armor they're able to bring to the table here in this gun round.
T1 were pretty decent on the A side defense. They got a couple of nice frags over towards this side of things via Skadoodle for at least one. And Skadoodle now posts up in a situation where he should be able to see the push coming through from the sewers side of things, and the Molotov will confirm that information as well. Here's the hot hands. Don't hear how many people there are. Haven't had a rotation just yet. You do have Dazed back in
Rally's
Skadoodle
mad.
up
Who's
as
Rally?
now Brax is making his way over.
Brax making his way onto the site, not going to try to play this from heaven, maybe reconsidering as he's still lingering over towards the link. Skadoodle's got a big role to fill here. He will be individually responsible for anything to come through short, while the rest of the defensive members for Team 1 will have to try to respond to the players coming through main. Brax is to find one. Now it's down to Skadoodle. He finds one kill, able to tail it away, but not going to get the kills. Dapper will find another double.
The
And that's
trades are
really
just,
to
it's
a
just
spike
like a
flank here
chessboard.
as the
Trade,
entirety of
and
the
now it's
spike will be
3v2.
cleared off, and now Sentinels, they'll have a 3v2 with a couple of weapon upgrades in front of them as well.
Ooh. Nil theft in play, confirms no one on the big flank there, and this is all Dapper. Gets the opening frag, goes deep on sight. Skadoodle dashes straight into the waiting arms of Dapper as well for a double. He will be able to get an ultimate, will be able to play the ultimate, gets the Phantom upgrade, and Sentinels are on their way now. AZK and Spider.
Josh
with a
never.
potential retake.
That's a clown Josh moment.
There's the first kill onto Subs. Now a 2v2 situation. Spider goes down. 1 versus 2. AZK can't land any shots. And Sentinels will take another post plant and round number 3. Free gun upgrades. And T1 will go for an eco.
That's a bold call, I think, at a certain point for T1, who are going to, like you mentioned, have to eco. But the fact that you're
Rally's
going
cranks,
for a
he got
2v3 where you don't have a lot of great utility to try to retake, you offer the opportunity to forfeit over your weapons to Sentinels as well. So not only is it
guys,
3-0,
guys, relax.
but now
This
the
is about the
economy for Sentinels
esports
can
game.
really start to snowball.
Not about
We won't see
GB88
an
drama.
operator in this
No
round
GB88
offensively for
drama in here.
Sentinels, but the consideration will absolutely be there in ones following, depending on how this fourth round goes.
Yeah, I guess to throw them a bone here, the best agents to go for the retake would have been between Breach Server and the Omen, and they had 2 out of the 3 of those, so I guess the opportunity could have been there. They did get 1 kill. They did also give over guns. The bigger consideration would have been not that you're going up against the bonus round of Sentinels anymore, but because they killed so many over on A already, the guns have been upgraded, so Team 1 were walking into a bit of a death trap, and well, now the death trap continues as the jaw closes further. Should be a 4-0 pending any major mistakes from Sentinels, but they have 5 rifles, full armor, full utility versus 5 pistols on T1.
Brax trying to avoid the curveball by going to the dark cover, but Sick is there waiting for him, so that'll be first blood. Sentinels not committing to one direction or the other as of yet. And for T1, they were looking to more heavily stack towards C, but with this pick from Sick, they have to try to back away. Skadoodle's going to go into the Blade Storm. Sick getting a lot of damage dealt, but here comes the challenge, and Skadoodle will free up the opportunity for a weapon, and he will just pick it up. Does he keep it for himself, or does he drop it for a teammate while he's got the Blade Storm in play? While all that is being considered, Sentinels will try to make a play over towards A, and as you just mentioned, the weapon did get dropped over to a squad mate, so T1 are definitely in fighting condition to at least some extent here in the 4v4.
So they took
Dude,
the
Omen's
two
gonna be
guns
so
now. That's a
late on the
refresh on the
side for
knives with
T1.
Skadoodle as well. Days with the rifle, 38 HP.
They're all waiting for Omen. Oh gosh,
Spider.
Omen.
Spider's a bit too far away. And I mean, the other consideration would just be to save the one rifle. Everyone that doesn't
They gotta
have
go
a
fast
gun will
now.
go for the retake. Skadoodle's
Flash is
already
ready.
thinking about it.
Flash
He's
is
already
hell.
getting deep. Spider now.
Jet jumped
Paranoid
out,
ends.
misses.
Skadoodle jump and misses.
Traded.
The right click, and you can't have that. As T1 down to 2 members, Days will get this
Cool.
gun out of dodge.
Holy
As
moly.
AZK makes a last-ditch attempt, and that's all it will end up being. No kills and nothing left for this round. Days still has to make it out alive, by the way, as he's being chased down.
And there could be point of contact here on this exit, as Dazed will have an opportunity, but Dapper will find the kill. But you have to have that kill right there from Skadoodle. He probably doesn't find a second one, but if he can open up hell, there's an opportunity for the rest of his teammates to start to flood on in and get at least some sort of a read on where the rest
like
of the
the
Sentinels
play
members are setting up for their post plant.
to try to open up hell
unfortunately, I think
right
he only
there.
catches 2 of what needed to be 3 knives there on the fall down. A little unfortunate for him, but a flawless start here for Sentinels. They'll be 4-0 up. But coming off the eco, Skadoodle will bring the first operator to the table defensively for T1.
They're running a default.
Skadoodle leading the charge now.
It's interesting. They're going 2A and Cypher
Impactful members.
basically
Shot
just
must
trips
be
B,
required
so they don't have to worry about B
Shazam
too
will
much.
be able to get a free operator if he wants to. T1
Oh, they're
has
just
to
gonna
rush
fast
over
execute
towards
here.
Right now. Dazed has to get a couple of trades. We'll get the spike on the floor. Can't secure the second kill. And T1 have to think about retaking with 2. And emphasis on the thinking part, because they also have to think about whether they can retake with 2.
This is an expensive buy round here for T1 with the operator in play. I just don't think you go for it, and it looks like they were going to agree with us by backing away. Taking a look as far as was that operator picked up, not as of yet, but you can see Shazam is in the area where maybe he tries to grab that if they so choose to use it into the next round. We'll see. Again, even beyond that, not only are the weapons great, but you've got an opportunity for a ton of ultimates for Sentinels into the next round. But at least Spider is able to find 1 kill over
Who's
towards
Spider?
C. And Sentinels who are hunting to take these weapons away might have to consider also just giving it up.
Yeah, they're going to handshake this one away. Camera ping onto Zoms as well, just to push him off. And Sentinels want to keep at least 3 alive here. We're still in early-ish rounds. I mean, this is 5 rounds so far, which, by the way, it's 5 rounds in a row. But 5 rounds nonetheless.
5 rounds in a row.
Building up as much economy as possible, and you can afford to maybe give 1 gun away via Dapper, and that's about it for now. As Sentinels looking very strong. 3 ultimates in play if they want to go towards it. T1 have 2. Have a couple of hero rifles here. Should be able to drop at least 1. See, Brax is on 3.4, but then again, it is Cypher that has to repurchase a lot of util. I don't think they lost armor, though, so it should be okay for, I think, 3 guns this round might be appropriate. There it is.
Oh, boy. Need to find a way to get things going
Storm,
defensively for T1 at some point, but this does not
Wins
feel like
practice.
it's going to be the round for
let me
them.
post the...
Hunter's Fury and the Rolling Thunder could be considered for T1, but again, it's just one of those things that if you're Sentinels, you still have so many tools available to you to not only counter those plays, but maybe to over-exceed them as well. And you're going to see maybe a potential as Zoms and Sick are getting aggressive through C long. The spike is coming this direction as well. The only player that's here defensively is going to be Spider, and if this isn't execute, he's going to be pretty hard-pressed to hold on. The only good news is that AZK is nearby, and he could throw an early Rolling Thunder into the mix. You're going to get Hunter's Fury, and you're going to get to run it back early. Spider's going to be flashed out, not able to take down the first instance of Sick, and he's going to be able to find a kill with this. Now the illusion of the Phoenix will be taken care of, but the trade is still there, and Sentinels are going to be on this site, and at this point for T1, this is a round that you're going to, again, have to just try to find a way to force some repurchases because you've got no chance of this
5,700
retake.
points. Oh,
They got 1
holy
gun
moly,
alive right
how
now
terrible.
via Brax, but Brax is the one playing most passively. He knows that this situation is probably a little bit too dire for him to go in, so the 2 players that can go into the pistols will try and do so. Skadoodle has been tagged by the L drone and will go down very quickly. Sick now on for the chase. Not going to want Brax to get away with the gun this time around. There is still a lurker in the form of Dazed over on the Garrett side of things, so
I did not say that,
possible
Piggy.
timing here to sneak away 1 more weapon will be contact made, and that's the kill required. However, Shazam on the other end gets the kill. Brax for 1 into Sinatra, and Brax not out of the fire just yet. Still 1 more player coming his way as Sick wants to challenge.
Ooh, nice wide peek there for Brax. I didn't think he caught any information off the spy cam, but he sure challenged like he did. And maybe even considering taking a third engagement, but again, trying to value this weapon as much as humanly possible. So 6 straight for Sentinels. Only having to use the Hunter's Fury to run it back to confirm round number 6. You still have the ability to see information from the shadows, which Zoms has been pretty free to do in the last couple of games that we've seen Sentinels try to play for him. So we'll see if he tries to use that here once more. On the opposite side, really slow start for both Spider and AZK, just 1-5 and 2-6 respectively, as no one's even holding an even stat line KD-wise yet for T1. Skadoodle's going to try to get aggressive with the Operator once more. He was punished for this place before.
Josh, you're really going to need to
And
enforce
this time
rules.
It's going to be
What kind of
Daze
rules,
who finds a
Biggie?
kill defensively early
Is
on the
anyone
Dapper. That'll
not
lead
paying
to a
attention to
nice
PG
opportunity
stream?
here for T1 to try to find their first defensive round.
Now this is what, T1's second maybe gun round, an actual gun round where they're not working with hero rifles like they were last time. So this is one that really counts, and I mean the spike's already planted. It's a free B plant. We've seen what happens, by the way, when a team like Sentinels on the attack here get to stroll onto B for free and get most of their players out alive. They will lose one, but the important ones are still there between Sick, the Phoenix player, Sinatra the Sober as well.
What are
A
you
lot of
doing,
utility in
Sick?
play, but they're
Jump
going quite
peeking that?
aggressive in Garage. I think this is a little unnecessary, and T1 have a great opportunity now.
This does provide the conversation that Sentinels could potentially be looking to flank with the C Garage completely vulnerable, but as Daze pushes through, he's going to find one kill. Spider's just going to hold this, and as Daze finds a third, the defuse will be there. So you have to admire, I think, for Sentinels, you're in a 4v5, you read the best position possible for you for play is over towards B, but you were trying to frame at the point that Sick trying to play through C Garage may be a bit unnecessary. I mean, you would feel like you would want the Phoenix utility just to try to hold off the defusal, and
Sure.
without it, Sentinels don't have a realistic chance to stop the diffuser ever coming through.
Well, I'm going to be honest here. To look at it the other way around, to kind of throw a bone over, I would say that Sentinels know they were one down, so they're trying
Guys,
to
what about the
maybe
game,
get one
guys?
over
What about the
T1 and try
game?
and bring it back to a 4v4 by catching a player out in Garage, because you do expect the T1 will try to retake through Garage in towards Grass as well, so I want to force the issue. Speaking of forcing the issue, Skadoodle looking to hit one shot. We're given the Blaze as well. Probably has to dash away. Does so, and they now need to call for some reinforcements. Aldrome from Sinatra will see that there's only 2 players here for now. And this is going to be AZK trying to get his ass over as quickly as possible.
Yeah, the Aldrone sees Skadoodle on top of the double box. It's down to Daze. What can he do?
Oh my
He's only able
gosh,
to find one.
Sick.
This will
Wait,
find
Sick
himself
doesn't
double,
play
and with that,
a Sentinel
the spike
anymore?
in hand, he will drop this for a plant.
What?
And
What?
for T1, this round has gone completely wrong for them. Another round where the Operator finds no value whatsoever, and Sentinel's very quick to identify the
Jesus
threat, and
Christ.
beyond that, identify the reposition
What?
and absolutely punish as they're going to find their 7th round.
You need more out of Skadoodle right now. I think the 3 and 6 is not really ideal. It's not just that, it's the Operator kills. One op kill would have been really good, would have made the numbers that much more workable. I think the Aldrine coming through from Sinatra, spotting where then Skadoodle was playing on top of the box as well, just pushes him off a second line, so he can't even hold sewers after that. And T1, I mean, how many saves have they had to do on this defense so far? It just seems like every other round ends up having to be a save. And thankfully for them, we are playing on the previous patch where they're not being punished fully for these just yet. Still getting full value into the money. Dapper isn't going to be able to find anybody at the end of the round, so it is going to be T1 walking away with 2 rifles. But it's not 7 in a row, Shift, but it feels like it might as well be. It's definitely 6 in a row. It's 7 and 1, and we've seen a 7 and 1 before. It was the other way around in
Nice
mine, when
save.
T1
Great
got the 7.
gameplay.
But remember, everyone, after that, Sentinel's got 9 in a row, so they're still kind of, back into that form right now as we head into the next gun round, and thankfully for T1, it is a gun round. Skadoodle will have the Operator again and has another opportunity to maybe make some impact happen.
To be fair, again, we've only seen T1 play this map one time. Their defense was not all that sound when they played up against Gen G. Their offense was what looked more convincing than anything else, but still, this is not good news going into a potential half where you might only have a couple of rounds. This time, the run it back going to be used again.
Dude, the
early,
dart,
not going to find any
it's
value.
too good.
And Dapper will see information off the recon boat that there is a player stuck in the bottom left corner. Paranoia is going to come through and actually find so much value, and Spider's able to find a kill. AZK another, and what was looking to be an isolated pick over towards Spider comes through. Maybe
I mean, a
way
little
too
late on the side
Shazam
take,
trying to
but-
play off of the Bladestorm. Will find one, but Brex, you think, has done enough as he is able to trade out his life for 2 full kills, and Dapper is going to be stuck in a 1v2 situation. He grabs the spike.
Oh,
Operator shot
Just
will
plants
miss,
in the open.
and
Dapper's just
gonna
like,
be
he's
allowed
not
to plant
pushing
this. This is still doable.
he is going to get pinched, though. I mean, you look at the positioning coming
Push
through.
Garage.
As Daze makes his way over to the C-Long, the position is revealed.
He's a
Dapper
genius, guys.
does at least get the information from the
10
trap
point
wire,
chest?
and
What,
Dapper's going to try and
dude?
force the issue for a 1v1. He knows he needs an isolation.
Oh,
Skadoodle watching it, and
Skadoodle.
Skadoodle will confirm the kill. Finally, we are going to see the operator come into effect, and I think props to Spider there. Despite Spider being at the bottom of the table right now for T1 and, you know, still dying on site, a big problem for T1 so far is the lack of the ability to get trades as a hit comes through. The execute from Sentinels arrives, and T1 just kind of flop over. They don't get enough trades, they don't get enough kills for the anchors on site.
Oh,
And
you're right,
finally,
you're
we
right.
get
Since
to
this
see
is a
little
short
bit of what we
stream,
saw
since
on
this is a
Bind,
short stream, we
where
should
Spider
up the
throws out
chest, right? The
Paranoia.
chest should be
AZK
popping off
and
right now.
Brax are there to utilize it and capitalize on that and get a couple of kills as well. And that's how T1 can make the trades happen to make sure they don't just get run over on site. As we head over to the next round, we are going to see the double operator, and this is very important for a map like Haven. Double op is very good. Don't see it as often now in the current meta because of how expensive the gun is. But we do know that Spider is a very good operator player himself.
Double
Again, you
op,
mentioned this guy's
baby.
capabilities coming through from his previous game. He is known to be a sniper main, and now we get to see that in
Dude,
action.
they're fighting hard A every
Shazam
time.
for his second round offensively when it comes to bringing out the scope. We'll try to free up some space over towards A, which has been where Skadoodle largely has taken his operator. This time it'll be different. He'll be actually playing over the mid towards B. Spider still holding his traditional spike side of C. Will have a little bit of help from Brax, who's nearby. And Skadoodle almost is able to catch a little bit of information onto Dapper, who will just barely back away before peeking. And now Sentinels, as they make a play over towards A short.
There's no
Daze
intel. They
has
have no
to find
idea
at
where they're
least
going.
one. Two would be incredible.
The
He's going
attack
to find
comes
nothing.
right
though.
on the ult.
And now as
He
the Hunter's
swings
Fury
in.
is going to be used offensively, trying to clear out some space on top of the
Flash
site
misses
itself.
the jet.
This will be a take, but Skadoodle, he'll deny the first. Opportunity maybe for a second. Cyber Cage going to come through. AZK on the site with him. There's one kill and a second. That's beautiful for AZK. Skadoodle, he's going to have a little bit of help from Braxton. That little bit of help is more than necessary as he will find the final kill, and T1 will find their third round
Wow,
defensively.
T1.
And a bit of deja vu here as well. We look towards the 3-7 scoreline. 2 more rounds remaining. The possibility for T1 to pick up 2 more and make it a 5-7. And that would mirror our first half of Bind as well. Again, after one of the two teams gets a
Do you know who
very
Alice
large spree of rounds in a
Red
row.
Lips is?
I'm not going to say that Sentinels have
No,
slowed
who's
down
that?
just yet because they still
Is
have
she like on
money to
Cloud9
play with.
White or
If they
something?
don't win this round, the next buy might be a little bit more awkward. T1 still have 2 operations.
Why your
to
head
play.
look
They
like
still have plenty of money
Singularity
to work
Phantom?
with, and this is their best chance now to get 2 more on the board before we go to the second half.
It's
Early
supposed to
Hunter's
match
Fury
my
coming through.
Thanksgiving
Shazam
theme.
actually is trying to updraft away from it, but Daze locks him down.
Deploying drone.
And the ambitious call pans out in a major
Oh
way
my
for
gosh, they know
T1.
where
Trying
Spider
to get
is.
the 5 rounds defensively before the half swap to be great for them. Brax trying to spam. Not going to find any connections initially through the dark cover, and Spider will soak up the better part of a shock dart. Good value coming through for both of our Sova players early. And Sentinels, who are still stacked towards C long, have a lot of time to consider if they actually want to hit this. Spider might
Bet
actually
100 on
force them away
T1, Piggy,
as he
I
gets
got
the
you.
operator to sing a tune here. And with that, he will be revealed by the recon bolt, holding the paranoia, now reconsidering. And him and Brax are not out of the woods yet. There are still a hit coming through. Dapper has literally wiggled his way
Everyone
forward. He's gonna
relax.
catch one
Everyone
for free.
relax.
Knows that Dapper's nearby. Ready to
GB88 's
Brax
not
is
for everyone,
nearby. He'll
guys.
find
It's
the
not for
second
everyone.
Kill, and Sentinels, with their
It's a
gut check
3v3.
call to hold towards C long, will pan out as they get the spike planted.
T1 gets spooked out by the recon bolt there. I mean, you see what happens is Brax puts up a cage to try and save Spider because they feel like Spider's going to get rushed. He gets a paranoia out as well. Still has a paranoia out. And Dapper slowly crawls his way in, gets the kill. Zoms TP's
my
into the
God.
aftershock there. So AZK is awarded a freebie.
Oh,
Thunder
right
so
on the
available, they
dart.
wanna
Jet
go for it,
dash
but they're just
it.
going to go and drive right now. Skadoodle down early. AZK
But
as well.
Sinatra
And now
just
just down to 1. Now
read
they
that
wish
play.
they actually put in the Hunter's Fury, or rather,
Dang.
the Rolling Thunder. As Daze did put in the Hunter's Fury early on to get the 1 kill, and that's kind of what hurts about this situation because T1 had an early advantage. They had their best chance to get 1 more round to make it a 5-7 half, and now the best they can do is a 4-8.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that Spider, he often has been a menace when it comes to defensively solo holding over towards C. He's only found 3 kills, and the choice there to hold onto the paranoia a touch longer, maybe it's a call from Brax saying,
The
hey, we
thing
don't
that makes
need it yet,
me
we're
good
okay.
at Valorant worked
Actually,
against me
cost him
earlier.
his life, and in turn, cost them the
Sorry
C
for the
site as
loss.
Brax also gets spammed through the cyber cage. Good awareness from Dapper overall, and then Sinatra was able to clean things up with a double.
You took it, right?
Make sure that Team 1 can never fully
I
establish
have your
themselves
one
on the
bet thank you
site.
for 100.
So now Sentinels looking for more favor over towards C. Recon Bolt again, finding a lot of information, a lot of value. Sick with the run it back, able to find 1 kill. He'll eventually be dealt with, but again, the opening pick is great for
Yeah, I got
Sentinels
you,
as
I
they're
got you.
once again freely onto
I
the
got
C
you,
site.
Piggy.
That's another unresponded site take as well. I mean, we've seen some response from T1 where there have been good defenses, where they get some trades, but this is not one of them. This is one of those early rounds within the first 6 that we see, which is why there was a 6-0 where T1 kind of just fall over on site. The Rolling Thunder now is going to get played, but look how far away T1 are. They can barely even take advantage of this. In fact, they're not going to get a single kill off the Rolling Thunder itself.
The spike is planted pretty deep, though. You'll be hard-pressed to get a hot hands this direction. As Skadoodle finds one kill, the Cloudburst will come through. Just a bit errant on a second shot, but AZK will punish for a kill.
Dude,
Last one coming out.
they're
AZK
roasting
will
them
find
too
another,
long.
No problem there, and yeah, this is a little bit too hard, I would say, for Sentinels overall. Although,
hang on.
The line down, not 1, not 2, but 3. Long range
Skadoodle
shots, Skadoodle
destroys
turns just in
him.
time. Halfway diffused, now fully diffused. But goodness, Zom's Nation almost woke up in a big way there for a near clutch from Sentinels. We'll still see T1 be able to find 4 rounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, y'all,
I can't believe
everyone
I saw that coming
relax,
from Zoms. That was
relax.
nearly the sickest clutch, maybe of the entire tournament. Through the smoke, just gets everybody down. That looked like a guaranteed win for T1. Ends up being a win for T1. 4 and 8 half here as we close it out for the opening. Let's take a look at the instant replay provided by GoPuff here. As you know, again, it is a 6-0 start as we start seeing the first round.
I see your
T1
second
come
bet.
through on, and they start getting a little bit of momentum. But you know, this is that particular round as well. We're not really seeing Skadoodle doing too much with the operator.
Or the Blade
Sick has
Storm.
been pretty phenomenal on the Phoenix as well. Every time he uses the run it back, it does feel like he gets some decent value, especially on the B. We saw that previous round where Spider kind of just falls over to it. T1 now on the offense, 4 to 8, have a little bit of catch up to do.
Span shops coming through over towards A long. Looks like just about everybody will survive through this without too much damage being found. Shazam down to 22 HP actually forced a Tailwind back onto site. Bit puzzling to see what exactly happened right there, but again, T1, we know it, we've talked about it. They're going to be waiting for a while before they execute. The spike is still over towards B window, and Sentinels very appropriately are splitting 2-1-2 across the map defensively from C to A.
Just keeping some sights over towards B side of things as well. And T1 are gonna
Very
just
patient
take
with their
time.
pistol
As
round
soon
here.
as one piece of information comes through, the Owl drone into sewers. Sentinels are like, okay, might be A. They're starting to throw utility. Look at this. All the smoke's coming on through. That's actually a lot of information. The fact that Spider also throws in a bit of util in terms of the smoke, that's pulling Sentinels
They know
all the way
it's C
over.
now.
Now Zoms is calling for the rotation back. He sees everybody coming up C.
He's going to save the paranoia for the retake as well. This is actually a really brilliant play. A lot of the time you'll see Omens
30
throw that
seconds
down the
left.
hallway. He's going to have the resistance and the resiliency to hold on to this.
They're
to
playing
make sure
100%
teammates can come
retake.
through. Keep your eye on Dapper. Long flank coming through as Sick and Spider will find a couple of trades. Now on the backside
Oh.
flank, Team 1 going to clean things up. It's just down to Zoms, who did spend the paranoia for that potential retake, but it obviously did not find nearly as much value as Sentinels were hoping for. Zoms' position will be made aware,
Oh,
and
Zoms
he can't
didn't
quite
hit
win the
shots
gunfight
there.
versus AZK. Pistol will go to T1.
That's one of the cleaner takes that we've seen from T1 as well, where, I mean, they're baiting a lot of util over towards the A side of things. Sentinels react to it, an instant reaction in some cases where the initial Owl drone comes through sewers. Instantly,
Yo,
you see Sick
everyone
moving towards A
relax,
as well.
relax,
and then T1 start
guys.
making their way slowly towards C. The hit comes through Zoms. He's not going to be able to stop it. Like I said, holds on to the paranoia as well, and the retake unsuccessful. So T1, pistol in their hands now. If you get that one round, they will most likely also get the anti-eat going. That will be important for their comeback journey as they'll try and close things down to only the gap of 2.
Sick, I would say, fortunate to back away. Looked like he wanted to move a little bit further forward. A shock dart would have chunked him pretty heavily. But he's still going to peek this, I believe. You hear the shots coming out, and there is the peek, and Sick will walk away with the kill. A bold engagement, but one that pans out massively for Sentinels. But Spider, coming over towards the site, has to respond to 2 different players, and he gets a little bit nervous about the gunfight coming through. Curveball will come out, and the trade will eventually be there, but it doesn't come at too much of a cost. We're in a 3v3. Dapper over towards A defensively has one in front, but the Bulldog of AZK is just a touch better. And with that, T1 will get a spike plant here at A.
Sentinels will get a couple of gun upgrades here, just minor ones in terms of the
T1
SMGs.
looks good on attack, dude.
We'll see if that's going to give them enough legs to really go for this retake. Here comes potential for a very early 1v1. Sinatra hasn't been spotted yet, but you can see that Skadoodle is thinking that somebody's here. Dashes away. Bursts into effect as well. And now let's see if Sinatra can make his way in.
You've got to go aggressive here if you're Sinatra. Everything hinges on him finding success in the back to allow Zoms to move forward, and with him being shut down, Zoms, are you going to play for a couple of exits? He's going to try to, but Skadoodle will awaken with the ghost this round. He's now 12 and 8.
Off, dude.
Topping his team at the moment, and he's been a lot of the reason why these opening pistols have looked so great for T1.
Scar's also, by the way, 1 away from the ultimate here as well now in the Blade Storm, so getting that one will be really nice. But look at this as well, because of the opening frags, we're going to be seeing a round 3 rush on the Operator, question mark. Does he go for that one? It is a bit of a sell. And doesn't look like he wants to just commit to it just yet, but what we do see on the other end is Sinatra on towards the Odin, so very typical Sinatra weapon for the Sova on the defense through the garage doors as well. The spam is going to come through.
There it is. Nobody nearby, though, to find any damage. Shazam is going to play aggressive. He deletes the trap wire. And now, all of a sudden, T1 are going to recognize there's a potential threat coming out of this A short side. AZK will punish. I don't know. It just feels a touch too telegraphed for my liking when it comes to dealing with the trap wire and then peeking. Dapper was trying to help, but there's really only so much that he could do. So an opening pick for T1 will allow them an opportunity for a 5v4.
That was a weird play by Shazam, right?
And now there's
like, no way
a bit of a weakness over towards the B side of things because you have to pull Sick over to cover Shazam's position. So 2 plays now guarding the gun. They do want to guard the gun. T1 will be very tempted to make the play. There will be the responding kill. Dapper will bring one back.
I cannot believe Dapper eventually traded that.
Spike is still not committed yet. T1 is still not committed
no
yet.
way Dapper traded
Spider
that,
on the other side of the map, trying to make a little bit of presence known versus Zoms. Will respond with a bit of a smoke. And now, as we approach the 30-second mark, T1 look like they're going to go to A.
Blade Storm is available if they so choose to use it. Might be a consideration, considering that it's only a Spectre here for Skadoodle, and there it is. Cyber Cage will also be spent. Skadoodle's going to work his way over. Going to read that there is a player up top. But as he works his way on, it's actually Brax just spamming through the dark cover, actually cleans up Dapper from heaven. So, huge opportunity. The spike goes down safely. Sentinels are nearby for a retake. The Aldron's going to be saved and now spent to try to read some information, and that's going to be very valuable, as you know now that there is a player below. Sinatra hoping for a pick. Not going to fully clean things up, but Spider will eventually fall to Sick. Now up top, Sinatra going to help out.
He's revealed.
Him and Sick again combined for another elimination. And now it's Dazed by himself, and inside this dark cover, he will reveal his position, has a recon bolt to play with. Gonna find some intel off of it.
Dude, Sinatra with that Odin is just like, does he only play Odin? Like, he's so good.
He does find the elimination, but it's the halfway. It's gonna be really close, and the defuse will be there for Sentinels on the retake.
1.0 seconds. T1 cut that one nice and close, but Sentinels will still get the defuse via the fact that they had a half in there already. Sinatra with the Odin coming up big as well over towards Heaven. You see T1 trying to retake from that angle in sewers. Sinatra shuts it down. The Odin gets a lot of spam damage in the floorboards and towards Hell. And Sentinels keep their guns alive off a really unfortunate start. I remember Shazam goes down right at the beginning there. That ends up being recovered with Sick joining Dapper to try and hold on to that positioning. The rest of Sentinels eventually go for the retake. Let's take a look at this now. Sick's going to go in very aggressive. Let's see if he gets another kill.
This should be some information. Yeah, the spam shot's already coming through. Sick is going to find nothing with that. The information is going to be pretty much, okay, good for you. But with the minute 20 left, T1 can reposition without any problem. No one pushed up behind this play as well, so not even map positioning taken away from Sentinels off that play. It was really just looking for an opening pick, and as that does not come through, now they're without any ultimates for their defense. Sinatra still holding on to the Odin, as you would come to expect. Skadoodle with the Operator will be trying to see if anyone will peek him through C Garage, and with 60 seconds, the defense will actually stack over towards A, as if to predict this is eventually going to be the hit.
And that's the lack of information coming through as well. I mean, we don't have Sinatra pulling out the Aldrin just yet. Going for any massive info plays. This is T1 now, putting their recon over towards Garage. That'll pull Sinatra over.
Omen here's
it's going to come down to Zoms. He needs to be the one to hold on for as
Zoms
long as possible.
is like,
finally,
he's
Sinatra
doomed right now.
He won't see anyone in Garage, and that's because everyone's in long right now.
This is a pretty elongated Aldrone, and it will at least catch information on one player over towards the middle of the map. Sinatra's going to try to take value off of this, and he does confirm a lot of damage, but the action's actually going over towards Zom's directions at C.
But they got the
He won't be able to find a kill, and with that, the spike will be planted. Still plenty of time for Sentinels to get here for a retake, but they're in a 4v5 situation. You don't have to run it back to get through. You do pick up Dazed, who's lurking mid-map, so now a 4v4 on the retake. Spider without a paranoia or a dark cover is trying to hold over towards the double box. Skadoodle going to be hard-pressed just to hold this scope as he's watching over towards C Garage. Misses the first shot. Now here comes the rest of the hit. Spider will find a couple. He's on 3 this round. Sick will be hit by the spam of the Spy Dart. He's now in a 1v2. Double curveballs come through. He's going to get information right onto one player over towards C Long. But he's going to have to find a third kill. Blazewall about to come through, but Brax will take him down from the garage alley.
T1 gets another
now
one.
On 7.
And Brax was unknown for quite a long time there. Picks up the operator in the last second to give it over to the teammate. So Skadoodle has another opportunity. And for Sentinels, kind of just got out-rotated there. A massive 4-stack over towards A. Sinatra eventually makes his way over towards B and Garage, but it's too late. I mean, at that point in time, you saw what T1 were doing. 4 upper C long, Zombs with 0 information. The Aldron goes in Garage, sees nobody. Eventually gets some eyes onto Dazed, who's kind of lurking in mid. Not quite reliable information, doesn't really tell you enough, doesn't prepare Zombs, and Zombs gets rushed down almost instantly as the Aldron comes in. So T1 get a free plant, round in there as well. And Sentinels now on the next defense. They don't really have much to work with. A couple of stingers.
This is interesting. Sinatra is going to try to play aggressively over towards A long. He's used his recon bolt, and now he's also used his Aldrone. And AZK nearly gets the kill, but actually takes more damage than he was able to send out. And now all of a sudden, Sentinels are looking to stay aggressive. Spider is holding this angle, and he's going to see information not just on 1, but on
Spider's
2.
just holding
He'll confirm
that.
onto Zombs, and still looking to maybe threaten this would be Sick. He's still holding over towards C long. Hot Hands comes through. Skadoodle's now watching this with an operator, and it looks like no more interactions will occur here at C long, but Sentinels, off of what has been a light buy round, are in a pretty hard-pressed position to hold anywhere defensively at the moment.
Sam finds a frenzy headshot, but it's not going to do enough damage here. He has to dash away even, so utility spent. And they need a little bit more as T1 just hold on strong with 5. And C is where a possible trap has been set up. Sick is just
30 seconds
tucked
left.
away in the cubby there with a Bucky in hand as well, so might be able to get 1 kill. So far hasn't been spotted. Dodged on the camera as well. Has to swing because the Aldrone would have spotted him, and Skadoodle will punish him, shut him down. Sinatra now with the stinger on the cubby itself. And Spider's going to swing into him and clean that up as well. So T1
Will likely be the 8th round. Sentinels will try to punish and force as many repurchases as possible as they look to play for exits. And Dapper's actually going to go through the C garage and maybe try to play over towards C long. At least that was the consideration. Now he's actually looking to try to help out by pushing over on in. Shazam got onto the site, but as Dapper falls, not really a hope here for Shazam, and Spider will find his 3rd kill. Waking up here offensively as Spider had a really tough go of it defensively, but all of a sudden he's 11-13. He has had an incredible 5 rounds on this attacking side so far.
Yeah, I mean, he spent most of that first half sitting between 1 and 3 kills for the most part. And now he's getting quite active on that kill feed. As Sentinels, I mean, at this stage in the game, now that we've reached this half, it's a 4-1 start where Sentinels are the 1 side of things, so not great for them. They've had to eco more times than they would like and would have to do so again if they lose this round. In fact, might have to go for a couple of saves or something. Shazam, operator in hand right now. A couple more players close towards ultimates between Dapper and Zombs. Let's see if Shazam gets anything early. Does updraft on top of the box. Will this be spotted? Will this be red?
No movement for now, but the spike is lingering over towards A. Zombs was playing aggressively through A sewer, but he'll back up.
That Aldrone
for
is
days
like,
will likely be able to see this position
it's like the most
for Shazam,
premium
and
thing
this
of
will likely
utility
be
for
an angle
pros.
forfeited. A couple of spam shots will be tossed out, but nothing will confirm. Fault line will also be spent just to make sure nobody's holding
Who's
down
playing
in this
Jet
little cubby
for
outside A
Sentinels?
long.
Is that Shazam? Okay.
And Sentinels now will just be trusted to hold on to the A site with what looks to possibly be 3 members. Sick is going to look to rotate over if he hears the commitment. So this is actually not bad at all for Sentinels.
Yeah, he's close by. The problem here for T1 is they've not made enough noise over towards C. Spider's already backed down, and he's not really keeping Dapper busy at all. Sinatra's also Aldrone through Garrus, so he knows nothing's there for now. He's been in Garrus the entire time for the most part, so he hears nothing. And now for Sentinels, you've got to be pretty sure it's going to come through from A. And there comes the TP in. Zombs gets a bit of info, and that will be confirmation.
Big pick, though, for Shazam. That'll slow things down. The Paranoia will try to reinvigorate this defense, but Skadoodle still finds a pick onto Zombs. And it looks like Shazam has actually picked up the operator and now dropped it for the panel.
Sinatra sick.
Skadoodle only
Dang,
caught the
the
leg, I
retake
believe.
was so good.
And that will be enough for Sentinels to hold defensively. 10-8 we go. an expensive round for T1, but they'll still be able to afford into this next one. But things will get dangerous if they drop this next round for them, as not only will be 11 rounds for Sentinels, but they'll likely have to save.
And the problem here is this is one of those classic slow T1 rounds where they just don't default anywhere else. They not only come into this one quite slowly, but they're giving away too much info about where they're actually going to go, and then they commit there. The last time
you don't think those odds are fair?
They committed util over towards A. They actually went over towards C, so they faked A. This time they commit to A, but they don't default towards C or be nearly long enough. Again, Spider just kind of does minimal things over towards C, then instantly
no way!
team, so
AZK just takes
Shazam
Shazam 1v1.
Rotations, and as we enter this particular round, that's 1 kill straight away, and that's not a great start for Sentinels, but 4 alive still.
Even worse news is the fact that there is still the Rolling Thunder to be used here in what feels like a must-win round for T1. I say that with hesitation, though, because there's still a lot of life left in this map for them. But if you can take this one convincingly, it'd be great. Flashpoint's going to come through, but Six still finds an elimination to tie things up in a 4v4, and he actually is going to be able to find a second. Not really sure what Brax was looking at there. He just starts to walk away, and he gets punished for it. So now it's a 3v4, Rolling Thunder off the table, Neural Theft off the table, and now T1 are in a much more difficult spot to try to execute. It's going to be a hit over towards C. Dapper's on site. You've got help from Sinatra. The Recon Bolt's going to find a lot of information, and Sentinels will convert off of it. Oh boy, T1, things have really fallen apart, and credit Sick on the other side for being able to find not just 1 but 2 kills.
Yeah, and that's just going to be the shutdown coming on through now.
Are these your made-up odds?
Completely dismantled T1's offense.
30
and a good read
left.
as well, like you mentioned, Sick.
Yeah, these are my odds. I couldn't
lost
find
Shazam super early,
tournament odds.
So they respond. They assume someone's still there. They assume that T1 are trying to take A long control. Sick reads it, pops in the runner back.
Maybe towards the end, they'll start having more Vegas odds.
Being flash and then through the smoke as well. Sick is getting so much value on most of these running backs. I say most because there have been a couple where it's gone awry, but for the ones that have hit, they have hit hard and they've really put T1 down. T1 get aggressive. They start to really speed things up over towards C because they know, okay, they've been completely scouted out over towards A. They don't want to allow Sentinels to rotate too hard over to C, but they get shut down as well. I mean, Sinatra's there, the Recon Bolt comes through, reveals everybody, and Sentinels just wipe the floor clean.
Well, we'll take a look to see what T1 wants to do. Money's not going to be able to afford them a full gun round, but it looks like they all are still going to be trying to force into this one. AZK will go into a Bulldog in favor of the full armor instead of going light with an AR that's more traditional, whether that's a Phantom or a Vandal, his preference. So now it's a must-win round for T1. You lose this one, Spider's not going to be able to afford anything in the next. And you'll have Sentinels on map point. Again, still the Rolling Thunder available. A couple of spam shots do connect on the days. He's already brought down to half HP.
Sentinels are not on that
early
point.
Value here from Sentinel. Spider trying to respond back through his own dark cover, but
dude, Renegades beat C9? No way, dude.
Consider there to be a third there for Sentinels over towards C, which has been the preferred site
That's
thus
hard
far,
to believe.
really for both squads.
However, A is completely
maybe
clear.
Renegades
that
are getting
allows
better.
AZK once again to get free presence over towards A long. And eventually, as he starts thinking about making his way over, they'll be able to get the spike there too. They're defaulting a little bit harder on the other sites now. You see both Spider and Skadoodle working their way into C. And Spider's even going to tuck in for the potential aggression from Sick. And Sick does like to walk down. Here he goes. He will be punished. Does that call for T1 to move over, though? They are still just working time, working numbers. Aldrone scouts out over towards mid as well. Spike is still uncommitted. AZK also has not walked up further. He is respecting the fact that Shazam is also sniping, and he doesn't know where Shazam is yet.
Both teams will essentially be able to read that Sentinels are going to go to a 2-2 stack, 2 at C, 2 at A. And actually, Sinatra is starting to play over the middle of the map. He could be here quickly on the defense. 20 seconds left to play. Rolling Thunder is going to come out. That's actually through short. It's not going to hit really anybody on site. Actually, pardon me, it does hit Zom's up top at heaven, but he's going to stay safe through this. And as he gets a lot of information,
we get another one. He gets both.
Find one, he'll find a
They have
second.
10 seconds to play the bomb.
But now he's got the blade storm. And
Sentinels, no way, they clutched this out.
Kill, but Spider for 2. Time is the problem. 2 seconds, and Dapper's just going to walk away and see the 12th round confirms for Sentinels. And now all of a sudden, T1 are going to be in a really tough spot economically to try to bring this one back.
I'll tell you what, time is the problem is going to be the quote written on the tombstone of T1 here, because said it time and time again that they don't leave themselves with nearly enough time. 30 seconds remaining. They go for the play. And Spider wins that situation. He's got the 2 kills required. He's got a 1v1 there. If he actually has Spike in hand, or he has enough time to recover it and plant, he's good to go. There's another situation where he's the Omen play. He hears from the shadows. teleports away with the spike and plants somewhere else and seed it or something like that. But again, this is another situation where just a few seconds ends up being the difference between winning and losing for T1 and Sinatra and the rest of his squad and Sentinels now 12-8 map point, ready to take us to map 3.
And no rolling thunder here, but there is the Hunter's Fury. Bladestorm going to be hit. Skadoodle looking to bring that one in for maybe an opening pick somewhere over towards C. Spike Campbell finds some information. Sinatra's now going to double check with the Aldrone. And he will see only the opposite Aldrone for now, but there are 3 members. Okay, now he's going to see information. Hunter's Fury is going to come through. They're trying to confirm a kill on the Dapper. He's going to back away, but while they do, T1 Skadoodle able to get their way onto the site and find a pick. Skadoodle's going to try to lock things down with the spike coming down early. Sentinels on the potential retake.
Oh,
They're only able to
no.
find one. AZK holds strong. And now a 4v2. Sentinels, do you go for this? The money was not in a great position, and you really don't want to give away an operator, so it just comes down to if Zoms finds a pick or 2, maybe there's an opportunity. But it looks like he's going to just try to bail away, steal some of these weapons to make sure they stay safe as he juggles them back over towards the defensive spawn. T1 will be able to find their 9th round.
And T1 speed up successfully here as well. After failing to get the plant of the previous round, running out of time, they say no more of that. Instantly onto C, instantly get the plant down. They lose 1 player in spite of it. The job's been done there. Sentinels lose 3. Can't even get on site. Look at all the blue X's. And the last 2 players will try and get themselves out alive. Keep that Odin alive as well is, I think, the main goal of what Zom's trying to achieve in that situation. And T1 keep themselves in the game for now. 9 and 12. 3 more to go. 3 more rounds like that, and I'll believe that T1 can take us to OT, and that would be the 2nd OT of the series. And I think T1 have the capability to do so. It just requires them to play 3 more very good rounds.
Taking a look at our ultimates for right now, obviously you've got the Neural Theft for both sides and then the From the Shadows for Zoms, but you're also close to getting Sinatra another Hunter's Fury. Spider very close to his own From the Shadows, and then you know that Sick has been good at getting these run it backs, and we've talked about already the prevalence of him having it. It's been a little bit hot and cold, but hot and cold might not be enough to really kind of frame up the imagery there. It's been either piping hot or slightly cold. What is that peek from Shazam? Jumps over the cyber cage and then snaps on the AZK for first blood. Unbelievable. Zom's now in a position to try to isolate the kill as well onto Brax. He's not going to expect this. Thank you very much. Sentinels looking primed to take the map as they're in a 5v3. Days will have to find a big kill over here towards B. Skadoodle's going to also jump on in. Curveball will stall any hit from coming through. Days now with a shock dart coming out.
Dang,
not going to find much value there. Sick
dude.
finds 2 kills. Sentinels confirm the 13th round, and we're going to go to map number 3.
Poor Skadoodle.
T1 give a little bit of hope to the fans there, putting up
Going
9,
to a third
but it ends
map
up
here.
being Sentinel still. You talk about temperature coming on through here, and Shazam, absolute zero, gives the cold shoulder over to AZK for the opening
Wait,
pick.
C9's
What
out of
a
the whole
phenomenal
tournament?
Shot. An opening headshot coming through
Or
to
just-
send
or
T1
just
down, and
in
not
the
a chance
losers
we
bracket.
head into map number 3 split coming up here. And this has been an exciting series so far. T1, I think, getting punished a little bit harder on this map for some of the slower plays, exemplified by the fact that there was that one very critical round where, I'll say it again, Spider had the 1v1 but no time to plant. But otherwise, there were some decent rounds coming through. And again, I do also have to say that early half, it comes down to another team getting a nice lead where 7-0 was Bind, 6-0 was Haven, and it ends up being a 7-1 anyway. So it's another very one-sided half to start things out before we kind of mellow out and allow one of the teams to get a bit of a comeback.
Well, it's going to be split for our 3rd and final map here. Again, on the line is not just a spot in the semifinals, but you finish in the top 4, you're into the regional finals for the first straight qualifiers. You lose this match, you still have an opportunity as you're immediately qualified for the UMG Close Series, but let's be honest, you absolutely want to be one of those first 4 teams to get into the North American Regional Final.
Why is this so confusing? Like, listen to what this guy's talking about. I don't understand any of it.
We'll come back right after this to determine that.
If you win here, you have a chance to get the UNCAA qualifier finals, but if you lose here, you still have a chance to the MCAA tournament. What is even happening?
Well, while everyone was watching this stream to see whether or not we'd be making it into that third and final map, we do have an update that I feel like is important to tell you. Cloud9 have been surprisingly eliminated over on the B stream by Renegades in 2-0 fashion. But over here on the mainstream, Sentinels kept their chances alive by picking up a win on map number 2. It was Haven, and it was success for them. This is the Valorant First Strike Close Qualifiers presented by Nerd Street Gamers. I'm your host, Bach. Shift, Avril. We're now going to map number 3, and Shift, are you a little bit worried that maybe the momentum that T1 was building up coming into that second series has now been equalized and Sentinels might have the upper hand?
It's kind of hard to give a full read on it. I think this is going to be a very 50-50 map. What we know about Split is that Sentinels, they like to play some interesting things. We talked about the Brim still being played on Bind. They're one of the only teams that still enjoy playing the Sage here on Split. And they have found some pretty solid value with that pick. So that's something to kind of expect going forward. On the opposite side, though, for T1, they're no strangers to this map. But the problem is when they played it during the open qualifier, it was a mixed bag of results. A 13-3 win versus Luminosity, but then a 1-13 loss versus Envy. So it's one of those things that I have not had a chance really besides that Luminosity game to watch these guys play. But what we do know is that they love to still stay very slow, very methodical. It worked out nicely versus Luminosity. Obviously, it didn't work out all that well for them versus Envy. It just comes down to, can they find a way to make that work versus a Sage-based composition versus Sentinels here in this pivotal map 3?
And let me be clear as well. I mean, looking at the past games for Sentinels, this isn't just some like pocket strat. This is not just some like weird thing they do for the open qualifiers. No, every single Split game they have done has been with Sage, and that reaches as far back as, you know, the very early stuff when you look at PAX, you look towards, you know, Pop Flash and all the other tournaments as well. They've been running Sage the entire time. They've not given up on Sage on Split, despite all the nerfs, despite all the changes, despite other agents coming in with full prevalence, like, for example, Breach, which I'm sure AZK is going to enjoy bringing back into the fold. So it's going to come down to some very interesting plays for what Sentinels do here, because, you know, I was reasonably critical about the Brim being put in there. I think I feel a little bit better about the Sage just because it's sick on Sage. He's one of the more prevalent Sages in the NA region. He's one of the more notable ones. They've also found a decent amount more success with the Sage on this map versus, I think, Brim on Binds is just a little bit more weird. So it still should be a pretty good one. Sinatra also comes through on the Raze for this map as well, and I think he's a very decent player on that. And we're not going to see any Sova, so neither team has to worry about it.
I would say that Sinatra, though, is very agent versatile, so I feel like you could put Sinatra on a lot of agents, and it wouldn't really make a difference. I do think it's interesting, though, that Sick goes to that Sage, regardless of all the Sage nerfs. I mean, Sage has pretty much become useless, according to most teams, because it's just been nerfed into oblivion. But Avril, you're saying that you think the Sage is actually a decent pick for them when you compare it to, like, the Brim that they were bringing in on Bind.
Only because it's sick. Like, look, if this was another team trying to force Sage, it'd be like, no way. But if there's one play that you kind of trust in NA to pull out a Sage, I think it's kind of like sick, right? It'd be the same for maybe DVP in EU for G2. It's kind of like that kind of thing where this is your Sage player of the region for the most part. So if Sick wants to do it and he's got full confidence, then this is probably something you can trust. Also, they have a decent win rate on it. So, you know, that has a bit of backing. I still think, to be fair, in the current meta, Sage is a pretty unreliable pick still. I mean, when we did see them play Sage in some of the other games, even for this event, it seemed like the Sage wasn't really the thing that gets them the win. It might not necessarily be the thing that loses them every single round either, but it just seems very average. It seems like it's not really that impactful, and Sick, if he was on something else, it would be much better. But,
it's not impactful on its own, but it's impactful in the way that the slow orbs have been beautifully designed to help Sinatra find a lot of picks, especially defensively over towards B. And then offensively, you're still seeing that wall go down to open up that lane from B main onto the B spike site itself. The thing that is, I think, more critical than the Sage being picked up is what you're giving up in Sage's place. You're not playing the Breach. So your only flash that's available is the Paranoia from the Omen. And that might pay more dividends than the actual Sage pick itself, because that's going to be what is inherently going to be a mismatch, is the fact that you're going to have the Breach and the Omen in the mix here for T1, and you won't have that ability for Sentinels. So it's all got to be on clean retakes, and it's all going to be on the base of...
Wait, what happened? What are you talking about later? Oh, they banned it. They banned it.
Yeah. Because when it hits hard,
I guess they like the classics. They like the classic maps.
A chance to stand tall defensively. And then on the other front, if that wall gets fortified on their offensive hits, yeah, it allows them to get onto the site for free. So you don't necessarily need those flashes, but when that wall or those slow orbs don't hit, that's when you really feel the pressure of not having a Breach on your side for Sentinels.
You know, you mentioned those slow orbs, and we also talk about T1's kind of very slow and methodical approach, very reminiscent of the old Navi and the CS days, taking down to the last 10, 15 seconds. Those slow orbs could potentially be a problem here for them, Shift. I mean, they could get slowed down on an attempted take of a site in the last 20 seconds of a round, and that could be what separates them from success. Is that a legitimate concern for them coming into this third and final map?
Absolutely. I mean, when they were having trouble playing up against Envy, the problem was the fact that Crashies was finding a lot of value slowing down these hits with things like fault lines as well as flashpoints. He popped off in that game. He was 14-5 in that matchup on Split. That was a 13-1, and a lot of that was done from the defensive
Sage,
side.
baby.
They went 11-1 in the first half defensively, did Envy versus T1 squad, and a lot of it was because they continued to read the fact that T1 liked to hit a little bit more slowly. They like to hit later in the round, so make sure we're holding some of our utility, so that way they make life extra hard for T1 to try to make those late executes come through successfully.
Avril, I mean, what are you worried about right now
Sage or
if
dodge.
you're a Sentinels fan? Because I'm looking at, I know we've spent
Smoke,
some time
did you
harping
fill
on
out the
about it, but I'm
GB88
looking at that
schedule
Sage pick,
thing?
and I think that's one of the things. But I think it's also just, maybe some unknown variables for what T1 potentially brings to the table, because even though we've seen a little bit of this team, we haven't seen enough to really know what they're going to bring into all of their executes. And Dazed is a very cerebral leader. That's why they take so long to try to get onto these sites. Do you think there's some back pocket plays here for T1?
Yes,
I think T1
Smoke,
did find some
you-
success. I mean, you have to go back to
fill it
buying,
out?
you have to go back to the 7-0, you have to go back to where the successes have been for T1, and that's got to be where they find the successes again for a map like Split. They can string through a lot of rounds in a row. They can have some good defenses and offensive. Spider, if you can unlock them on the Omen, really get the team play going with the paranoias and the team, support plays. That's where I think T1 can really get things done. I do worry about the speed a little bit here, Bach, but overall, when I've seen them play fast, when I've seen them be decisive, T1 have been good.
Well, we had an upset over on the B stream. Will we have an upset over here on the main stream? T1 trying to eliminate Sentinels as we move on to Split. Take it away.
Thanks so much,
Then
Bach.
check
And
all the
other thing to keep
boxes,
in
Smoke.
mind
Check
that
all
for
the boxes.
Sentinels, they
I'm trying to
enjoy
get,
the
as soon as I get
defensive
6
side to the
check
tune of a
boxes, then I'm just gonna
70%
be like, I'm gonna
win
make it
rate.
official.
This
And be
time,
like,
they'll
yo,
be
everyone
trying to
show
get
up at
things
this
going
time. 6 people
offensively
check the box here.
against this T1 squad, and the compositions are exactly as anticipated, so nothing being changed here. But Sentinels already working their way through mid-vent. This is going to split up T1 heavily, not just because there's a split between the 2 members on A and the 3 members on B, but both members on A are also very split apart. But a couple of headshots from Spider.
Just check the boxes
Find a
that you
lot
could
of
make.
damage
You
and
can
then
make
also
work.
convert a kill. It'll lead an opportunity for AZK to try to take advantage, but Shazam and Dapper will pick up the pieces, and now all of a sudden Sick can make his way onto the A site for a plant.
Because I think it might be too short notice if we do it like day of, unless there just happens to be like 6 people online at any given time.
And thankfully for T1, you did see Spider get that one kill. They are still down a member, though. Low HP for the side of Sinatra, but the post plant is into full effect. Key member here is going to be Dapper over towards ramps. He can come in late. He can come in for the flank as well. He can deny a lot coming through. If he gets a lot of heaven control, this should go the way of Sentinels as they do get a kill early. 2 kills now as Dazed on his lonesome.
Yeah, it's got to be a pretty frustrating pistol round for T1. How many headshots did they hit at long range? Just couldn't quite convert the kills. You see 2 members down to critical HP. On top of that, Dapper was down to half, but the kills just did not follow through, even though the initial damage was pretty successful. So a pistol for Sentinels. Very good for them again offensively. We talked about their prevalence on defense, and that's where they found most of their favor, in which they're 4-1 overall on this map through the first strike series, whether that's the open qualifier or the closed qualifier. But you also have to remember that back during the Ignition era, they were 16-3 on this map. One of the best split teams that you can consider. Maybe the only exception there would be a team like Envy, but
let me see if I can
with what they knew from old
and...
ages now into the new age. With the Sage coming out, and you anticipate that likely Sick will find a lot of value with that wall, trying to be committed over towards B hits if and when they decide to start making those commitment calls.
So T1 have actually half-ordered into this one. They have 2 Stingers available. 3 members still on pistols, though. A couple of heavy armors being purchased. Ends up being a decent read. Consider that Sentinels only bought 2 SMGs into their offensive anti-eco here. 3 Ghosts. So actually equal equipment, all things considered, for both ends. Sick with the early walls. Going to luck out 2 plays. They hear the Stingers. That's going to give away information that T1 have bought.
Oh, what a play here for Sentinels. This is all bait for Sick. Thinking that, hey, they're locking us out for our mid-rotation. This is going to be a hit towards B, but the entire time
just to check the boxes that he's free,
to
where
try
he
to
will
get
show
over
up.
to A. Sinatra will be on A tower. He's about to meet a number of members defensively. But we'll just play the rafters, try to play with the smokes from his teammates behind him. Also a nice spy cam place to try to scout things out to see where exactly this hit on the retake could come from. And as Sinatra finds first blood on the day's backside screens, Sentinels will be in a 5v4, and T1's quasi-force buy with 2 members, they might have to consider just saving these stingers.
It's not really worth saving, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you do in the case where you probably have to eco in the next round, but at the same time, if you're buying into this round, you're really trying to win it, you are going to go for the retake here. 4 players
Okay,
alive. You have
thanks.
full ramp control for the most part, as the Smoker's going to lock out 2 members, but you have to get moving now. You have to get these kills now. Spider's in, gets traded. 3v4 we go. ACK still in the mix, but as the spike is about to detonate, ACK is probably
Dang,
going to go down to
T1
this.
just...
He's
I guess
able
it'd be
to
an
just
upset
barely
if T1
sidestep it enough.
won anyways, right?
So Sinatra will fall to the spike, but I don't know. We'll have to remember that round right there. Was it worth it for T1? They really couldn't commit for a full retake considering the positions that Sentinels were holding, and we questioned the ability for them to try to exist without the presence of flashes. That time, it's just a lot of toggling of the different types of smokes. You had dark covers and cloud bursts being essentially traded back and forth between one another. And T1 never got any information on where the position for Sentinels was in the post plan. And with that, there's no chance for a retake. And they have to actually save another round in a row. Big potential for Sentinels to take over this first half.
And the most punishing thing here for T1 is the fact that Sentinels, because they came into the last round with only 3 ghosts. Again, they didn't really buy into the round. They get 4 rifles now plus a bulldog on this round 3. The round that T1 should have been the ones having the rifle, so T1 are going to really struggle here. Might go down 0-3. We've talked plenty about the fact that teams time and time again in this particular series between both Bind and Haven have gone for massive win streaks right in the early rounds. Sinatra now looking for connection on the paint shells.
And it actually
Okay,
does
if
confirm
you
a lot
can't
of
if you
damage
can't make
Doodle
any
has to
times
tailwind
tomorrow,
away, but
Guac,
the
hit
counter
the
paint
just
shells
click the
find
X.
just as much
Click the
value,
X
you can
on
argue.
the
The T1 will still come away the
on the
lesser total health
GB88
pools.
Discord message.
Now take a look
Actually,
at
never mind.
Sentinels.
No,
Sick.
do your
Looking to
essay,
line things
Guac.
up for
You
this
have to do
wall
your
as they will
essay.
likely
No,
execute
stop,
the beat.
Guac. It's not.
Orb will be captured as
Click
well.
the
4
X if you have to
charges
do your
for
essay
Sick
all
towards
day.
his resurrection. And here comes the commitment. 2 members defensively for T1 are here.
No, it's not
The ball
more
gets
important.
placed. It will not be broken. And this is a play that we stick to often. He'll just sit on top of his own wall. If anyone tries to break it, he'll challenge. And it will not come through. So the fortification is there. Sick will find a kill and then a little bit of self-sustain off the
30
healing orb.
seconds left.
And these members for T1 on the site are not in a great spot to deal with this. Oh, look at this updraft though. Skadoodle with an opportunity but can't convert. Meanwhile, Spider on the site as well, able to find a double. So
They're not going to be able
T1
to take
do
this.
turn around the numbers, but the health pools are still low. Dapper's going to get a read on the one, no problem, but does
Oh,
get hit
maybe
by
they
the
will get
fault
this.
line. And as the challenge starts to come through, AZK will clean up, and a Thrifty will
Good
be
Thrifty.
confirmed for T1. And with that, a couple of weapons will also be picked up to try to reinforce the economy going into round 4.
And it's the stinger that comes in clutch for AZK at the end, but Spider gets the show started. 4-2 now. We saw early glimpses of what Spider can do on this map, with the double headshots coming through from the Ghost, the 1 conversion of the kill for the pistol. However, in this particular round, double kill on the Sheriff. The Paranoid flies on and catches everybody, allows Skadoodle to get aggressive as well via the Frenzy. And it's enough damage being done. No, they didn't break the wall, but they only had like pistols anyway, so you're not really breaking a wall with that kind of equipment. Now that we get into this round, this is where, if you want to go for the same wall execute for Sentinels, it is going to be challenged. Operator in plate, coming through from Skadoodle. Is he going to get a customer early? He will, but look at that. Shazam with a flick up to the
Skadoodle.
head will clean up the kill.
The customer is always right, apparently, here, Avril. Sentinels now 5v3
got roasted right there.
situation. Operator off the table. And with the neural theft coming through, Sentinels will realize that there's only 1 member on the A site. So they'll heavily stack. AZK can only take down 1. And for T1, again, in a 4th round buy, after going a little bit greedy in the second, they're going to have to
Dude,
force to save
Sick
these
is playing
rifles.
Sage.
There's just no other choice for them. You'll get Brax could play for the ultimate orb at B, but that's going to go away as soon as the spike is planted. So this has been a perfect start for Sentinels thus far. And T1, they're going to have to make some adjustments come through because outside of the Thrifty round in the previous, they've been a little bit out of sorts when it comes to their defensive holds.
They're funneling resource over towards Sick as well, who now has the Resurrection available. And really comes out of Shazam. What a great pick coming on through straight away onto Skadoodle. No chance there. As Scar doesn't even get to fire a shot. And we've seen too many times now, especially onto Haven, I think is the most memorable here, where Skadoodle on the Operator is just really 50-50. I mean, completely hot and cold in terms of what kind of value we can expect. Days, both going for a save, and also the possibility of an exit. But no one's going to go sewers.
Tough start here for T1. Really tough start here for T1. let's not try to frame this any more pretty than it could be. And taking a look at the history for T1 on this map, again, just kind of ignoring what has happened here in the first Strike series, as again, they had a 13-3 win and then a 1-13 loss. Back during the Ignition series era, this was also one of their weaker maps, but the defensive side was their most preferred side. 65% during the Ignition era, 50% win rate here in the first Strike series. Not great numbers and not off to a perfect start here, but any such the imagination. Sentinels will have the ability to bring a 6v5 into the mix with the Resurrection available for them here in round number 5. And Sinatra looks like he wants to maybe get aggressive. He's going to go ahead and use the Boombot to clear up the A ramps, and this is going to be a big part of the map taken away early for Sentinels.
Speaking of aggressive, Skadoodle thought about going aggressive over towards mid. He needs a kill or an ult to get this Blaze-Storm underway. He's the only one on his team without a proper gun. Spectre versus everybody else, the other 9 players, all on Phantoms. And like I said as well, Sentinel's early control over towards ramps is going to cause for a couple members to think about rotating over, but actually Daze is going to stay over
T1
towards B.
lost,
You do have Shazam
right?
still hanging
T1
around
lost
mid.
restaurant, right? Yes,
Looking
Sentinels
for
won, yeah,
Vents
that's right.
control. It will look like an A split pretty soon for Sentinels.
Fault line, right down Main Street. Nobody there to even take advantage of the peak. 2 members up top that B tower maybe consider the shoulder, but they'll back away. And as AZK is actually able to find a kill over towards the top side of A ramp, that's going to be some good information and, of course, better numbers here. It's going to force the Resurrection out very early. A couple spam shots will also keep him under. But here comes the challenge from the Sentinels. Sinatra in combination with Shazam will find not just 1, but 2. So now it's going to be a 5v3. What looked good for T1 initially off the defense, they're going to have to save again here, Avril. This has been really poor from T1, mostly because of the fact that they haven't had a good chance to look at an initial defensive hold yet.
And the thing is, the only kill that happened was AZK, and he managed to get 1. That gets resurrected back into play. But then AZK ends up on the wrong side of a one-way smoke set up by Shazam via the Cloudburst, and while Sentinels 5 alive now, and get to keep 5 alive, by the way, in the early rounds. So, you know, you could maybe argue, is the res worth it or not? It is in this case where money is concerned. We're still into round number 5, keeping 5 alive for the guns, and also the win bonus here, keeping everybody nice and safe in terms of economy. It's going to boost Sentinels ever forward, and, you know, it's not going to be 6 in a row or even 7 in a row, but it is a 4-1 start and the possibility of giving even more. But we'll come down to what T1 do the next round. The good news for T1 is they will have 3 guns.
4-1 on an offensive side that, outside of the one Thrifty round, which they had a really good shot at, to be fair, Sentinels are going to be feeling really confident about how their playstyle has so far outmatched that of T1. And now that we get into round number 6, this almost feels like a must-win round coming up for T1, because if you lose this one, you're on another save. You're going to be down not just 1-5, but potentially even 1-6 off the following eco. And that means you've already lost the chance at winning the half completely. The best you could go for is a 6-6. So with the Rolling Thunder, in my mind, this is a must-win round here for T1.
Well, they certainly have to put everything into the bank now. Spider up and early. We talked about Spider previously. Gets a couple of shots connected, but it's AZK that will be able to get the kill. Spider's still in the back, by the way.
That's
Will be
so
calling for some
interesting.
reinforcements. The Sentinels have the
everything.
sight. Sinatra has the
And then
showstopper.
burst through
Not
the
quite
smoke.
find any value early. Might still be able to get one over towards Spawn. Might just do a bit of damage and walk away.
Yeah, he reads the information that there are a couple members that are here. Sinatra will double peek and get
I guess
that
'cause they don't
Braxel
have
find
flashes?
the elimination. T1 do have the ability to potentially try to scout things out with this from the shadows from
So they
Spider, who
smoke
is
themselves
playing
off in
through
those
A
narrow
ramp. He's
corridors.
cleared out at least that exit. So for Sentinels, there's only really one spot you could be, and that's on the site itself. Maybe consideration towards this backside screens play, as there is obviously the fortified wall here from Sick. But once again,
Yeah.
T1,
Bits are
you've
double.
got to make
Bits
a
are double.
commitment. Looks like it's mostly going to be from the top ropes. Shazam looking to flank behind this. Here's the play forward. You're going to get Skadoodle on site first.
So whatever
Cloudburst
bits you donate, I
coming
just
through.
add
Shazam able
them
to
as well,
find
and then
two,
the system
Zombs another,
automatically does it
and
for
Brax,
bits.
no chance to challenge. He'll back away. And Sentinels, they'll be up 5-1. T1 will be forced to go into a light buy or a full eco. And Sentinels are having their way with T1 so far here on Split.
And it's another good post-point for Sentinels as well. They have a look at the situation, similar to what we saw in Bind, by the way, where they had no control over most of the map on the site, except they did have Octagon, and then they took Elbow. In this case for Split, they don't have ramps, they don't have Heaven, they have Sight, and they need something more than just Sight. So they go for screens control. It ends up working out for them. The wall over. It's a bit of a smoke to contest it via Spider on the other end, but not enough for T1 to be able to make the retake happen. Also, T1 did take quite a while to get the retake started, and Sentinels have the time to work with. They have the players alive, and they have just enough control over the site to be able to still maintain the round win.
And apologies for me here. I guess I misread the economical situation. T1 can go into another purchase here, although, to be fair, there are a couple of members who aren't going to be able to full purchase up armor, and maybe some considerations as far as not bringing their full utility, but apologies there, friends, as T1 will have a realistic shot at this round. Spy cam for Brax will read at least one member over towards B tower. Cyber Cage will try to keep him safe. Sinatra, though, for first blood with his paint shells will be good. Brax up top, his position now known. He'll be pinched up as Shazam comes from behind, and Bladestorm will just barely connect. Skadoodle will reset it down to 61 HP. But finally, we're getting T1 in a pretty solid spot defensively. Spider looking for the flank will be denied, and now Sentinels in another 3v2. But there is the potential of Skadoodle with a Bladestorm trying to combine
Kuya, thank you
with
for
the
the bit.
Rolling Thunder. And they're gonna try to save this again?
I think they're gone. They're running out of money. The problem here is they need... AZK might go for an exit because he's got a Bulldog and that's kind of like a whatever weapon. Might actually go for a gun upgrade. Is there a free Phantom? Indeed there is. Take that skin with you, by the way.
Char,
so
I have your
play
bet.
there for me was Spider going down to Zoms. If Spider wins the 1v1, and Spider has no idea where Zoms is, by the way. He's looking, but doesn't, have any information that Zoms could have been tucked away in a corner. Indeed he is. Gets the 1v1 win.
Char's seen this situation before. You're up 1-6 Sentinels.
Post plant /
Easy
retake
dub.
played there. If Spider wins that, you can pinch. You have 3 plays from T1 in a 3v2. 2 plays including Bladestorm and Rolling Thunder coming through from defended spawn, and Spider on the pinch. If it's the other way around, how are you supposed to flush out the side? Yes, you can Rolling Thunder in, but you need to be able to secure at least 1 to 2 kills and then still flush out Zoms. It's too much and there's not enough time. So I really do think the B main play in that 1v1 does decide that particular last phase of the round. And for T1, it is going to be a sad kind of save situation, but Skadoodle has an operator available and he needs to keep it in his hands.
I feel like a lot of people watching that situation, though, with the Bladestorm being committed with the operator and the chance of having a Rolling Thunder, that is probably your best chance at an odd man retake, considering the tools that are available. But we will have a pause coming through, at least for now, so we'll take a look back at how this half has gone if you're joining us here late. Again, it was one of those situations that T1 confirmed so much damage off this opening pistol, but could not fully confirm the kills. And then from there, I mean, it's just been all the Sentinels show outside of the one Thrifty that we saw at a T1 in this round right here as AZK were able to clutch up.
Yeah.
It's just been a mismatch at the moment as far as how the pacing has gone, how the map positioning has gone. Sentinels has been all over the map, and T1 have not been in a great spot. And you take a look at all of the detonations that have come through. I mean, that's a very successful offense. Sentinels have been finding their way onto Spike way too easily at the moment.
And as we saw from the instant replays provided by GoPuff there, a lot of the rounds, and this doesn't just apply to Split, by the way. If you go back to Bind, if you go back to Haven, all the win streaks in terms of the early win streaks, 6 and 7 here, now it's another 6 and 1, they're all attacking sided. Whether it's T1 on attack or Sentinels on attack, it's all them. And finally, Skadoodle coming online with the operator Shazam, not going to get the better of him this time around. That's the 5v4 T1 definitely need, but they get traded.
But still, Sick able to bounce back, find the elimination. And with the wall being fortified, Sentinels are already on the site. Brax is in a 1v3 situation, trying to stay alive, but gets hit by the paranoia. The defensive reinforcements for T1 are coming. It's going to be a very early commitment for the Rolling Thunder, which will push a couple members into the corner, but Brax can't confirm any kills. So now as the status effects will be
blind
off,
gets a
it's
kill.
going to be on the Spider to open up with any kills. Nothing going to come through. Sentinels looking near flawless since the opening pick-off from Skadoodle. They walk out of the B site and have their way again with T1. And Sentinels are
killing a stream boss
this
gets you
first half on their
200
offense.
bits today.
I mean, we've seen time and time again, the 7-1 starts, the 6-1 starts, and it just goes that way again. Does that mean that T1 are out? Not necessarily, but you got to feel bad at this rate. It's happening too many times for T1 to be on the receiving end of it. Sentinels look very comfortable with the spikes. Skadoodle getting the opening shot into Shazam. It's instantly traded. That can't happen. So for the side of Sentinels, they get the 4v4.
You did it,
they
dude.
roll into sight for B. They take control. They still get a
108
by the way,
bits,
so the
so that's
money's
108
there. It might
points
not show up in
plus
round
the
summary, but
200 for killing the
it's
guy.
all going their way. And for T1, running out of options here. Not that many rounds left to go. Spider has to get a kill, does. Can he get a second? That's nice. And finally, that's the Spider play we wanted to see.
Something that
Enjoy
we,
your
I mean, anything, just sign of life there for
additional
T1.
points.
I mean, again, their initial holds on their defense have been not
being
great,
the stream boss.
to put it plainly. And finally, with a couple of opening trades, and not even trades, just opening kills that T1 can take advantage of, Sentinels will be allowed a position to contest towards B tower, but there's a spy cam watching this, and Dazed is also here. Dark cover comes through. Sick is going to be able to find one kill. No way. They've got an opportunity here. Skadoodle is able to find 1 kill down low, but he's traded. We're down to a 2v2. This was a 3v5 situation. AZK and Spider aren't here. And again, Sentinels will be in a position to where they can get this fight planted, and there's a resurrection now on the table because of it.
And he's going to go for it straight away. It will be 3v2 in just a second. Hang on a minute. Sick is being very patient. I suppose Sick doesn't quite know exactly where the 2 last T1 members are. Zoms also wrapping very far around. There's only 1 player nearby for the resurrection to come through on. And Sick has to win this 1v1 coming up now. Here we go. This is Spider walking on in, taking a bit of damage. And Sick is still on site. They're giving it away as Zoms come through on Heaven. It'll be a Heaven post play. Sick is down. Zoms in a 1v2. No resurrection in play. No extra member to work with. Zoms has to get a kill. The defuser's coming in. There has to be a stick as well. That's going to get a kill right now.
Unreal.
Zoms for 3. And it does not matter that
Josh,
there
do you
was
like
no
Monster?
resurrection.
Like
It
Monster
doesn't
energy
matter.
drink?
The Sick went down and it
Is that
had
what
to
you're
be a 1v2. Zoms does it again.
Unreal.
Yeah,
3v5.
it's okay.
Still,
I think
Sentinels
since they
able
made
to
it
pull
healthier, I
through.
like it more.
Would have loved to have had the resurrection to make things a bit more easy, but doesn't make a difference. They still win. Oh man, Sentinels. There are, again, how many times have we seen this squad, whether we've had a chance to cast over them or others, that I think a large part of the audience would say Sentinels are not what they used to be, but then there are moments like this.
Yeah,
And
the healthier
fact that
Monster
still
energy
they have
drinks, I
been
like those.
flawless. And the one set that they lose is during the open qualifiers. Say
Oh,
about it what
man.
you will.
I don't
against
actively
the Gen
buy
2
them, but,
squad.
you know,
Spam
I would
shots
drink
into
one.
Dazed will find a
You know, if
kill,
one of the
and
monster trucks comes around.
this Sentinels team is definitely throwing the consideration that they very well will not be counted out. Not today, at least. Not in this matchup.
Oh, frenzied.
Opportunity for Skadoodle. I say opportunity, but he will actually back away from this. Frack still up top. Gonna read some information, but the weapon's just too strong for Sentinels as they roll on in. And that will be another spike plant successful at the B site.
And AZK had the hero rifle, by the way. He was on the other side of the map, and while Sentinels make the call for B, once again, it's AZK and Spider that are just sad about the situation. I think Sentinels have made
Dude,
some really good
Sentinels
calls
is-
here where it is much harder
They're
to push
showing why they're so
into
good here.
Reach Omen than it is the other way around. You would much prefer to push onto a site that has Cypher raised and a, jet?
What is the
AZK
TSM?
tries to stay alive. Yeah, goes down as well. Spider with a nice couple of shots. And it's just going to be a consolation prize, and I think the defaults for T1 might need to be adjusted
After
here
this.
because
Dang,
despite
I'm not
there
gonna be able
being
to watch
3
all of
of the
it.
B, I am going to be adamant that the
Maybe the first
3
round.
agents that are currently defaulting
Dang.
B are much easier to push into than
gonna be
either
good.
Breach or Omen as a pair going on A.
Oh boy.
Dude, Dazed doesn't have
hard
one
to-
single kill.
Look at what's currently occurring here
Oh, Dazed.
and see a possible
That's like Josh
bounce
when I
back
play in
for
Immortal 2
T1.
lobbies,
And
am I
again,
right?
it's just to hit it. For joining us late, Sentinels
0-8.
are an incredible defensive team on split.
0-8 raised.
70% so far through the first strike
The opposite
series
team's
as far
raised
as their
10-4.
successfal defensive rate. And up
Yeah, does that
9-1
mean?
in the first half thus far. And I only say thus far because there are 4 ultimates that they could potentially use for this next offense at a gun round. Sinatra's going to already throw the consideration forward. Double blast pack coming out. Slow orbs.
Here we go,
deep.
Dazed first
Not
kill
gonna
here.
find any illuminations as
Dazed-
T1 has given
Dazed
up
does
the
not
actual
get his
site
first kill
itself.
here.
Doesn't make a difference how they set up defensively. Sentinels again able to dismantle it. 2 kills coming through. Skadoodle's got a little bit of an angle to peek through, but he's already missed his opening shots, and now it's going to be on the T1 to try to find a way to retake in the 3v4.
Spider actually went for the TP play on the ult, but he stuck it through and then dies instantly over towards
Yeah, I think I
Garage,
just
so
get old man fatigue.
really isn't working out today. Despite a couple of nice kills from Spider earlier on, now T1 just 2 alive, and it's always AZK because
That
they
happens
never
to me
push A,
too.
like I say. And
Which I
Sentinels
think
now,
why,
4
which is
players
why I think
alive,
like
should
play
be
to
10
lose,
here, and
play to
look,
lose is like such a
Shift,
good
even
strat.
on previous maps of Bind and Haven,
Like play to lose,
especially, I
like
think,
on each account, it's just
Haven
a
is maybe
good
the
strat.
consideration here as the last 2 members go down. Even if T1 are down multiple,
I think that helps me
rounds,
counter the
we still get to have a
tiltedness
conversation about,
I
oh,
get.
you know, if there's the ability to come back and maybe they can get like a 5-7 finish or a 4-8 finish. What about this? It's 1-10 and there's 1 round left. It's starting to look like 11-1. I don't even know they can get a 2-10 finish now, so... Yeah,
No, I probably can't today. I
T1
told
having some
Olivia I'd
close
hang with
calls
her
here.
tonight.
You will look at the score
But
line
maybe,
and you think it's
maybe.
like just a completely one-sided game, and mostly it has
I'll let
been,
you
but
know. I'll message
remember,
you on
there
Discord
have been
for
a few
sure.
rounds that came down to some 1v1s, came down to like some very close calls.
It
Those
depends.
rounds
She's
got
kind of
won
feeling
by
sick,
Sentinels as well,
but
so
we haven't hung
Sentinels
out in a
have
while,
won
so.
convincingly, and also in the close rounds where it's been clutches.
I think if
This
she's
is
just
tough.
feeling too sick and she wants to
And
rest
this
and nap, I'll
series
probably
up until
play.
this
But if
map
she's
has
feeling
been
okay enough to hang for a little
extremely
bit,
competitive. Dapper.
I'll probably
We'll
hang out
see
with her.
player up top can't quite lock down the headshot as this is all bait. There's not a play to A coming.
I think
It's
the
all
only way
gonna
to
be
cure
over towards
tilted is
B.
just to
And what has
take
been
some time
conditioned to
away
sit there
from
and
it
say
for a
that's
bit.
been B. It actually will
Oh,
eventually
that's
be
not
a from
TP.
the shadows play over to A. And as Dapper finds AZK, that's a big resource down as far
Why
as
is this
able to
game
flash
so
in
much
for a
more
retake.
tilting
I mean,
than
you're going
other
to commit for a
games?
showstopper kill. Shazam is not going to find any value with the Bladestorm, but that's fine because he's already pushed over towards this defensive
Is it because it's
screens
just
area.
like sometimes like the one shot
And T1
headshot
are gonna
can
have
just
to
get you
flood.
so
There's
roasted
really no other
so
choice,
many
so they
times
have
in a
to
row.
flood through. There's too many members for Sentinels that are over towards A ramps. You got to get these kills up front quickly.
Maybe it's because
Depending
you have
on
to be
where people
so
die, the race is
focused
still
up
in
to like
place.
where your
Probably a
crosshair is
little too far for the
perfect,
res now.
and so you don't
Flood
get
could be
insta
effective.
roasted.
Showstopper still available there. Spider on 2 kills, nicely landed. And now it's just up to Sick. You got to go for the rescue. You kind of have to. The defuse already coming in. You have to stop the defuse. Sick doesn't really know what to do here. A little bit of confusion. And T1 will be able to rescue one round.
Wow, T1
Spider
gets a
with the
round.
Quick snaps will collect the headshots required. For T1 to at least bring this to a 2 and 10.
It's a really tough post-plant position. I mean, for Sentinels, you split up the resources. You keep 2 over towards the defensive screens.
I mean,
2 towards
Sentinels
A
is
ramp.
chilling right now.
It's
They're
very
not worried about
difficult
that
to
round.
find a position to get the resurrection into play, like you had mentioned. But beyond that,
They're
T1's
so
only
confident
opportunity
right now.
was to flood through and isolate those 2 kills. There wasn't any help for the 2 players that were pushed through deeply towards the defensive side at spawn.
And when you're
As
playing
soon as you clean up
confident,
those 2
like,
kills, that's a pretty successful retake. You would figure
so
9
much
times
better.
out of 10. Although, to be fair, maybe
like,
that is the
hesitation sometimes
conversion rate.
kills
You
this-
thought that maybe there
will
would be an
kill your
opportunity
team.
for that 1 out of 10 chance to come through for Sentinels based on how things have looked so far. But regardless, yeah, you get the second round defensively. You know, small golf clap for him. But what are you going to
Dusty,
do now?
Dusty,
You have
did
to
you
play
fill
up
out-
against
did you fill out
Sentinels
the
at their
schedule for
70%
Sunday?
defensive win rate.
Did you fill out your times?
I mean, it comes down to the small wins, right? Got to celebrate the small victories where you can for T1 when they're losing this hard. It's just the 2 golf claps out of a possible 12.
Oh, he doesn't know the
Sentinels running
cameras
the
right
monopoly
there.
On that division right
He's
now.
trying to
If we look
shoot it.
towards the second half, you talked about the
I
win
see a
rate.
lot of pros putting that camera
It's going to be
inside
tough, especially I
B-main.
think Sage can get a little bit more value on the defense than the offense. And I mean, Sick has been participating in the kill feed. I don't know that the walls and slows have been as effective this time around on split as they have been in the past. And maybe it just does speak to, you know, the possibility that, look, I'll just say it like this. Sage is, it's kind of 50-50 on this map, but when you have Sick playing it, it does feel like it's a little bit more in the positive. Especially that Sentinels are 10 and 2. Something's definitely
Sinatra's kind of
working
got
right
like a
now.
wider
And it's
crosshair,
one
kind
of those
of like
things that the
Cinder.
wall will find more value on the offense, the slow orbs will find more value on the defense, at least based on how we've seen this in the past. Sinatra with a nice shoulder peek. We'll see a lot of information. Up
Utility
towards
goes
B
there.
tower.
Flash goes in, back
Doodle
to
working his
site.
way down. Tailwind coming through. He'll
Flash
find
comes
first blood
in,
into Dapper.
B-main comes in
H-Cell's
after
ult's
Heaven's
gonna clear out
cleared.
some space. Cadoodle for another opportunity. Can't win the fight.
Pretty
but
classic
Designer
pick by
will
T1.
Still take the site. Sick, trying to stay alive. Will not be able to successfully
30
convert any
seconds
kills.
left.
So now it's just down to Shazam.
Planted.
A 1v4
I did
now
not.
made a
No,
1v3.
I did not. Skadoodle top
You've got
fragged
AZK
the entire
who's
lobby.
tagged up to a single bullet.
We just happened to win.
A lot of utility for Shazam as well. 2 cloudbursts. And if you could find this kill, there's a big
No,
opportunity. Fault line will stall
don't
for a
throw
moment.
this T1. You're a
But an updraft,
4v1.
86 HP, double cloudburst.
No way he
and now a
clutches this
tailwind to play
4v1,
with.
right?
Sees the opportunity for weapons nearby.
Okay.
But as he tries to make the play onto site itself, Brax will
Char,
take the
we
beat
did
from the
not
backside
roll
of the
him.
defensive spawn, and
He
that will be enough
top
for T1 to win
fragged
the
as the
pistol.
Omen. He top
That's the stuff
fragged
they need
and he
here,
top
so a
fragged over
pistol
everyone in the
into an
lobby.
anti-eco for a
But his team did
4
lose,
and
yeah.
10. I mean, that still doesn't sound good, does it? But it's a start of something.
Yeah, but
And it is an elimination game. It's just so everyone's clear here. It is
Just 'cause
single
he lost 2
elimination.
clutches
The winner
doesn't
of this
mean-
best of 3 makes it into the First Strike main event. That's what everyone's playing for. You want to make it into the
Grab-
top 4 here for the main event in the semifinals.
grape root
T1,
tech?
if they do lose into the UMG
What does
event,
grapefruit
they go.
tech
They're not
mean?
quite
Why is
out
everyone
of it, but
laughing?
I mean, they're out of the running for this particular tournament. As T1 now on the anti-eco, just looking for a clean
missed
round
some- I
here. If
missed
they
something,
make too many
apparently.
mistakes, that's when Sentinels can strike. And well, for T1,
Apparently it's hilarious.
maybe
Everyone
would
thinks it's
pay to
funny.
play this one
Everyone
a
on
little slower.
GB88
So it's
thinks
getting
it's
aggressive
just
now, carrying away
hilarious.
through an early trade.
Yeah, the trade's just not good enough, though, unfortunately. Sinatra's going to give it another go. He'll get a couple of shots to connect, but no kills. Also a 1v1 potentially between Shazam and Brax over towards A main, but that'll actually be forfeiting it. Shazam. And again, the trades will come through over the middle of the map, but still it's not favorable enough. T1 looking at a 3v1 situation. Dapper's going to try to find a kill mid-map, maybe steal away a weapon, but he will not be allowed to do that. And as expected, T1 take the following round. now on 4.
D and Ghosty
Still a
also
long
a
way to go.
clown. Of course,
HK
Kuya's
has been
just gonna
accelerated now. He's
throw
6
some
out of 7
shade
for result
at
as we approach
RPG4.
round 3. This is always the timing I'm looking for. Rifle in hand. Just needs one plant, one kill, one orb, and the Rolling Thunder is available. To get Rolling Thunder this quickly is heavily desired.
We have a
so
bet?
T1,
Oh, yeah,
if
Char
there's
bet
any
on
chance
Sentinels.
for Snowball to come through in terms of catching
Webcam.
up on rounds. And catching up, I think, would require them to win this round as well. If you give this over to Sentinels and they get 11,
What are you talking about,
the game
webcam?
starts
My
to get
red
out of hand
webcam?
again. So for T1, getting the Rolling Thunder online, using it to win this gun round.
Oh,
will be required.
RPG4 equals webcam mic. That used
Aggressive
to be
slow
me. That
orb.
used to be
Sick
me.
trying to push forward.
Webcam
He's
mic.
got help. Spam shots that are coming through for both sides, and Sick will stay safe. But it's not often that you see Sage players as the
Whoa,
ones
Kuya,
to push forward.
Kuya,
Typically,
PG
you want to
stream,
save their
Kuya.
utility in any form.
Can I get my mod
But
to
this
delete
is
that
Sentinels
message?
really trying to commit heavily to win the middle of the map, and it's not going to
Yo,
come through.
mod,
They
can
read
you
that
delete
Sick
that
played up
message?
towards the wooden boxes, and they'll find first blood off of this. So another opportunity here for
Oh
Team
yeah, I
1,
used to
and
play the game
a gutsy
audio.
call for Sentinels that gets punished. There's an opportunity for round 5 here.
And that
Oh,
is
that's
the
right.
really
I used to do
important
the
member on the side of
speaker
Sentinels as
audio.
well to slow
Oh.
down the push. I mean,
That
Sick
was-
is playing the Sage slash
I used to be kinda
Breach
cringe, I guess.
position that really puts a bit of a pedal on the brakes for T1's offensive momentum here as T1 still have
That
5
was a
alive,
never.
Sick down,
Just the
45
speakers.
seconds to
I thought I
go.
could do
To
kind of
be fair,
like
though,
a
T1 are just
semi-surround
pulling this one
sound and just hear it
decently slow.
out.
They don't have Rolling Thunder yet. They might not need it now with the player advantage. Shazam could have a timing if he exits
Has
the
to.
smoke appropriately.
Has to have
I remember
a timing.
sometimes it would give feedback in my
And
mic
Brax
too.
very aware
Like
of the
everyone
play.
I played with would
Now
Now
complain.
it's down to Sinatra. Paint shells will slow things down. He'll exit towards the spike site, but it's an exit that actually puts him closer to danger as there's no chance Sinatra wins here. Fortunate still to find one more kill. There's an opportunity still brewing here. Sentinels in a 2v2 as Dapper finds the trade. The spike is also on the ground. And as you start to see Zombs rotating over, as long as
10
Dapper can stay
seconds
alive,
left.
there's a chance. But with this, the spike will be picked up. It'll be planted, and Zombs will have to try to work in a 1v2.
And that was a really tricky 1v1 found as well, by the way, or a 2v1 situation, considering T1 had both players alive on
You
site.
heard
but
everything
8
you did
seconds to
twice
go.
in max
If
volume.
Brax dies to Dapper
And
there,
Olivia would hear
Sentinels probably win that
everything.
round.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's
again,
true. Yeah,
a late
Olivia would
plant,
hear
but this time it
everything.
works out. 2 players, not quite a crossfire, but they are far apart. That will
By
give the
semi-surround
opportunity
sound,
to
I mean
play
there was
for
2
time,
speakers in front of
as
me.
Zombs has to isolate both kills. We'll tap the spike
God,
early,
he has
draw
no idea
attention.
where these guys are.
No shots being fired yet. Spider comes around the back. Headshots landed, and Zombs cannot make a 2v1
No,
clutch.
Zombs, like-
Doesn't happen twice in a row, and T1 will get 5.
Yeah, he gets the read that you had one player that was playing over towards B main. That was Spider, who was in the backside. You were hoping to get some favorable timing. The prediction was that Brax was going to be coming from the top side of B tower. That was not the case. So just a little bit of an unfortunate guesswork there for Sentinels for maybe a chance at 1v2. But the bigger story, 4 rounds now consecutively in a row, dating to round 12 now forward.
Sin low-key
and you're going to
throwing.
get Sentinels once again.
It is
kind
kinda
of
weird that T1's coming back
so
a little
T1,
bit,
even though
like,
historically they have not
4
been the
rounds
greatest
in a
on the
what
offensive
row right
split,
now.
they're starting to wake up. Don't rule them out yet.
Aggressive movement from Sentinels. Looking over towards Dapper and
Oh,
Sinatra
they're
on
leaving
B
mid
main. Spider is
completely
waiting here, though,
to make
if
a play
anyone
on
wants
B
to actually
main.
push in. Bladestorm popped in, coming through from Shazam. So they are saving, by the way. They're on the eco. A couple of them do have SMGs now with the Bladestorm.
missed all the
Makes
shots.
this much more workable. Orbis
They're
will
like,
take
there's a
it
lot
away
B,
as
there's
well,
a
so
lot B
Sentinels
main.
will have another extra ultimate in the showstopper.
All of
Costly
that
move here
just
for
to
T1
take
trying
the
to
orb
deny and
in
find the
B
kill.
main.
They spend a flashpoint and they spend their paranoia trying to find the pick, and they don't get it. And beyond that, Shazam over towards A ramps will find a headshot on the Brax. So a lot of utility already being spent. The wall will come through. Most
So
of it
Omen's
will
going to push into
fortify.
A main to confirm that they're not going
I
A.
don't think you can sneak through this. They're going to have to delete it, and they do. Sentinels still trying to contest this, though, and Sick
allows
able to
Jet
find the kill,
to-
plus get the healing orb off. No trade to follow. So now big numbers for Sentinels in what has been a 5 round for them, 5v3.
Ooh.
Showstopper finally being used here. No connection.
Oh,
Eliza
no,
Doodle down.
Sinatra.
HK.
Oh.
One alive now for Spider as he tries to turn things around for T1. Kills on Sinatra. Still has 3 to
flash.
work against, though. The paranoia is going to be
flash,
too
dude, nice
much.
flash.
And T1, that's not the round you expected them to fall apart here, Chef,
No.
because for Sentinels,
He built,
they
like, the
came
Red
in on a
Singularity
late
Phantom.
buy and they
Dusty,
get 2
see ya.
ultimates. They challenge both orbs on A and B, and they get the Bladestorm. They get the Showstopper. You know what? Both the Bladestopper, the Showstopper, the Bladestorm, both of them actually got a kill each. So, I mean, there you go. The ultimate value's
There
been
you go.
found. You allow Sentinels to get towards their win conditions.
Cool, yeah,
and
I
use that
gotcha.
To actually get the round.
And talk about the fact that you don't have that paranoia available to try to clear And with AZK not able to get a good flash off, Sick finds value for not just 1 but 2 kills, and then good help from behind. And yeah, things not looking great here for T1. Not necessarily a must-win round, but you would have loved to have had that last one, considering the weapon advantage that you brought into the round. Goodness. So now T1 in a tough spot still. 5-11 the current score. You've got Skadoodle playing aggressive, will come through a trap wire and then tailwind away. Cyber Cage will be placed, and Skadoodle will be backing up, waiting for a little bit of help. You still have the ability to out the Thunder if you want to, if you're T1, but it looks like they're going to take a different approach, give up the B tower, and instead head over towards mid-vents.
They've had this Rolling Thunder since at least the 4th round.
Don't
I think
wanna be
they
mean
had
to
a
Dust.
timing on it for 3 in terms of being 1 away. Can't remember if AZK actually confirmed the Rolling Thunder availability on 3 or not, but definitely on 4 he had it. And T1 right now, that's a kill into Zom, so possibility of A is being opened up. Shazam is all here, though. Shazam could get a pick if Shazam does something special. And he doesn't, but could have. That would have been decent. T1 now have a great player advantage.
Yep.
God,
Sinatra last hope for Sentinel's defense. Emperor's going to try to roll behind this. He does find 1 kill, but he's on 10 HP, so he will say that's good enough for me.
Sometimes I
I'll
look at
go
the
ahead and
crosshair
make sure
placement
the
of these
Phantom
pros,
stays
and I'm just
safe,
like,
and T1
ooh.
will confirm their 6th round.
That's not good.
A big bounce back, but this could have been 7-10 instead of 6-11 if you just secure your eco from the round before. So you feel like you still missed an opportunity here if you're T1.
And for T1, though, the good news is you're keeping Sentinels away from 12 right now. So if you're looking at T1 from their POV,
Okay, Josh,
as long as they
what?
can keep Sentinels away from 12, they're in the
You don't
game.
like
As
my-
soon as
my
Sentinels get
Polyfox
12,
filter?
I think that's when things are more or less over. Once Sentinels get the 12, there's just no more room for error. And I mean, if you've seen T1 today at all in this best of 3, you know that T1 need a little bit of wiggle room here. I mean, just look at the rounds as they transpired in that first half. This is the first
cringe.
real kind of streak for T1 that kind of got broken on round number 4.
We get it.
and
You mastered
on round
crosshair
number 5
placement
now
in real
they'll
life.
recover it. So if we look towards the first half of Sentinels, it's a very similar story where if you look only in the first 5 rounds, it's also a 4-1. So it's kind of a repeat of that.
I have
It'll come
not
down to
mastered
whether
it.
T1 can now
I
string
always
together
continue
more
to work on
rounds,
it,
or whether
but-
Sentinels just close the door.
I am interested to see how good theirs is.
We'll see. Crucial round coming forward as a bit of a pause here, just so we'll kind of peruse
Some players,
over
it's
what's
like
available
awesome
for everybody.
100% of the time,
Resurrection,
and then
most
some
notably
players
as far
like
as
that
all
Sinatra
puts are
string was
concerned,
kinda
but
weird,
Spider's
right?
close to it from the shadows, and Dazed also a point away from getting the showstopper. On the opposite side,
The
you're
Jar
close to
Bellamy
a
command
neural
is a cool
theft
down.
and from the shadows of your own if you're
Gotta cool
Sentinels.
off.
But coming into this next round, the big problem here is Sick, and he will get purchased a Bulldog for him.
Where's what?
And
Where's
so you
what,
can still
Dusty?
fight. This is still a contested round, all said, here for the side of Sentinels. But there is an advantage for T1. And
Shazam?
I'm just going back once more over towards that round that the eco comes through for Sentinels. Pending T1 take this round coming forward, you're looking at a, 2-round differential instead of what has been now 5, potentially only 4 if you win the round. But I don't know. It's just you feel like you missed a big opportunity for T1 on their comeback after losing that eco a couple rounds previously.
I mean, it definitely makes things harder.
Is that inside the coffee
I think we can
shop?
apply
Oh yeah,
similar
they're in the
thoughts over
coffee shop
towards
and
multiple
split during the
rounds in
technical
that first half
timeout.
as well. That eco comes to mind as
Ooh, a
more
protein shot,
recent
whipped
hiccup for
cream,
the T1
cocoa
side of
chips,
things, a more recent hurdle,
lychee,
but
affogato,
it's all hurdles
caramel,
on the side
fudge,
of T1 for
coffee
that first half of the
smoothie.
swing.
What
How
even
many
is
of us
that?
dropped 10-2? Even when T1 were losing on the other maps, they at least,
All right, we're back.
It was what we had an 8-4 coming through on Haven, so
They're gonna make a
that's
play
at
out
least
mid here.
workable. Unpause now into the round. Big stack up, by the way, for Sentinels over towards mid.
This could catch T1 a bit off guard. In the past, they have thrown
defensive
some
play here.
numbers through the middle
Interested.
of the map.
Haven't
and
seen
will be
this
the
one
first
before.
time we've seen Sentinels try for a big hit in response to it. But T1 are not fully committing. This dark cover will make life a little bit more difficult. Sinatra holding on to the boombot and the paint shells.
Yeah, they're about to make a play
Zombs
here.
as well. There goes the paranoia coming through. Zombs able to find the first kill. The Cloudburst trying to keep everybody safe, but the trades will favor that of the Sentinels. Now isolated opportunities coming through these Cloudbursts, pushing right on in. No one saw Sick coming, but Brax over towards A will open up a little bit of space, but Skadoodle
They have
needs
the
to get
bomb
out
now.
of here.
Oh,
He's got this
no.
fight. He will drop, and now
Oh, what a
Sentinels,
play by the
4v2
Sentinels.
could be made a 5v2
Interesting.
if they wanted to just go over
I haven't
to
seen
A
a lot
with
of
the
defensive
resurrection,
plays on
but
split.
That's a risky play, and it might not even be necessary.
On
As Dapper
Haven and
cleans up
Ascent, I
Spider,
see a lot more.
It's all down to Brax for a 1v4.
and it doesn't seem possible. And you even mentioned the Resurrection play as well. What a nice heads-up.
I think they were just
Play
doing
coming
that
through
to
from
set
Sentinels.
themselves up for the
We
play.
noted the 3-stack. We noted the fact that look at Sick. He just
But it was kind
runs
of weird.
it
Like, dude, if
down
Race throws a
through
grenade
the
in there,
smoke, heals himself up on the way
you guys
as
are in
well.
trouble.
Gets a free kill on who was it? Daze on the other side of the wall. And the spike is dropped multiple times. It starts on AZK. He dropped the spike over towards Ramus. Kadoodle picks it up. Drops it over by the statues.
10 seconds left.
And now Brax just looking for maybe one kill. I think he may have made a little bit of noise. No. Dapper is still just looking the other way. And I don't think these two players will run into each other. And Brax will just be happy to walk away with a gun. But Sentinels have now found 12. And T1,
It is
their
defensive
tournament
plays
life
is a good
rests
way to
upon getting
counter
6
the split
rounds
push, though.
in
Match
a
point.
row to go into the overtime. And now Sentinels
definitely a
for
hard
sure
counter for the
are on
default.
match point. And the ability for them to make it to the main event of First Strike is just one map.
Here we go.
And to join the likes of Renegades as the first 2 teams in, I apologize for snickering. It's just, I don't think anyone would have imagined it. And
Renegades,
kind of just
first
reiterates
team
the
in.
fact that it might even be worthwhile just to throw out all of what you used to know from the Ignition Series era, because everything has changed in the span of a week and a half. Complexity strong, Renegades punching a ticket, and T1's new look you thought might be good enough, at least to a point. They have not quite shown up yet on Split. Their offensive side has found some favor, but now the task, like you mentioned, Avril, is to find 6 rounds in a row versus a team in Sentinels that have a 70% win rate on defense. They will take the middle of the map, and Sentinels have allowed this, though. They set up the wall to stop any play going to A tower, and then they'll just bring over Sick to try to help out towards the B tower. Slower being held. Here comes the commitment. Shoulders are being thrown, and the potential combination of either a boom bot or maybe even paint
know
shells
they're in
with
now.
the slow orb is going to come through. Flushing out the position, though, is
Sick,
T1,
so
and they're able to
aggressive
back
right there.
away and confirm a lot of damage. Very valuable opening hit here for T1 so far.
And this is where the Sage is actually valuable. Sick will get the heal up now. Here come the paint shells. Showstopper into play. Where do the kills come
Oh,
on?
Sinatra
Indeed,
gets
Ace
2.
down. Sinatra's got 2. He goes down as well. But Sentinels still
That's
have
game.
a Riz in
Oh,
play. He gets back
man.
in now.
And the
5-2
Rez.
ship, and this looks like Sentinels.
But Brax is still in a position. If he can find one more kill, maybe there's an opportunity. Now it's just down to Spider, but he doesn't bring Dapper close by. Sentinels, they will clean things up. A convincing first half leads to a 13-6 win.
Pretty
and more
impressive.
importantly, send them to the First Strike main event. $100,000 on the line, and Sentinels will be there to compete for it as
Charbelly,
one of our
enjoy
first
your
4 here out of the Nerd
points,
Street
dude.
Gamers
Nice
qualifier.
betting.
And T1, they had a really good effort here. They showed up in places where they needed to show up. I think a lot of people, I agree, when we talked with Bok earlier, they didn't even consider that T1 were going to be able to make it this far. I mean, consider that they had to come through in quite a difficult group. No one expected Complexity to be the #1 seed. And T1 had to overcome Genji. T1 lost the Complexity. T1 had
Where
a
are
bit of a
you,
difficult
Char?
journey in some cases through the open qualifier as well. I guess the silver lining is T1 have
Oh,
looked
there.
better, but not good enough to take down a team like Sentinels. And to be fair as well, Sentinels, they didn't get to walk away with this one for free. They certainly struggled.
yeah.
We go back to Bind. We go back to T1 looking pretty darn good on Bind, but not good enough to be able to take out the series. They still go down 1 and 2, and Sentinels, not in the fashion everyone expected, but still expectedly will get through the top 4.
Yeah, a disappointing end for T1,
Enjoy your
sure.
points.
You were hoping that maybe we'd see this roster just completely blow away our expectations, and to a certain extent, they kind of did. You know, they made it at least to this point, but a bit of a disappointing end in that they
Wow,
aren't able
big
to get
surprise.
past Sentinels, and
Easy
Sentinels
claps.
will be moving
Surprise,
on further
new
in the tournament.
command.
Further, they'll actually qualify for that event with Riot, which is actually huge, which we've already seen Renegades qualify for as well. So we'll go ahead and pull up the bracket so you can see what's going on currently. Cloud9 Blue surprisingly losing earlier to the Renegades in a 2-0 no less. That's a bit shocking. The fact that it wasn't even a 3-map series and we watched them get eliminated is a bit of a surprise. And then over here we had Sentinels taking down T1 in a 2-1 fashion, and we currently have our Complexity Envy game currently live over on Nerd Street
command is
Gamers
added.
2.
You're back.
So you can head over to twitch.tv/NerdStreetGamers2 if you want to catch up on that. But we're going to be jumping into a doozy of a match in a minute with
Oh, man.
TSN 100 Thieves. But before we do, let's talk about this series. You know, Sentinels maybe got off to a bit of a rough start on that first map, but since then it did basically seem like it was their series. It didn't really feel like T1 brought much to the table in the other 2 maps, and they tried to keep it close, but Sentinels had a couple of solid runs round-wise that made it difficult for T1 to kind of keep themselves in it.
I think the biggest takeaway when we're looking at this T1 squad, where we had questions about the new roster, obviously we saw them in the open qualifier, kind of a mixed bag of results as far as was it convincing enough? I don't think any of us on the talent team would have said yes, that this T1 roster change is going to put them into a spot to be a major contender. But the one thing I still will say, looking at Bind specifically, is the fact that they are making some really interesting calls. They're one of the only teams out there that we see try to pull off this very slow, methodical execute style on their offense. And it worked. It worked to a great effect early on in Bind. And you have to pay a lot of consideration, respect for the fact that they're trying something new that no one else is doing. And very often, if you're trying to be a trailblazer like that, you'll find yourself on a path that will lead to success. Are there still some things that need to be cleaned up? Absolutely. Defensively, I think you need to take a look as far as how fast are your retakes coming through, specifically on Haven. Again, just too free of sights, I think, overall for Sentinels to get in. They're able to take 8 rounds offensively. And yeah, T1, they started to pull things back on their side, but especially on split, that's when that factor, I think, comes into play, that defensively that they're just not finding enough opening kills to stall out these hits that Sentinels found so much success with on their offense.
And Park, I'm glad you brought up Bind as well, by the way, because that ends up being, first of all, the best showing from T1, but also the only map they win in this series, and that only comes through in the overtime 15 and 13. And in some ways, you can look at it from, a glass half full perspective, a glass half empty perspective as well. It becomes a 7-0, and after the 7-0, you start to think, okay, T1 are really on fire today. Sentinels are not doing anything right, but it's the 9 rounds in a row afterwards for Sentinels that reminds you, this is still Sentinels. Sentinels are still favored on paper. This is not just me saying that Sentinels are the better team. I think if you ask anybody, most people say Sentinels should be one of the favorites here. The defending Ignition Series, champions here. And Sentinels, after that 9 rounds in a row, I think that's the part that's convincing me. That's the part that reminds me and everyone else that Sentinels are here to play. And after you get past this map, despite it being a T1 win that only happens in the overtime, once Sentinels get onto Haven and split, that 9 rounds in a row gets converted into the real kind of Sentinels we get to see. And then on those 2 maps, the Sentinels start to really get on fire, and we get to see some really good games from them.
Yeah. I will say this, T1 has laid out the foundation for this team. Maybe the team in the past didn't really work out, but we have to disconnect ourselves from that previous roster and look at this one where it's currently at. We can't say like, oh, they've been together for so long, they should be up here. Well, maybe they're down here because they made this recent roster change, but I do think that sets the ceiling a little bit higher. Looking at a player like Spider, we've seen some flashes, but I think that still things are a little bit clunky for 100 or for the team.
God, the TSM
T1,
games
excuse
right
me.
now.
So,
I gotta
Avril,
take the
do you
dog
think
out.
that maybe we'll see T1 resurge in that next qualifier and show up with even better results potentially, maybe even walking away with a higher seeding
what should I do?
moving
What
into
should I
the
do? I
actual
can
event
take
with
the
Riot?
dog out right
Yeah,
now.
I think there's 2 things here to consider.
And it'll
One
take like
is
30,
that,
45
are they
minutes.
going to make improvements between now and the next qualifier? They obviously get to immediately seed into the UMG event, right? And the second thing would be, could they beat a team if it wasn't for Sentinels? If they got matched up against another team,
And then I'll make
probably
probably the end
Renegades,
of the
if they
game.
got Envy
Or
or
I can
100
leave during
Thieves,
the
or
middle of it.
or I guess they're the second seed, so that we'd be talking about them getting a first seeded team like Cloud9 or Complexity, right, where they have gone through. Now that Sentinels are gone, now that Renegades are gone as well, and we're about to find out what all 4 teams making it through are going to be. Those are the 4 teams that you're not going to see again in UMG. So
Yo,
if
hello,
you are
Sam.
T1 coming back,
Hello,
you don't have
Sam.
to face those. Do you have a better
Hey,
shot at
Josh,
playing against?
you and
I
your
was absolutely watching a YouTube
and
video.
I guess the answer, the short answer.
Josh, why aren't you like?
This is a decent
Oh,
On your
Kami's
stream.
lurking, dude. What's up, Kami? Haven't seen you in forever.
It's the fact that they've kind of denied another team's spot.
I'm trying to figure out what should I do. What should,
Oh,
should
yeah,
I
what's up, Josh?
should I leave
I definitely slept on them.
Nah, Chief.
For sure.
now? Miss the first, I don't know, few rounds of the game, or should I leave in the middle? Go take the dog out.
All right, just leave it inside.
The dog needs exercise, Cal. The dog needs exercise.
It can take a day off.
No, stop,
Facts.
That little fat fuck.
stop. It could take.
I mean, that little fat fudge.
Yes, PG stream.
That little fat fudge can take a day off.
Ah, okay, yep. I think I go.
Oh, you go now, Josh. Go
way
now, go
you-
now.
Yeah, I
no,
go.
no.
I go now.
Never, Josh.
Never. No way you're taking on the dog. When
Do I wait? Do I leave the stream on so everyone gets points?
Yeah.
Of course. Why would you?
yeah.
Why would you turn it on?
That is
Put it,
clown Josh moment.
dude. Just turn on
Clown.
your like. Just turn on your.
Wait,
Turn on your coming back soon. Like.
Yeah, come on.
There have been a lot of clown
Work
Josh
hard on that,
moments
Josh.
today.
Let's use it.
Oh, okay. You're right. I can
Oh,
put. I can
true.
put the. I'll be right back. You're right.
Yeah, I'll be right
success.
back. I'm
Could we
haven't
see
stuck
an
now.
off-season
Be right back
shakeup
in 8
if some of these
years.
teams aren't able to
Maybe
make
let's
it? When we
add
see
in
players juggled around, we've already seen some
See, I think he's
rosters
cool making a
commit
one-way.
to that in the past. You know, between
No,
a couple
dude.
of Ignition Series
Yeet.
events, dropping players and rotating them around.
Flash.
One of those teams was
He's
Clemson,
dead.
who is
He's dead.
now
The
looking
fuck was
solid.
that?
I mean, Omen
They
Flash.
swap out a few pieces here and there, and
Dude,
they've
please.
now assembled what
Oh, he's
seems
right
to be
there, I'm
that
dead.
magical roster for them as they
I love-
managed
who's-
to make
who's
it
fucking
to
smoke
this
with
point
that
in the
bitch?
tournament. They're
Look
currently
at our
fighting
stage,
with
baby.
Envy over on the B stream. Again, that's twitch.tv/NerdStreetGamers2. But we have another series, and we're just about to jump into the action as we get to see a doozy. We're going to see TSM and 100 Thieves, and if TSM pull off a win here, that means we get that oh-so-wonderful TSM Sentinels matchup. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We are going to throw things to a break. When we come back, we'll be jumping into TSM versus 100 Thieves. Stay tuned.
It's time to level up with 120 Hz refresh rate and hyper-fast 5G. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. Always leveling up. Always Texas.
The faculty of Skullamax will face off 1 versus 1 in the ultimate battle of mashing. Who will win? Who will become undead? Find out where the Introducing the world's first all-electric super truck. Be among the first to own the revolutionary Hummer EV. Reserve your all-electric super truck now at gmc.com.
And we are back and just about ready to jump into our next series. And if you missed it before we went to the break, it's going to be a doozy. 100 Thieves versus TSM, both teams fighting for their chance to move on not only further in the closed qualifier, but making it officially into that NA Major with Riot. So this is going to be an exciting one, and depending on the outcome of this too, we could have a doozy of a match to follow it up, as Sentinels is waiting in the wings to fight the winner of this one. Will it be 100 Thieves with a bit of a surprise win over TSM, or will TSM give us that all too juicy grudge match between TSM and Sentinels? I'm excited to get into the action, and I've got two casters who are now joining me on the broadcast. Swapping out Avril and Shift, we've got Simo and Esports Doug, the vice president of the Reina Cosplay Club, or whatever you want to call it anymore. I'm loving the shirts too, by the way. Simo comes in as the TSM cheerleader, and Doug comes in looking like he just walked off the beach sipping a Mai Tai. That's a good look.
Listen, hold on. Doug, before you hop into this one, Reddit, for some reason, for some strange reason, calls me TSM Simo. So I thought, I'd look the part, I'd dress the part for the series, and have a whole lot of fun doing it.
You look good. Simo, you look good. I gotta give it to you. And Bach, it's my party shirt, right? We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be a banger of a series. I know Simo and I have been chomping at the bit to get into the action all day, really. So we couldn't be more excited. It's gonna be a party. It's gonna be a good one.
Doug, I feel like every time we get you on camera now, the buttons just keep getting lower and lower. Eventually, you're going to get all the way to the bottom, and you're going to have to start at the top again. So you're going to have one button at the top, and it's just going to be like winged out because it's just got to have to start from the top to the bottom again. But, I dig the look. I think it's very festive as we jump into a party, like you said, between TSM and 100 Thieves. Now, 100 Thieves, we didn't really know what to expect from this team coming into this tournament because we haven't really gotten a chance to see them play. Whereas TSM, we know what to expect. And at times, it's been a little bit disappointing, as it felt like TSM didn't necessarily deliver the same level of performance that we've seen them delivered, like during the Ignition series, for instance. Simo, as the number one person, or the number one fan for TSM, apparently the head of the fan committee, what is going on with TSM? What is the deal with these sometimes slow starts to a series?
I think there's kind of, I feel like to the bigger picture of how TSM are playing, we have to evaluate what are the different pieces and how are they moving around. You've got Wardell and you've got Sabrosa that are definitely online for the tournament. A lot of flick shots here from him. These were absolutely beautiful to watch against BBG a couple of days prior. But I think under the new in-game leadership under Cutler, this team is really looking like they are up to form. I know that in a previous stream, Drone was in the chat saying how I was saying, it was going to be a worst-case scenario for the Slimy Boogerman if TSM fell. Hypothetically, that would have been a horrible scenario, but they really dispatched Renegades the other day. And I think really it's just Wardell and Sabrosa just cooking things up and the rest of the team being great supportive teammates on, Sovas, Cyphers, whatever the team needs them to be to provide them with the intel to take down whoever it is that they're facing. And on the flip side, for 100 Thieves, I feel like for them, the biggest test is really just TSM. They lost to them in the open qualifier, and they weren't able to take down Cloud9 in the group stage, so they just need to beat a top 5 team to prove that they deserve to be a part of that conversation.
Doug, your thoughts here on 100 Thieves and TSM. What should we expect to see potentially from 100 Thieves? I think that Simo kind of tackled TSM. 100 Thieves, we were hopeful. We want this project to succeed because the first run around didn't really go the way that maybe we anticipated. Is this new 100 Thieves roster potentially better on an exponential level than that old roster was?
I certainly think so. And I think when you look at this squad on paper, it all makes sense, right? You take 3 studs with a DNA makeup for winning, right? And then you add these 2 young bucks in Dicey and Asuna who are absolutely out of control, who have been able to frag out with some of the best of them. And you combine that, and on paper, you've got the veteran leadership, the mentorship, and you've got these young guys that can be groomed to get better and better and mature and learn along the way. So honestly, I think this has probably been the most exciting put together of roster, at least as of late. I've been very high on this 100 Thieves roster for a while, even honestly before they were officially announced. And they have performed to an extent. Now, by no means do I think that they're perfect and they don't have any more room to grow. There's still a couple of things that they need to work on, but by and large, this 100 Thieves roster has the pieces there, right? Like, the last performance against TSM was brutal, but I don't think that you can count this roster out.
Taking a look at the picks and bans there, you see how it's going to go down. TSM bans binds will be starting on Ascent. That's going to be 100 Thieves pick. Haven for map number 2. Split for map number 3. We are just about ready to jump into the action. So quick prediction, Simo, who do you got taking the series?
Come on, baby. Is it even a question? It is even a question. 2-1 TSM. They're going to face up against the Sentinels because that's the match that we truly want.
Doug?
I think I'm going to go 2-1 TSM as well. I think 100 Thieves will have a much better performance than last time, but I think it's just going to be too strong. We are going to wave goodbye to our dear friend Bach as we get into the action, folks. As Bach said, we are going to be going to Ascent first. The last time, these two teams met was actually on Ascent in the first map, and it was a 5-13 win for TSM. So given some of that history, it could be tough, but again, you can't count this 100 Thieves roster out at any point.
Yeah, I mean, we also saw a pretty convincing win from 100 Thieves up against Cloud9. And to be honest, watching that VOD back, I managed to pick up that 100 Thieves really likes to play around Dicey and Asuna on this map. Give them the potential, especially on the defensive side, to double peek. They're not going to be on the defensive side this time, so we'll see what the attack looks like. So far, not too bad as they find an early pick reaching onto this B site, and it's traded away by Cutler, but the spike still needs to go down.
Yeah, and a couple members of 100 Thieves have taken a good bit of damage already, Asuna being one of them, but was able to take care of Drone and heal up. So far, so good for 100 Thieves. They managed to get onto the site and get the spike down. Again, the last time they played, it was actually an early hit on A. Hiko played off the side a bit and ended out not being able to join the fray quickly enough. But we'll see. It looks like actually a pretty similar setup, all things considered.
Asuna does get revealed there by the recon bolt, but still TSM really the gatekeeper here, not letting 100 Thieves out, and they may really just try to put the nail in the coffin here. So far it's the opposite side that is doing that damage as Asuna finds a pick. The Lear comes in, which means that they got to start to push forward. Cutler finds himself in a little bit of a tougher spot. That's gonna be Hayes finding the crossfire frag, and it's all down to him in a 1v3. Asuna from range with the Ghost will take him down. And 100 Thieves winning the pistol there to kick us off. You know, and considering the last time these two teams met, it didn't start out that way. TSM found the first and the second round conversion. And once TSM got to that attacking side, they just swept 100 Thieves underneath their feet. But moving into this one, there's a huge opportunity here for 100 Thieves to have a much more solid half, considering they had a better chance in the first half than they did in the second, and the sides are the exact same in comparison to that open qualifying match.
Yeah, I think another thing to note, it doesn't look like TSM is going to be forcing up much of anything here in the second round. So pretty standard. You imagine pistols obviously not going to have the same punch, the same firepower that 100 Thieves is going to be bringing into the table. And Nitro already flexing a little bit of that with the Bulldog getting the opening frag onto Sub Rosa. It looks like it's going to be a hit onto ACMO.
Pretty standard stuff as they brute force their way in. Unfortunately for Asuna, Drone wins that challenge with the classic, and now it's all down to Hayes from range. Not a round that we expected TSM to really have a huge impact on. But now, this third and upcoming round, this is where they really need to put the pedal to the metal. You see Wardell already purchasing up that operator. We'll have to pay attention to where he ends up going, because 100 Thieves on the defensive side are very comfortable with the double peek. They pushed Dicey and Asuna in B main, in A main, and they really were able to shut down tens in that fashion. Wardell is going to want to have that same effect against Asuna and against Dicey, because already Asuna 4-1, already off to a hot start, and Wardell wants to nullify that as soon as possible to find an early round here.
Yeah, I think it's really important to get the young bucks of 100 Thieves off to a strong start. The interesting thing for Wardell, at least on the side of TSM, is we've seen that team be very comfortable moving him around different areas of the map with the operator. We'll see him hold down mid, we'll see him hold down A long. So keep a close eye on where they position him throughout the map. So far, both teams have lost one already. Nitro's going to be able to get onto the site and get the spike down. A 4v4 here, as it looks like 100 Thieves has firm control. The site TSM is all starting to rotate over from the defensive side, but Sub Rosa getting a little bit too greedy there.
Well, I mean, having both players on the 50 in B main is really a tough call, and unfortunately for Steel, barely gets tagged by Cutler. They want to deal with Wardell. They don't really care about the player's backside, but those players are starting to funnel in, so Dicey's got to be a little bit more careful. He's going to get flashed off. He's going to smoke himself out into infinity. Now starting to come through. Dicey takes down 2, and it's all down to Wardell. He's looking for exit frags, finds one onto Steel, and the third round conversion goes to the favor of 100 Thieves. A solid start here against TSM. This is what you want to see if you want to take map number 1.
Yep, absolutely strong start. Unfortunate there that Dicey goes down to the spike, but if you're a fan of TSM, you know that you're going to be bringing the operator into the next round. Wardell's getting off to a strong start as well, and those are the 2 players, as we all know, that is worth keeping a close eye on. Wardell and Dicey, the operators, the Jets, who's going to be able to put up more flash, essentially, to keep the map close, to keep the rounds competitive. As you mentioned, Simo, a very strong start from 100 Thieves. We've seen a couple of different looks from them so far, that one being the most impressive, in my opinion, knowing that TSM, was going to be able to respond in kind. Once again, something a little bit different here. Wardell's going to be playing over on the A site, playing a bit more aggressively here with Cutler in tow, and that's exactly where the spike is headed.
Oh, gotta be careful. Sabrosa, Sheriff in hand, gonna try to back away. TSM really want to control the choke points here, the B and A main choke points. 100 Thieves, though, they do tend to have a lot of mid control as it pertains to their attack plan normally. We didn't get to see a whole lot of it because they were on the defensive side to start up against Cloud9. They're, one very successful match in that series. On the attacking side, they really were able to just run away with the match, and Cloud9 could not, the battle of attrition of the rounds that they had to win, they could not make it through. And so for TSM, we're going to see a very similar battle, considering 100 Thieves are very comfortable in the position that they're at. When are TSM going to stop the bleeding? This round is going to be a little bit difficult. Wardell does have the operator, and he's 1 point away from the Blade Storm. So he definitely can be impactful, but he's got to be a little bit careful on the opposite sides. The sooner he's going to feel that pain. And now trying to run away. Steel finds him in the cross, trying to escape through the tree room, and that's going to open up this A site wide open for 100 Thieves.
Oh yeah, and it goes from bad to worse for TSM as Hayes and Drone are going to be sitting on the sideline for the rest of the round. 100 Thieves once again in firm control and the spike there. Furthermore, they have the Hunter's Fury if things get spicy, if they need to provide something a little bit extra. Hiko has that ultimate there to be able to pick it. Well, all right, never mind. Hiko's taken out as well. But still, TSM just down to Cutler, looking to save that operator, maybe get a frag on the way out. Ideally, he's certainly going to get a chance as he takes out Nitro. And he's just going to get the heck out of Dodge. But nonetheless, 100 Thieves, as you mentioned, are going to come out of the gate swinging a 4-round lead early on, much stronger than what we saw last time these two teams met.
Now, I understand that listen, I don't read chat when I cast, but I imagine the TSM Simo caused an uproar. All I want to say is that I love both teams, but don't you want TSM versus Sentinels? That would be just the spiciest match on the planet. However, I do have to identify that 100 Thieves beating TSM here would be a huge statement. Imagine 100 Thieves qualifying over TSM. 100 Thieves really struggling through the open and close qualifier. They were able to beat the tier 2 teams, but not really have a bigger splash against the tier 1 teams. And so this is a very important series for them. For TSM, this is just business as usual. If they win this, no one is going to really bat an eye because it's suspected that they should. So 100 Thieves, kind of the underdog in this story, in this series against TSM. But at the end of the day, I think the fans want TSM versus Sentinels because that would be, once again, a similar bloodbath that happened at the FaZe Clan Invitation.
Lockdown has been used. Wardell opts to go aggressive, and he gets punched in the mouth at the hands of Asuna. The lockdown is still there as Drone follows up. He's going to trade it back and is able to take care of the lockdown. That's a huge play from Drone.
For 100 Thieves, it was the pump fake all along, heading towards that A side. They were just trying to cause enough ruckus. They were looking for control of B main from TSM, but they really couldn't hold it for much longer. And that lockdown was just to sell this A side plant, which does, of course, go down. And now it's up to TSM to work their way back over towards this A side. So far, it's just hazed alongside Cutler. Asuna's going to find Drone rotating towards that A site. So this execute works out phenomenally for 100 Thieves. They get everything they want. They get the A side plant. They get the rotations. They get control of B main. They force a lockdown for it, but it still works out in the long run. And 100 Thieves now will lead by 5 rounds.
You know, you're mentioning, you know, the possibility of TSM and Sentinels in the you know, the match to come if things go out that way. I think for 100 Thieves, actually, this has the opportunity to be really a program-defining win in the short life cycle, the short lifespan of 100 Thieves Valorant.
Yes.
Think about the rough start that they had. They didn't know if they had the right pieces. Then all of a sudden, you're starting to sign these trash signings in Nitro and Steel, and then you get in Dicey and Asuna. And as I was mentioning earlier, this roster looks really good on paper, but as we all know, they haven't delivered that win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that big punch, that one that says this roster, this experiment has worked and they've arrived. For them to qualify to get a top 4 spot at First Strike and to beat TSM on the way, that's huge. But Sabrosa goes in aggressive. You hear the Hunter's Fury has been used to try to delay things just a tad. Steel's able to take care of Wardell. Asuna looking to see if anyone's there, but no, nobody's home.
So, okay, like, I already know the tweets that are going to come out from that play. Like, who does that? Who puts down a dark cover, teleports into it, pops out, finds somebody? He had the support from Drone. Look where Drone's sitting. He's in the catwalk. He flashed the person coming in from the B lobby. And Sabrosa was like, thank you very much. I'm going to take that one alt out. But it still gets nullified to a 4v4 because as Sabrosa teleports back out, they nullify that trade with the catwalk. I don't know if that's if they were using a rifle or an operator there, but they still find a pick of one of the players just trying to cover for Sabrosa. So a very, very like interesting, spectacular play, but they just trade, and all 100 Thieves needed to do was look down the center, and they found a pick. Whereas TSM worked, they sweated for that one frag, and that one frag ended up being Nitro.
Yeah, it was a very nice set piece. They actually have something very similar that they bust out on the eco rounds. We'll keep an eye on that. If Wardell has the Blade Storm, they'll do a very similar set piece. They'll ward off, or excuse me, not ward. They'll smoke off the entrance from mid and into B main. The breach will flash into the courtyard, and Wardell will go up, see if he can spot anyone. So very similar set piece. The one difference being, obviously, it was Sabrosa who got involved and dashed in. But with 10 seconds left, the spike just now starting to get onto the site. There's a Hunter's Fury by Hiko to clear things out. Steel's able to take care of Cutler as well. Once again, the spike goes down. 100 Thieves in control. But, Simo, it's a 2v2.
Yeah, is it a 2v2 for much longer? Hiko's got to watch his back. Dicey now with the op 10 HP in a dream. As TSM are narrowing in on their first round win. It's all falls to Dicey. First shot's going to connect. It's all down to Sabrosa. The 3K on the round will signify the round win here for TSM. A round they desperately needed to put on the board, and of course to make TSM Simo happy. But for 100 Thieves, they've obviously gotten off to a phenomenal start, and we can't discredit the work that they put in to win that 3rd gun round, to win that 5th gun round, constantly converting. And for TSM, they needed to stop the bleeding. Thankfully, they did so. But still, 4 players ended up falling. That economy has to hurt somewhere. You see Drone is pinched for armor. Sabrosa's down to 400. It was an expensive round to win.
Was an expensive round to win, but as you said, getting the proverbial monkey off their back is an important thing, especially on a map like Ascent. On the side of 100 Thieves, they're still going to have guns and armor for days. However, there were a couple of players who got pretty low on credits. I didn't catch exactly who they were. One of them bought all the way down to 0, so they've been investing, and while they've been winning a ton, it's not like it's been flawless rounds across the board. 100 Thieves have certainly been a bit worse for wear in a couple of rounds. We've seen a couple of interesting plays out of 100 Thieves so far. This time, Asuna using the Empress. It looks like they're trying to hit onto A, but it might be bait yet again. No. No, sir. They're going to push their way through Tree Room. That's exactly where they want to go.
Ooh, Dicey going to find a pick there onto Sabrosa. 1 player down, but Wardell is still a part of the conversation alongside Drone and Hayes, which are making their way back over towards this A site. The red carpet's going to be rolled out, and they want to delay the plant temporarily to get themselves an opportunity to get onto the site. So far, Wardell misses a crucial shot. It's down to 3 members here for TSM, working their way back onto the site. 100 Thieves getting into their post-plant positions. They've got a couple of members down in hell, a couple of members back towards A main, and Asuna playing point towards the tree room. But TSM, it's all up to Drone to find this frag onto Asuna. If he can find it, it's going to bode incredibly well for TSM. The fact that he falls means TSM need to back away, and they can't risk fighting. Because if he finds Asuna there, it's a 3v3, it's doable. 1 player's towards A main, and they can make their way back open onto the site.
Simo, an entire, night and day difference here in the early moments of this map, of this series, really out of 100 Thieves. And we saw these guys last. TSM was able to jump out early, and it was kind of traded back and forth, and then TSM ran away with it. This time, it's been 100 Thieves who have been able to establish presence early on, winning up 6-1 at this point already. It's just really, really impressive again. And the thing is, if the young guys can frag out, that's a good sign, right? Like, if they can get those guys in a position to deliver for the squad, that bodes well for 100 Thieves. Dicey sitting at 7-3, Asuna at 9-5 as well. This is a good start for 100 Thieves.
I mean, they really rely on these two for this map to provide the double peaks that we consistently look at. They're on the attack right now. Once we get to that defense, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But at the moment, they're relying Asuna and Dicey to entry. You're seeing them both positioned on both sides. Dicey alongside Hiko going to be working the A lobby angle. And on the opposite side, you get the rest of 100 Thieves looking in towards B main. The paranoia comes through for Nitro. That's just to set up Asuna. Now they have a lot more ground, and TSM have to be a little bit more cognizant. We've given up a lot of mid controls. Yeah, Sabrosa's on the catwalk, but really, how much can I do with that? That's a perfect opening pick here for TSM, and that's going to really nullify the question markers. Do we have mid control? Not really, but an open pick is definitely going to help out.
Yeah, so is that operator at the hands of Wardell. Able to make that bad boy sing as you see Nitro creeping his way up mid. Trying to establish some control. And again, it's about controlling the map, right? The fact that they're able to gain more and more real estate. And from that, more and more intelligence. Certainly what 100 Thieves are looking to do here. They have slowly but surely crept their way onto the B side. The spike is not, but still in a position of power.
Nice.
Nitro was on the flank. Wardell able to take care of him. That's a big kill.
It will at least be nullified temporarily, but still two members of 100 Thieves have to be careful. Steel just trying to find this pick onto Wardell, and now that the smoke subsides, he's not going to be able to find a Hiko. It's all up to you. He's got the spike, he's got shock darts, recon bolt coming in shortly, but he's up against 4 members of bloodthirsty TSM players. There's going to be the swing, there's going to be the peak. Wardell with the 4K on the round, definitely starting to light up the scoreboard. You know, I want to highlight there was a specific moment where 100 Thieves managed to land a recon bolt towards the back of site. You and I were debating this earlier today. For TSM, they make the decision in agent selection to either put Hazed on the Cypher or put Hazed on the Killjoy. If you're putting Hazed on the Cypher, you're looking to counter any movements from, well, also you're looking to stall. But mainly, the recon bolts on the B site, we've seen a very creative cyber cage up on the back wall to stop the recon bolts from really spotting out anybody. The fact that you're swapping over to the Killjoy really means that you're just trying to use a lot of that utility to deny even harder, because I think the utility from Killjoy is a little bit better at stopping pushes than Cypher utility.
Certainly agree. That is a change that was made between the open qualifier and the closed qualifier out of folks over at TSM. Cutler's going to get a good bit of information to know there's pressure coming in from Tree Room as the members of 100 Thieves flood onto the site. TSM's going to have 2 over a B with plenty of utility to boot, but that's not going to do them any good. Cutler drops, 100 Thieves in control of A.
So far, so good for 100 Thieves. They'll have control of this A site, and once again, TSM sitting on the sidelines for the rest of this round, likely not going to contest and save that weaponry to move into the next. You know, I think a best-case scenario here for TSM, we're at 2-7 right now. If you're looking to come out of this half alive, you need another round or two. A round minimum to put yourself at 9-3 or 8-4. That would be the worst case scenario for 100 Thieves, but we've still seen a lot of creative defensive looks. In fact, that is how 100 Thieves managed to take down Cloud9. It was a 10-2 finish, and it was on the defense they were able to really put up those types of numbers. And so for TSM, you really need to have a little bit more oomph in your step here, as there aren't too many rounds that remain. There are 3 after this one. You got to put 1 or 2 more up to really make this half worth your while, so you can swap over to the attack and have your chance at success.
Now, Simo, let me ask you this. We know, given how this panned out the last time these two squads met, that TSM was very strong on the attacking side. If you're 100 Thieves, what's a comfortable score at halftime for you? What do you need to get to take maybe not a full deep breath or a sigh of relief, but at least have some semblance of comfort going into TSM's stronger side?
I mean, ultimately, obviously 10-2 would be the best, but I don't know how reasonable that would be. TSM have managed to put rounds together, gun rounds together, and they may be looking for that here as well. Dicey finding an early pick onto Sabrosa, doesn't double peek with Wardell. Wardell was looking towards the catwalk, maybe trying to find a player from B lobby with that angle, but of course the smoke pushes him off, and now he's got to work on this A side by himself. I think for 100 Thieves, really anything that I listed for TSM would be great because their defensive side is strong as well. So it'll be kind of a battle of attrition between both of these teams. We got to pay attention to this side hit from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Wardell's able to get one, tries to get a second as members of 100 Thieves knock on their doorstep. Wardell somehow manages just to get the tiniest of pixels onto Nitro, but he's traded out by Dicey as the op battle goes in favor of 100 Thieves. TSM trying to fight to regain control of this site coming in from heaven. The spike is down. Nobody has picked it up. The lockdown's going to be used as well. Drone might be able to wallbang somebody. It looks like he dealt some damage, but not enough to get the kill. Steel's going to get knocked up as well. He's taken out. TSM have control of A.
30 seconds left on the clock for 100 Thieves to get this spike planted. So far, so good for TSM, but they're all huddled up. 100 Thieves making a lot of noise, moving up through the garden, and we're about to see a bloodbath here on the Heaven side. Dicey and opting in for the Phantom instead. Drone going to find the first pick. It's all down to Dicey. Shot's going to be good onto the first, down to the 1v2. He's going to have to escape those shots as he drops down onto the site. 15 seconds left on the clock. He's got to plant the spike, and all that's left is Cutler and Hayes. Oh no, he cancels it. Now he wants to get involved. Ooh. Tailwind's out. He's just trying to stall for as long as he can. The lockdown does not help, and Hayes will find that frag onto Dicey. TSM securing that round, and you see how much they committed to secure that round. Dropping that lockdown was just to say, I am not letting you win this round. I'm not letting Dicey, the shenanigans come through, the 1v2 clutch. I'm not letting it happen. Because in that round, he found 2 picks with the op, and he found Wardell as well under Hell, and he really opened up the site for 100 Thieves. So TSM was like, no. Stop that. Lockdown, drop it down. Dicey's like, I can't do anything about this. It's difficult to play against, so he just pretty much gives up, tries to peek, tries to find the frag, and so good down TSM to win that round.
Wardell once again with the operator. Looked like they were trying to establish some semblance of mid-control, but 100 Thieves are actually taking the matter once again to the doorstep of the A site. And so far, nothing has been fully committed yet. A couple smokes going up to buy time. As you see Sabrosa start to cheat over, the Hunter Tree is going to be used by Hiko to try to clear out the tree room and heaven area of the map. The spike has made it onto the site. Nitro is going to begin to plan to Sabrosa. Nice. With the flank is able to take care of Asuna. Spike down, however. 100 Thieves trying to grow the lead.
Yeah, Asuna sitting in Broza was looking to try to catch some of the players out in rotation or maybe coming in from the tree room. So the fact that TSM committed 3 members there means that they were committed to trying to fight those angles that 100 Thieves were looking to benefit from. But now it's all down to the players on site. Steel bobs and weaves in and out of the smoke. Gonna find Sabrosa. Now it's down to the 2v3. Hiko playing backside. Steel weathering the storm of the Nano Swarm. Now has to walk through the fire and the flames. He's gonna get taken down by Wardell. It's all down to Hiko spraying down the spike. Shock dart in hand, gonna likely take down maybe some of the life members here from TSM, but they're still alive. They're still defusing Wardell, waiting for Hiko to peek. The shot's gonna be good. He can't defuse. Wardell's gotta run, and 100 Thieves clutch the round.
Oh, Hiko played that so well. A little bit of fire early on through the smoke where the pings were coming down from his team to let him know exactly where the spike was, right? Couple of bullets, then pulls off, drops the shock dart, and that forces the diffuser off the spike. And it just buys time. It bought Hiko enough time to reload and reposition himself. There were no pings afterwards, but still, once the smoke went down, he was able to take care of the person diffusing, drop things down to a 1v1. Ultimately, at that point, it didn't matter. Wardell didn't have enough time. The diffuse timer ran out, and that pocketed 100 Thieves that win. Hiko played that very well.
Down to the last and final round of regulation before we swap over to the second half. Looking at 100 Thieves, we've seen this look before, but maybe with a little bit more mid-aggression. That's why you're seeing Steel start to head on over there. The Empress popped means that they're ready to push in, but Hayes in a corner that we tend to see a lot really cancel this push forward. We'll see if 100 Thieves are anticipating Hayes playing in that position. Wardell's going to be playing close as well. Aftershock actually pushes Asuna off. They're looking to fight this now. Hayes going to find one, but the Empress still on here for Asuna as he gets smoked off. The firefight will commence, or sorry, will subside, as Steel has managed to find himself incredibly deep behind enemy lines. That recon dart will not get spotted, and they know that something's cooking. Sabrosa's been flanking all along, and guess what? Steel's been there as well, but it's all down to him. He's going to find 2 picks, but there are 3 members of TSM remaining. A very crazy round, a lot of flanks happening on all sides of the map, but TSM come out to outflank all of the members from 100 Thieves.
It was a difficult situation that Steel found himself there as we take a look at the replays from the first half. Thank you to our friends over at GoPuff, Use code NerdStreet for a discount on your first order. It really was a tale of two quarters, so to speak, right? 100 Thieves was able to come out of the gate swinging. They had a really strong start, but TSM was able to hold in large part due to some heroics from Wardell with the operator. And, you know, we even talk about this position right here. Steel, as deep as he got, TSM has shown that they're very comfortable giving up mid control at times, knowing that they have strong presence on both A and B. So yeah, you can shimmy your way all the way up mid, but know that you're still going to be sandwiched at that point, and that's unfortunately exactly what happened to Steel there. Nonetheless, 100 Thieves came out. They earned themselves a 4-round lead at halftime, but Simo, is that enough?
I mean, it was a best-case scenario for TSM. 10-2 would have been a lot better for 100 Thieves, but I think we ultimately did not expect like a 7-5 at any point for TSM. The fact that they got to this point is relatively good for them, and already we're starting to see 100 Thieves really come out on top, going to put themselves at 4-9. As Cutler, it's all down to him. He's just trying to stay alive, and 100 Thieves are hunting him down. He's going to find one pick, maybe find a second here. He bobs and weaves out of cover. 100 Thieves win the first pistol round here. Already looking at a little bit of a different series, different map than what we saw in the open qualifier. This was the half that TSM really just ran away. 4 rounds in a row. 100 Thieves found a defuse, and then the last and final round ultimately giving us a 13-5. This time it's possible that TSM gets 13-5, as that is within the realm of possibility. Highly unlikely, but definitely a point being a different look. 100 Thieves have definitely woken up, strategized for the close qualifier, and we're seeing that hard work pay off.
And I'm loving the performance out of Steel here so far. Actually leading his team as far as frags go on the Killjoy, no less. Here we see him anchoring down that B site. Plenty of utility all over the place. TSM has some presence over by B, and the rest of it's going to be invested in mid. The alarm bot is going to be there to give away their positioning. Any idea of shenanigans that may have otherwise gone unnoticed have been fully exposed. Now it's on TSM to decide, do we continue these pursuits, or knowing that that has been tripped, do we back out?
The fact that there's a turret there allows anyone from 100 Thieves, however many members there are here, to swing and peek. And TSM want to make this an expensive round for 100 Thieves. That's why they're playing so slow and trying to really cover all the angles here. They're going to come from the mid side. They're going to come from the B main side, because the fact that they're together allows them to push in. Steel going to find one with the turret. That's a little unfortunate. But now Steel's in a lot of trouble, managing to actually take out the Nano Swarm. Now it's all up to Nitro to stop this push forward. Steel's going to eventually swing. Going to find 3 picks on the round. Just mow them all down. The ace for Steel as he protects Private Nitro in the cave. Back a site there on the B site. And now 100 Thieves are looking at double digits. TSM gun round. This is their chance at redemption.
And Timo, Steel had 13 health that entire time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he set up the utility really well. He got tagged up early on, and then out of fancy footwork, really, was able to stay alive. He was able to take care of the Nano Swarm that was dropped right at his feet and avoid any damage coming from there, and really preserve his life and just be a nuisance long enough to where TSM just kind of was like, look, we just got to go forward. They funnel on to B, and then guess what? It was him the entire time. So very well played by Steel. I was actually just singing his praises, and then he comes out with an ace. That was perfect.
Early looks at how 100 Thieves played this round. We saw some of that same aggression as I highlighted. Dicey and Asuna peeking A main together. And guess who's there? Wardell, alongside the rest of TSM. Take out Asuna. Now it's all down to Dicey. That double peek worked so well against Cloud9. Time and time again, Tens, Relics, they would all fall apart at these double peaks from 100 Thieves. The young guns really coming in. So now we have to pay attention to this A-side hit. Can the rest of 100 Thieves really stop this push? So far it's working out, as that's Dicey and Nitro. Steel in the courtyard will find Sabrosa down to the 2v1. It's all up to Cutler. He brings it down to a 1v1. Cutler versus Steel. Big brain versus other big brain. See who comes out on top. Whoa! No way! Oh my goodness, Steel. That's some good stuff.
And Cutler had 11 health there. That was going to be a difficult 1v1 no matter what. But Steel, again, continuing to perform well. He got the opening frag there, was able to take care of things in that 1v1. Now TSM is going to be on a very mixed buy, right? You've got a couple of pistols, you've got a Spectre to work with, light armor across the way. It looks like they're upgrading to a Guardian. Hazed isn't going to have any defenses other than his base health to work with. TSM, this is an important round for them to win, and that's not how they wanted to start.
Yeah, guess who's there? Dicey and Asuna. Once again, double peek. If it's not A main, it's B main. If it's not B main, it's Catwalk. If it's not Catwalk, it's the courtyard. It's a problem, and you need Wardell to deal with it. It's the only person that can deal with it. Have the op, but you have to read where 100 Thieves are going to play that double peek. And that's tough to read. You can't always call that out correctly. The fact that it's this time, it's up to Wardell. The Guardian shot to the dome. Dicey is going to sit this one out. Now a 4v4. The double peek does get nullified, and now it's all down to the rest of the 8 players.
Once again, TSM mulling over the prospect of hitting the B site. They do have Hazed on the opposite side, was kind of peeking out for some info, but now he's starting to rotate over. It looks like that's where they want to go. On the other side, 100 Thieves is going to have Steel as the first line of defense, but the rest of the members of 100 Thieves have not rotated over. Now they're starting to creep their way. They have not fully bought, however, into the possibility of this being a B hit. Steel's going to get some info.
30 seconds left.
Oh, and Wardell's going to go aggressive, and Steel gives it to him anyway. Through the flash, that's a huge pick for 100 Thieves.
Oh my goodness, now they're going to try to continue to push him off. They will eventually find him, but it's traded away by Hiko. What a play there from 100 Thieves. Drone gets taken down at 23, and that's the 100 Thieves barreling down the defender's spawn. Incredibly well played from the LA Thieves.
Match
well done. It was all Steel's heroics there. They try to flash him off, and that's exactly the play that you want. You want to clear out the B site. You found out that no one has actually got boots on the ground. You've cleared out in the mid side as well. All of the 100 Thieves members were playing towards the A site, so it was very fortunate for TSM that there was only just Steel in the vicinity. You flash him out, you get the tailwind forward. He manages to still see through the light that is on his screen. All he sees is one color. It's white, the bright light of the flashpoint from Breach, and he still finds Wardell. Very well done there. Now it's match point for 100 Thieves.
And it's going to be a hot and heavy hit out of TSM to respond. 100 Thieves very comfortable with giving up the site right now, and it looks like they're very much willing to opt into just fighting for the retake. Steel is also going to use the lockdown to push off members of TSM, Furthermore, the Hunter's Fury has been used. Nitro's taken out, but Dicey was able to take one as well. TSM are starting to drop members of 100 Thieves apart. There's only one left, and it's going to be Hiko. He's got the Hunter's Fury, but he's severely outnumbered here. Spots one, is able to take care of him, but just down to 68 health. This is a difficult situation.
Wow, what a fancy little shock dart. Wardell shoots up down from hell up to heaven. Holy Father Hiko will fall with the Wardell shots from hell. TSM stay alive. Important round for them. And they just blitz onto the A side. And I think to some capacity, some of the fast hits from TSM can be the downfall of 100 Thieves. But we also have to look at reality here. 7 rounds in a row is what TSM need to take us to overtime. And then once we get to overtime, it'll be back and forth and back and forth. 5,000 credits apiece. TSM just got to take it round by round if they even want a chance at closing out this map. 100 Thieves, they can bleed a round or 2 or 1 or 3, and they'll be sitting fine. And it starts off in favor of 100 Thieves this round with Sabrosa falling early to the knives of Dicey.
Well, and you heard Wardell use the Blade Storm at the same time. So early kill, as you said, going in favor of Dicey. 100 Thieves with map presence, with personnel advantage. Right now, and TSM are a bit scattered across the map. They haven't fully invested on anything. Wardell's going to spot one and is able to take care of Dicey from up top. What a play.
Yeah, that's going to definitely answer back with the frag onto Sabrosa. Really, it's just been Wardell and Sabrosa facing off against Dicey and Asuna, or Asuna, however you want to pronounce it. And the fact that Wardell finds an answer pick for Sabrosa falling is super important. Steal now has to face this lockdown. Fortunately for him, it actually gets destroyed. Not only that, but it didn't even cover him in the first place. Shock Dart's going to take out Hayes. Steel just trying to hold the angle with the Bulldog, but unfortunately, he's not going to let it too far off the leash. Down to the 3v2 TSM forcing 100 Thieves into a retake position.
Yeah, TSM is not
30
fully
seconds
healthy
left.
either, so this certainly isn't out of the realms of possible. The Rolling Thunder has been used drone with the 3rd kill on the round, certainly almost securing the thing for him, and yes, that's exactly what happens. Wardell swings, takes care of Hiko, the last member of 100 Thieves standing, and TSM survive yet another round. This is getting dicey, no pun intended, for 100 Thieves. But as you said, Simo, they can afford to bleed a round or two. They can afford to give up a gun round or two in order to close things off. But the thing is, when it comes to TSM, you can't give them much of an inch to work with because they'll take the whole arm.
You know, I think Steel has kind of gone a little under our radar. 20, 11, and 2. He's definitely had a performance as well that we have to identify. And it's really just been him holding down, at least for this half, the site on the B side. TSM consistently being over towards this side. So Bro's are going to find at least an early pick onto Asuna. And this combination of Asuna and Dicey, for the most part, has been dealt with quite handily by TSM. But you still have to worry, of course, about the other members of 100 Thieves. Dicey, one of those remaining members, still holding close on the 50, as 100 Thieves are down on an economic disadvantage.
Oh, that certainly doesn't help them out. Hazed, able to sneak around, take care of Steel. Dicey through the smoke, makes a stinger, deals some damage, and take care of Subrosa, so it's certainly not out of the realms of possible. Nitro, however, is just going to get overwhelmed by members of TSM as Wardell takes care of him. Hiko on the flank as well is going to have the go, certainly not the weaponry that you're looking for there. Cutler's going to get onto the site. He's going to get the spike down as well. 100 Thieves, yes, it was a pistol round for them, so you don't expect much. But this certainly looks like it's going in favor of TSM.
Dicey managed to find an upgrade after winning that battle in B main. Owl Drone is going to clear out the heaven side, and that means 100 Thieves don't have the element of surprise anymore. So poking the bear here on the A side likely is not going to work out. They're still interested in that idea, really trying to take down the economy of TSM, and cat and mouse game will be played. Well played by Hiko and Dicey. Hiko causes a ruckus, and Dicey is there for the challenge. And now as they're starting to run away, they may be looking for some upgrades. Hiko's going to find himself a Vandal, but TSM are still hunting. They're not quite happy with how that, of course, unfolded. They lost Wardell, they lost the weapon, and they want to answer back, but they cannot find the last 2 remaining members, Hiko and Dicey. So another round, TSM has brought things back 3 rounds in a row, and all that remain are just a couple more rounds for them to go. 5 is what they need. Still an uphill battle, but it's definitely a lot better than where they started. 100 Thieves, they only need one cheeky play to take down a couple of members of TSM, and they'll be in the advantage, and they'll close out this map. But for TSM, they're fighting hard every single round for that to not be a possibility.
It's refusing to go away, but now 100 Thieves is going to have full weaponry. They also have 2 ultimates to work with. The Empress and the From the Shadows. Both can be insanely devastating in their own right. But for now, nothing really cooking. It looks like TSM is just going to play this a bit slowly, looking for some information. They have established some presence up across the middle of the map. Subrosa has been spotted down to 26 health. That hurt.
TSM spread out. We're really interested, at least in the beginning, peeking towards B main. But if I had to tell you which side 100 Thieves really favored that double peek, it was always going to be that B main side. Dicey holding the op, just waiting for someone to peek. If he falls,
Steel.
Suna's ready. But Steel, we've seen this position work out kind of in a 50-50. Teams either don't check or they do. And they'll check with utility, but this time TSM not checking with utility. Nitro trying to help out with the paranoia, but Steel's like, no, I'm not ready to leave quite yet. So Bro's going to fall. The cheeky shock dart from Hiko, but Steel in a great position. Shout out to Drone. It's not going to land onto Wardell. They'll be able to take him down, and they'll answer back with the pick on the A side as well. Down to the 3v3, 100 Thieves in the retake.
TSM manages to get on there, despite attempted heroics from Steel, and are able to get the spike down as well. No ultimates to keep in mind here, as TSM has assumed their post-plant positions. 100 Thieves is going to be spreading out their resources a bit to try to apply pressure from a couple of different areas of the map. Hazed with the Nanostorm trying to bite things off to push them back, to create some space. There's the Lear. Wardell looked like he was going to try to get someone. It's actually Asuna. He's able to take care of Hayes. The 3v2 in favor of 100 Thieves as TSM continues to fall. Just one member left and not going to be around for long. Ladies and gentlemen, 100 Thieves strike first.
Yes, they do, Doug. And in a series like this against TSM, as I imagine Twitch chat is molding right now at the loss of 100 Thieves, it was a very interesting victory from 100 Thieves. They really did exactly what they had came in to do. They unlocked and untapped Asuna and Dicey, and I think while TSM were trying to deal with him in the process, Steel was incredibly difficult to deal with himself. He had so much utility that he used effectively, and of course, one of his first appearances on the Valoranting podcast, he was saying how like nobody knows how to play Valorant, nobody has no idea. Well, he definitely showed up today and proves that he knows how to play a fine game of Valorant.
Yeah, he was, we mentioned his name a couple of times, and it was the utility that he played. It was the way he played around the maps. Even that little cheeky spot outside of A that we saw him hold down there could have been devastating, and yeah, he dealt plenty of damage, but just a testament to how well he plays the maps. His positioning was always good, really, and that was one of the large contributing factors to how well 100 Thieves was able to play that map. Furthermore, take a look at, if we could, I know we can't bring it up right now, but if we could take a look at the timeline of that map, one of the big things that stand out, if you just look at that, it's how 100 Thieves were able to score rounds in bunches, right? It wasn't trade back and forth the entire way. It wasn't, oh, well, we lost the gun round, but, it was a thrifty round, whatever. When they won big, and they won frequently. So that, I think, when you think about the implications of that from a momentum perspective, 100 Thieves are here to play, and they look good right now.
Yeah, the problem is for the Thieves that we're heading over to Haven, that is TSM's turf. If TSM is ever going to have memorabilia on a map, it's going to be Haven, the map that they are the most proficient on. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw to a quick little break. When we come back, it is going to be map number 2, 100 Thieves leading the series. Can TSM come back? We're about to find out after this.
There's a magical place where halls illuminate on your return that knows just how warm you like it, and where your fairy godmother keeps things tidy while your lookout watches through the night. So sleep soundly, for this place is your home. Visit Amazon for smart home deals.
Do you gamble, Mando?
No. I'm not leaving my fate up to chance.
The Mandalorian, new season now streaming only on Disney+.
Well, that was a very interesting first map, and I think 100 Thieves really made a statement there as they pick up the big win over TSM. This is the Valorant First Strike Close Qualifiers presented by Nerd Street Gamers, and I'm your host, Bach. Doug, Simo, 100 Thieves might just be the real deal. We said it coming into the series. We weren't really sure what to expect because we just haven't seen enough of this roster. And the truth is, I want them to succeed, as I'm an on-again, off-again Hiko homie. I've been a mod in Steel's chat for a while now, ever since we casted I Buy Power Masters many moons ago. But on the same side of that coin, I'm also a TSM fan. I've covered Drone's career since it basically started. Casted Wardell at one of his first ever lands. Same with a few of the other players on the roster as well. It's hard for me to not be a fan of both teams. So in some aspects, I'm biased, but I'm biased to both sides. So this is really difficult. Like I'm thrilled to see 100 Thieves really succeed here, Doug. But at the same point in time, I want to see that really good, close game. So I'm hopeful that TSM can bring it up in map number 2.
Yeah, and I think we all expect that, really, for a number of reasons. Number one, it's TSM, right? Well, that in and of itself should mean plenty. But furthermore, as Simo mentioned, we're going on to TSM's playground. A 6-0 record on Haven in the open qualifier, a 2-0 record in the closed qualifier. They don't lose here very frequently at all. On the flip side, 100 Thieves, they don't have nearly as many reps. They're certainly good on it as well, but it's just not the same. So I don't expect this to be a 2-0. I do expect this series to continue to deliver. This is the 100 Thieves we've been waiting for. These guys are coming to form now, and this is going to match.
Yo.
Yeah, Simo, I mean, you've taken off the TSM jersey. Is that a representation of
Joshua
biased chips potentially coming out?
No, I mean, the TSM jersey was just a joke. But if you can't take a joke, I don't really know
That's what you're
how
doing.
you're surviving in the century that we live in right now. But,
So we have enough people for practice
for the
tonight? No
most part,
way we
it's
had
good
6
to see
people.
That this matchup is a little bit more evenly matched. In the open
people,
qualifier, we did not
We
see
don't?
that. That's just the
No, we
truth,
don't.
right?
Yeah,
The fact that
3.
100 Thieves have managed to level up, come back swinging.
What
really
I saw
take
in the
their loss to
GB88,
Cloud9
it said
and
there's...
their
Everyone
victory
put
against
X.
Luminati
Yeah,
on the
I
chin.
lied.
Say, okay,
Yeah, everyone I was
TSM,
kinda
a difficult
capping.
team to beat. If we can
We
do
were all
this, we send them
capping,
to the
Josh.
next close
Oh my
qualifier, and we get to
gosh.
move on.
It's a joke. It's
See,
a
Hydra,
joke.
We get to wait.
Oh.
We get to watch. That is
I'm
the
doing
most
my drills,
important thing.
yeah.
You
Oh, bro.
get to watch.
Who is
You
it?
get to
It's,
sit back,
Dusty,
wait for your
Char,
opportunity to play in the
me,
major,
Jamie,
and analyze the
and
teams that are
Cal.
still
What are we
competing,
gonna learn?
how they're going to use Sky, how that's going to
What are we
integrate into the
learning?
composition.
I don't want to learn defense.
I think we'll do
Defense
we'll
on
do
Haven
some
and Sun.
No icebox, please.
No. Oh, maybe.
Well, I don't know. I don't think Josh knows Icebox.
we'll do some defensive plays.
Never.
And then
I'm
we'll
gonna have to
play
go
a
in the middle
game.
of it again, then I'll come back.
And then we'll play a game.
That's classic Q, bro. Always leaving. shit.
Bro, it's always.
Yeah,
right on the
all
first
6
side.
also play it. We'll play a game.
It's always
Josh.
what? It's always what?
What?
What'd you say, Kuya?
I'm gonna have to go in like the middle of like everything.
On that ACS.
Oh, so we...
Dicey as well.
No,
I mean,
I'll be
17
back
and 11,
again.
no slouch there. The numbers are pretty
I'll be
even
gone for, like,
across the board
20
for
minutes.
the top couple of
Well, let's just do it
players.
when you get back.
You know,
Let's
maybe
not have a
Asuna
broken
not getting
practice.
as involved in the action there at
No
13 and
broken
14
practice,
playing
bro.
as Reyna.
Well, how long is it gonna take? You
Solid
think?
performance coming
The
in
practice?
from 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
Again, I don't
We'll
want to
probably
make it
practice
sound
for
like
30,
they're
45
massive
minutes and then play a game.
underdogs. The reality is that we just
Oh, if you
don't
start
know
now,
enough
I can
about this
finish
team.
probably.
On paper, this team is very good.
I don't
There's a
think
lot
we
of
Cal's
talent.
not here.
And it's a massive risk
Oh,
and
my-
investment coming in from 100
And if we
Thieves.
learn anything,
Wow.
Cal's got to be here, dude. He
All my
gets,
Heard the
homies hate
rumors
Cal.
surrounding
He
the
gets-
Astros
Let's play
signing,
games right
Steel
now.
signing.
he'll get tilted if he
Have to
doesn't know
assume
exactly
that
what
the
to do.
players
Oh, wait, now
like
you're watching the
Hiko and
tournament.
then even the new guys, Asuna and Dicey, are also in a
Dude, I
similar
can't believe
position as
100
well.
Thieves won the first one
This
on TSM.
roster is no
What'd I
joke.
miss?
It's a very
They
serious.
absolutely got raped.
They got
Okay.
aced. Lol.
Dude,
Oh, yeah, Steel
100
aced
Thieves
them.
just
Still
busted him up?
Just absolutely raped them. It
100
was like 12 to
Who-
4.
Wow.
Who does
Game
still
ended like
play?
13-7.
What was Wardell doing?
He was
got
carrying.
raped.
He was carrying.
Wardell died, bro.
He was.
Wardell
No, they were on
died.
the save round. They were on the
Wardell
save
died,
round.
bro.
They aced.
He top fragged, but
What? Who does Steel play?
Killjoy.
Steel is a Killjoy main.
And here we go, Haven. Here we go.
Or if TSM is going to fire back, taking
Let's see
off
the-
and enforcing
Let's
things
see these
to that
sick
third
defensive
map.
strategies
Doug,
by the
Simo,
pro
it's all
players,
yours.
man.
Thank you, good sir.
Let's see them all
indeed.
push out,
Loading
right,
into
Josh?
Haven. This is once again TSM.
I think it's going to be pretty basic, right?
Map very good
No,
on
let's
it.
watch
And
all
it's
of
going to
them
start
push
off with
out,
some action,
man.
ladies and gentlemen. If you blink, you miss it. Kills have already been traded
Yeah.
back and forth. 100
Oh,
Thieves
look,
just
he's
down to 2
pushing
members
out.
left as blood is shed
Why are they
all
pushing out?
across
They're
the
so
middle
brain
of the
dead.
map. TSM with
That
personnel
was us
advantage.
this morning.
So far, so good for TSM.
Look at this
Definitely
Nitro kid thinks he's
hungry
all cool
after
and
that
shit.
loss.
Look at
He's
this
down
dude.
to one final player,
He's a boomer
Hiko.
now.
The
Look at
best
this
part, a lot of
dude.
members from TSM
Look
are
at the top of
injured,
his
so he's gonna find
head.
the trade. Hiko himself is
Never
a little
think you're
worse
cool
for
your shit.
wear.
Alright.
Another shock dart sent through. It's not
Alright,
gonna
well,
find
that was a
its
bad
mark
round of
onto
analysts. They got
Sabrosa.
washed. So,
Sorry, rather
scratch that
Hayes,
round
as
out.
he hightails over towards the A side. The turret will find out that he's located over there. Hiko now going to start to make his way back over. Sabrosa waiting for the cross.
Liz
Team
got rolled
positioned
at
around
B
the
side.
courtyard. He's waiting for Hiko to make his way through
Hiko with
B
the
side.
classic, the
He goes
uranium
all the way back
neuroblaster.
around. So now Sabrosa's like, okay, by now you should have crossed. Now I'm going to start to get involved. And
I
he
like
finds
that
a
one. I like
fragment.
the I
Hayes
like
is gonna
the
make his
I
way
like the
all
Buzz
the way
Light
back
you're
towards
going.
the A side. Thankfully, he'll be there in time. Now it's down to the 1v1.
1v1, dude. Does
17
Hiko
HP
clutch
up against
this?
What I assume is close within that range. No shock dart here for Hiko, so he can't play for time. But Hayes has this planted in a perfect spot. Hiko thinks it's planted for long, but
Oh my
now
gosh,
the
he's
defuse comes
sticking it.
through.
Oh
There's
my gosh, he's
no
sticking
way.
it.
Hayes thought
No.
maybe
He
didn't
stuck
hear,
it.
Maybe he didn't understand. I don't know what
Pros
happened,
don't fake,
but
dude.
that's so unfortunate for Hayes. He's sitting there. He's chilling out. Was that Hayes? Yes, it was Hayes. That's rough. Pros don't fake, man.
No
They don't
way.
indeed, and that's such a difficult situation too, because at that point you're guessing. How often do we see? I know the saying "pros don't fake," but how often do we see, especially in a 1v1 like that with short time, somebody tap and then go aggressively, right? Go hunting. So for Hayes, there really was a 50-50 there. Unfortunately, he guessed incorrectly, and I can't think of an appropriate word to say on stream, but the guts, I guess that's appropriate, the guts that it took for Hiko to stick that there was huge. And then to start off with that as well, this is looking good, at least early on for 100 Thieves, but TSM once again with the personnel advantage.
3v4 gun round for 100 Thieves, but it's not really
Ooh,
working
Dicey.
out. It still can definitely make it hurt. TSM a little stuck
dude,
here on the long
Dicey, just
side, but they'll
relax,
trade,
dude. You
upgrade
have
here for
two
Pros
there.
As they make their way onto the A side. Steel going to flank from behind, but unfortunately,
Jesus,
this
Steel, you're
purchase
too
for
late,
100
dude. Now
Thieves
run out
is
with your knife
just-
out and make all the noise in the world.
TSM really just slipping away with this round, really answering back for that mistake from the round prior. A little bit of a misunderstanding, I'd imagine, but now it's just down to Steel. He's got a Spectre in tow. Can he 1v3? We're about to find out.
No.
Ooh.
No, he cannot. Hayes is able to take care of things with the Spectre of his own. We're going to knot things up at one apiece, and now you begin to ask questions around 100 Thieves' economy and what that looks like. Dicey is going to have enough to buy up, but the rest of the folks, the rest of the boys in blue, are not going to be nearly as fortunate.
They're gonna
Yusufsuna
force here?
is going to bring in a Stinger. Steel, Nitro, and Hiko with pistols across the board, and if you're TSM, this is where you reap the benefits of winning that last round. They've got guns across the board. They're going to have a severe artillery advantage here up against 100 Thieves.
Yeah, this is a big advantage here.
This is the side that TSM are most comfortable with when it particularly pertains to Haven. So far in the close qualifier, better win percentage on the attack, 67% to the defensive side on 56%. In the open qualifier, it was more favored towards the defense, but I'd imagine when you look at Haven logically, it is an attacker-sided map with a lot of sites for the defense to defend, and the rotations take forever to get from one side to the next. And for the first time from TSM, looking at the C-side hit, which is going to be pretty consistent throughout the rest of this first half, but it's all down to Nitro. He's holding down the line, but he cannot hold it down for long. Dicey now going to be looking for the players down long, not able to convert onto that frag. He's got to run, he's got a tailwind, and Drone Mo's down 3. It's all down to Hiko in a 1v4, Sheriff in tow. Not really going to be able to do a whole lot. Broza will take him down and TSM convert on that second round.
And a very important round win for TSM because it needed to go that way for them, right? We talked about the weapons early on and how much of an impact that can make. So for TSM, for them to be able to hold serve that way is really important. Now, once again, we find 100 Thieves in a situation where they don't have a ton to work with, right? Pistols all the way across the board. TSM, again, still in a position to continue to pile it on. And furthermore, I missed who it was, but somebody on TSM is going to be bringing in a Spectre, and they have 7,100 credits to work with. They're investing for the long run here. Thank you. It's Hayes.
I think we're going to have to really slow down the pace of the analysis and really see what 100 Thieves can do in that following gun round. This is obviously not going to be one that I think they're going to be able to really pack a punch, but after that second round, 100 Thieves could not really find a whole lot of success from the pushes here from TSM. We're looking at the B side execute. Smokes are starting to go down. Players are starting to fall for 100 Thieves, and they get onto this site really with relative ease. Down to 2 final players. They're likely going to be the next to fall. Spike is planting. You know, if you're 100 Thieves, you're really starting to think about that next round. We'll have to hold that thought as Dicey's going to find one at least early. Hiko will send that shock dart through, but with 4 members with Phantoms for TSM, I don't imagine it's going to be a very easy hill to overcome. It all breaks down to Hiko. He's going to get sprayed. He's going to get pre-fired. Cutler will take him down. But now, Doug, we're going to have to pay attention to this next round very closely. How are 100 Thieves, with all these credits, going to bounce back?
Yeah, and there really wasn't anything super fancy or flashy about how TSM played that. They just knew that they were stronger in that moment. They were coming in from a position of power, and they just brute force their way right up mid, right? Smokes on the cuts, just go right in, take the gunfights, and they're able to win them. As we saw, furthermore, the aggression which with TSM is willing to play there. You saw Sabrosa rotate all the way around to try to impact the fight in some way, and he didn't show up in time to get in on the action, but the outcome at that point had already been decided. You mentioned now that both teams have guns. What can 100 Thieves do? The defense, a bit more aggressive, as you see, two have already worked all their way all the way down C. This will be a good one. Drone already makes his way on site for TSM. Steel. Oh no, Steel gets sucker punched.
Yeah, he was focused on the audio cue coming from the long side. 100 Thieves had invested a lot of their resources in Nitro and Dicey towards that C long side, anticipating maybe a late round push of some kind, but TSM were interested in the A side all along. You know, we often see, especially from T1, you and I have been in that group for the majority of this tournament, you know, players like Skadoodle applying more pressure towards the sewer side than the C long side and playing retake towards the C side. 100 Thieves are anticipating C pushes round after round, and TSM are like, yeah, what about it? We're not going to hit C. We're going to condition you that the A side is where we want. And then where you statistically have the most success on Haven is attacking that C site. So 100 Thieves just read that incorrectly and TSM get the plant. But it's still a 4v5. 100 Thieves, like you said, have guns. They may be looking to pick TSM members off as they exit the site.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have time to really impact things. You've got a couple of members from 100 Thieves, Asuna and Nitro there waiting, and they're certainly going to get their chance here. Asuna's up first, able to take care of Hayes. Nitro on the crossfire as well. It's going to get pushed off as Asuna goes down, but Nitro gets the last laugh. Sabrosa taken out. TSM win the round. There are going to be a couple of ultimates to keep an eye on going into the next round. 4 on the side of 100 Thieves.
Lot to think about, but the round that they were supposed to convert did not really pan out in their favor. Another shot at redemption here. Steel, the only one going to feel left out. Might get a drop here from Nitro, depending on how they want to play the economy out. Or he may be looking to, yep, he will end up getting something, somehow, some way. See, I think that was a drop in the defender's spawn. So, another round, another attempt. TSM, once again, looking towards the A side to start, but a little bit more presence towards the C side, because ultimately that is the easier one to hit. Now they're going to use the run it back from 100 Thieves, thinking, oh yeah, well, they went A side last time, right? They're bound to do it again, right? I'm sure of it. And as you see now, they read correctly. They're saying, okay, they're not hitting the A side. We cleared it. Let's give presence towards the C side. It's really just a ring around the rosy of who can pull who off of what side first. Dicey finding that pick really opens things up, though, for 100 Thieves.
And I think for 100 Thieves, the important thing there was not seeing anything on the initial run it back did not result in them swinging everything. But what did swing is Sabrosa. He sneaks his way in through garage. He's able to get 2 big kills there.
You know, I was kind of keeping that in the peripheral vision. The fact that 100 Thieves had committed so much to the A side and then were starting to pull it back, it gave Sabrosa a lot of time since they were very passive around the center of the map. Now we're seeing the plant start to go down, or at least momentarily it will. They're waiting for that Hunter's Fury to finally finish. And now it's the 3v4 retake. Still doable for 100 Thieves, but it's going to be difficult considering TSM have managed to get themselves into perfect positions. Look at this paranoia ready from Sabrosa. If Hayes is going to fall here, he's going to be able to swing hard, and he is going to try. Well, unfortunately, he didn't swing. The paranoia does come through. He needs support there from Color down the long side. The shot's going to start to come through. The Classic's going to send him down. It's all up to Wardell alongside Cutler.
Yeah, you hear the pings coming out on where the spike is. They begin to defuse the spike, and the Hunter's Fury's there. The operator from Wardell is there as well, but Dicey actually gets the best of him. Color, however, was able to take care of Asuna. A 2v1, Dicey trying to stick it. Color's gonna have to go aggressive. Color somehow gets the shot, but Hiko trying to defuse it. He's gonna be able to get back on it and defuse the spike. That one went down to the wire.
Jeez,
but
nice
it
job,
goes
Hiko.
in favor of 100 Thieves.
So I think one thing there for Sabrosa, I highlighted that once the paranoia came through, he needed to swing. That was the most important part. Hayes was playing close to the default plant spot. Sabrosa needed to swing to find 2 picks. Instead, he throws the paranoia, stays behind the box. I think he's a little afraid to see. He doesn't know how many are on the opposite side. I don't know if Hayes may have seen it or if he called it out, however many were there. But maybe Sabrosa thought, maybe I didn't paranoia everyone and I might just be risking my life. But ultimately, it was down to Sabrosa to win that round.
It's a very patient performance, as you alluded to, obviously, with that paranoia there, not swinging. Dicey able to get an important opening pick onto Sabrosa. TSM not fully invested on a site quite yet. They certainly have strong presence over towards A, and that's exactly where Hiko's going to be sending in some utility to try to get some information. Don't know that he's going to spot anyone, but folks, that's exactly where TSM is.
At least they have a lot of presence here from 100 Thieves. They found that early pick onto Sabrosa. They find another pick onto Hayes. Dicey really keeping TSM at bay. Now the flash is going to make matters worse for Wardell. Asuna backs up. And now it's just down Cutler and Drone. Make that just Drone, as now Asuna is about to go in. He's going to use the fire to heal himself up. Finds himself in a gun duel between himself and Drone. But there's 4 players that remain for 100 Thieves. Shock darts start to come through. That's an operator shot. Now he swings. Cannot find the success onto Hiko, who mows him down with a bulldog of all things. But 100 Thieves hot on the tail of TSM.
Dang, 100 Thieves coming back now.
Yeah, very good resilience shown by 100 Thieves there to respond after losing 4 rounds in a row, especially the way that they have. It looked like TSM early on just had 100 Thieves' number. They were pulling them back and forth across the map, and 100 Thieves always felt like they were a step behind on the defensive side, but they seem to have recollected themselves. Steel with the slower start on this map, but as we saw, much like the last map, it was Dicey and Asuna who lit up the kill feed early on. We'll see if we're going to be able to continue that. The patience! Oh, the patience! Yep. He doesn't flick on the drone, he sticks it, and he gets Wardell. No bait had there.
Yeah, and they almost were able to convert on that clone as well. They were just using that
no
to clear
Wardell
things out more continuously. But now we're looking at actually TSM find what looks like to be an opposite pick, or a pick to answer that aggression towards that long side. It was a little rough to start. Dicey, like you called out, the patience, but the fact that they were able to answer really just nullifies those heroics. The plant now starting to go down. And now it's 100 Thieves in a retake. That we've seen this B site hit consistently in terms of how it is difficult for the defense to retake the site. It all boils down, I think, to start at least for Asuna, and how he's going to make his way out of the garage into the courtyard.
No, Asuna, do not start this take.
Used to create some space. Oh, Asuna's going to get a chance to get into something spicy here. The curveball comes out, but he unfortunately flashes himself. And he gets taken out. Dicey, however, is able to support.
We've done that too,
with
boys.
3 kills of his own. He still has the blade storm, but he's getting out color. He's going to be coming in from backside. Hiko takes care of him. However, and the spike is diffused. He doesn't get the final kill, but it doesn't matter. Ladies and gentlemen, we're tied up at 4.
Up.
I was paying attention. I was like, man, Cutler's really just beelining all the way around, and he had a huge opportunity there. I think if he played it a little bit more patient or communicated with Drone, who was still remaining, they might have been able to create a coordinated effort. Because I think ultimately that was the plan, right? Why would you go all the way around from C-Long, all the way to Link, all the way, you don't even go through the garage, you just go all the way around, and you try to get a different angle. 100 Thieves, correct call there in defusing the spike, but I think Drone could have been a little bit more involved in the communication there. I mean, we don't know what the comms look like. We don't know, of course, how that unfolded. But a little unfortunate for TSM there. 100 Thieves really happy about tying things up 4-4.
Yeah, especially to do so in that fashion. Once again, a defuse out of the hands.
Don't overdo it.
Thieves really right under TSM's noses, proving to cause fits for them. Early on here in this 9th round, TSM.
How did Olivia get sick?
The middle of the map.
I don't know how Olivia got sick.
They have not jumped in and planted and pulled back out. they're being a bit more methodical about this one. Drone's going to go in with the run it back. Hayes is able to take care of one as well. You hear the neural theft is going to expose absolutely everything as Drone somehow is still alive and is able to take care of Steel. TSM taking care of 100 Thieves.
Oh, Nitro!
Nitro's able to at least nullify that temporarily. It's all down to one final player. It's
Dude, if you would have got that third,
the
and it was a
ultimate
2v2.
there from Drone, really paying off in dividends, manages to find himself a couple more ult points for the run it back of future. Dicey with the op. Will he decide to save it? Will he look for a couple of exit frags? Will he look to try to get a little bit more involved here? That is the bigger question. As the spike ticks down, really tough position to be in. Wardell's on the opposite side, likely I think with an op as well. Sabrosa was really just stalled by the time of Cutler and Wardell holding in garage. Gave Sabrosa a lot of time to flank around from the B site and just pull back and find that last.
Dang, and now 100 Thieves have to save.
TSM now lead by 1. And with 3 rounds remaining in the half, can we see an 8-4? Will they start that momentum again? They run 4 in a row. I don't see why not. The fact that 100 Thieves has kept things close definitely is something to consider moving into the second half.
I want to continue to keep a close eye on Sabrosa as well. That's the second time we've seen him with a filthy flank, and the guy just gets on his high horse and he books it over to the opposite side of the map where the action is. And the first time he wasn't able to impact it as much, but he certainly did there. So we'll continue to see how Sabrosa plays things. TSM look like they mulled over the possibility of going up C long. Thought twice about it. Meanwhile,
No way, 100
have
Thieves
taken
are
a far
in the
more
window.
aggressive approach here across the middle of the map. It doesn't look like they have as far, as guns to work with, but their presence is certainly there. And if TSM, okay, they're going to leave Sabrosa back to catch the flank. Sabrosa is able to take care of Dicey, but
Expect 2.
Yeah, they don't expect 2. They don't expect 2. Oh, that first shot by Steel was so costly. Wardell just swings and is able to take care of
No,
it. Meanwhile,
Steel,
on the
no
site,
way you missed
Asuna
that, dude.
is able to take care of something, but man, it's Cutler. Cutler mowing down 100 Thieves. Just one left for the boys in blue, and that's Hiko. Severely outnumbered and outgunned. This is a difficult situation for him.
Now at least the shock darts are there. He's going to try to do some damage. It does find its mark, but it's not as impactful.
He gets a kill.
Actually manages to find Cutler with the drop down from heaven. I think Cutler, in that instance, that was the biggest opportunity for 100 Thieves to get rid of him because he was flashed up. But there was, to be fair, pandemonium on the site. Steel, if he finds that pick onto Sabrosa, that might open things up for 100 Thieves because they didn't, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, right? And the fact that the quick reactions from Wardell saving Sabrosa's life really continues that gun round for them. If 100 Thieves find it thrifty, that's not the way that you want to be finishing off this half. Now with the gun rounds back in swing here for 100 Thieves, let's see how they answer back for a couple of rounds lost.
Once again, a bit not nearly as aggressive, but some aggressive posturing from 100 Thieves across the middle of the map. Meanwhile, TSM taking all of the real estate that's being afforded to them as they work their way up C, and they're all going to be there with the exception of Cutler on the opposite side of the map. It might not matter. As soon as going to be the first line of defense, he's able to take care of Wardell. Hiko getting the information needed to spot one more, and there's the Hunter's Fury to trade it right back out. Dicey trying to play some fancy footwork to stay alive as Sabrosa takes care of him. Drone joins in on the action. 100 Thieves just down to 3.
They're still near and around the site. Steel's going to be relatively late to the party, and Sabrosa's going to be playing point to try to stop that. Nitro finds one, but there's still 2 in and around the site. Hayes quite far back, playing that long side, and unfortunately for 100 Thieves, that's where the spike is planted for. Nitro going to try to send a smoke down and give him some little bit more space to work with. Cannot convert onto Sabrosa, and now it's all down to Steel. I'd imagine he may be wanting to save the weapon or look for exit. Sabrosa is about to just pass him. An unfortunate timing for both of them, to be fair. Steel now going to focus his attention towards the garage side. Looking at that hit there from TSM, 100 Thieves, they had members in position to try to stop it. I think ultimately it does boil down to Dicey not really understanding where the action was happening. You saw how he ended up falling there. I believe he was paranoid, maybe? Blinded? But for the most part, he was just kind of lost in the smokes.
They just perfectly missed each other.
And he was trying to direct, where am I going to aim this operator? And he gave TSM a lot more space, knowing that that was out of commission. and they could safely plant on the C side.
I think the other interesting thing to note was Steel, before the round was over, Steel started to rotate over from A, and then it looked like he doubled back. There may have been a bit of miscommunication there as far as do we want to go for this or not. He eventually turned back around
Steel needs
head
to
over towards
freaking
C,
turn
but
it on
at that
right
point,
now.
It was a bit late. Nonetheless, TSM put up another one at the potential of taking an 8-4.5, but Asuna, with the run it back, is able to take care of one early on and continues the aggression, and it's being followed up here by Dicey.
Once again, TSM want to hit the C site. Hedwig is going to let Drone in. He's going to find an early pick onto Asuna on the right side. So that's going to at least say, okay, maybe there's players backside. Hiko just trying to navigate through, and guess who's on the opposite side? It's Drone. Spike's still not down. He was waiting for it. He knew somebody was still on site, and 100 Thieves, as they were trying to plan, you know, accordingly, maybe someone's still around. Dicey with a huge flank here is going to try to find a couple of these members now lurking back up. Unfortunately, caught with the Cloud Burst in his hand. It's all down to 2 final members for 100 Thieves, but it is a 2v3. Doable, but difficult. Wardell with the shot gonna find it onto Nitro, all down to Steel, and we've seen this position too many
Steel
a time.
can't
2
hit a
op shots
shot.
will seal the deal for TSM, and we finished the half 8-4.
Folks, this is why TSM is so good on Haven, and you even saw at the end of that round, it wasn't it wasn't Sub Rosa that was rotating all the way around to cause problems. It was Hayes, and fortunately for 100 Thieves, Asuna was there to fend some of it off, but it was still too much pressure from TSM, and again, for them to take that lead, 8-4.5, given some of the heroics that 100 Thieves was able to pull off, was just really impressive. TSM looked like they have completely left the last map behind them, and they are establishing themselves on Haven, proving that this is their playground. This is the map they demand presence on.
You know, I still think big picture there could have been a couple more, you know, like maybe a 9-3, a 10-2, but I'm not really going to judge. It's still a phenomenal half from them. And now that we move on to the second half, it's up to TSM to really carry that momentum forward, right? You've got the 8-4, you've got rounds that you can lose, especially with this early pistol. And starts out the favor of 100 Thieves. We'll see if that continues that way. Asuna still has to prove that he can find a couple more frags here, but he's going to back away. The entire team has been pulling towards this A site, as really Asuna has sold this C site hit, and will back away and look for contact points for any members rotating back over once this spike is planted.
Yeah, be very careful about Sub Rosa there on the flank. He may, if he goes in through the spawn, he's going to get caught up by the turret and at least give his position away. Meanwhile, Wardell was able to take care of Asuna. The spike was planted, Nonetheless, Nitro knew he was coming, but Sub Rosa gets the best of him anyway. A 3v3, the spike has been planted. Hiko waiting around the corner. He has a good idea of where one is. There it is. The Classic's going to take care of him. Number advantage to 100 Thieves.
Still not a huge numbers advantage, but Steel just sends down the Nano Swarm. Knew they were going to come in from yellow. Sabrosa was the flanking point. Fortunately for 100 Thieves, play that well, hide in hell, allow Steel to use that Nano Swarm to do some extra damage. And that's going to allow 100 Thieves to win the pistol. Now that should, at least for the most part, nullify things to a 6-8. But once we get to that gun round for TSM, we'll really see what the defensive side is made of here for TSM in the first strike close qualifier. So at the moment, 3 Bulldogs coming in, a Spectre, Dicey, likely saving up for maybe an operator of some sorts in rounds to come. But at the moment, is just going to stick with the Ghost.
Folks, once again, this series is insanely important for both of these squads. The winner punches a ticket to the first strike main event. Top 4 gets them in, and at that point, it's going to be the ever pivotal, ever important fight for seeding. And when you're talking about the best 8 teams in North America, every single spot counts. Asuna and the rest of 100 Thieves are going to get onto the A site. Drone is taken out. Wardell gets up close and personal with the shorty, looking for the second one, dashes forward, but he's going to take a good bit of damage. Somehow gets away with just a sliver of health.
Sabrosa was looking to flank all the way. Of course, Sabrosa's looking for a flank. He couldn't find it as Nitro was playing point defense towards
Spike planted.
the A lobby side. The attackers usually push in, but now the rest of TSM really have got to worry and say, are we going to look for exits? You can see a group of them starting to head towards the courtyard, or are we going to fight for this retake? I don't really think the answer is going to be quite clear until we get later into this defusal. The time is still ticking, and TSM members are spread out around the courtyard and are heading towards the choke point where the attack usually run from once the spike explodes. We do have a player playing close. It is, of course, Going to be Dicey on site. He's going to have to join the rest of his team pulling off. But he actually falls in the process, trying to escape. Sabrosa's going to find another. Down to 2 here for 100 Thieves. Yeah, we'll let you plant the spike. We'll let it explode. But we're going to make it hurt. 2 members falling to the antics of Sabrosa.
Oh, and 100 Thieves just... Oh! Okay, Wardell got taken out. And again, it's not like TSM had much artillery to work with, so they could afford to play that a bit more risky, so to speak.
Have you met the payout
While
threshold
Wardell
yet?
goes down at the end there, it ultimately
What does that mean, Kuya?
Not too much of anything. Now
The
it's going to be a
payout
gun
threshold.
round for TSM. Wardell may choose to buy up something here. You imagine he's, well, I guess he could save for an operator. On the other side, Dicey is going to bring in that operator that you were mentioning earlier.
Oh, to like get them to put it in your PayPal account? I don't know.
Play this a bit aggressively.
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh, how was he not punished? Okay, he gets taken out. Asuna looks like he just came around the corner with a curveball in tow and almost doesn't get the kill. Unfortunately for him, he does, but Drone trades it right back out.
Kuya team to add time.
I need that blade
We're
storm.
trying to get there.
Give it to me. Wanted to fight for it, but 100 Thieves pushing onto the A side. Steel's going to lead that charge. Sees a Cutler on the opposite side. Gets taken down by him. Shot through the big box on the A site. Dicey just trying to find some success with the operator. They brought this into the round. They want this to find success. And so far, considering they're down a member, down and out, it's going to be a difficult task against TSM holding strong on this A site.
They do have smokes to work with, so there are some options, but TSM does as well, and we're already seeing some of that come out. Nitro going to use some of that cover to gain a little bit more real estate across the A side of the map. No cheeky flanks coming around, at least quite yet. There we see some of the smokes from 100 Thieves try to smoke out members up in heaven. Nitro's going to be forced back. There's still plenty of presence onto the site. Dicey goes in, but Color is this in there waiting for him. Nitro's able to trade it back out, but he only has 17 health. Hiko is certainly worse for wear as well. Nitro, who's been holding things down on A short for a while. The last one standing, Sabrosa takes care of him. TSM continue to pile on the lead.
Still a relatively close match. It's a gun round we expected them to win, and they were able to really start off hot. Wardell did get taken down, but they didn't really get far onto the A site. So for TSM, they can still hold on for a couple more rounds. The economy is in a point where another round or two and it's going to break, and for 100 Thieves, it's going to break first. They just reset the loss bonus. You see Stingers coming in. They're forcing up, because if they lose this one, they'll be at 2,400. If they win this one, obviously 3,000 will come their way. But it's going to be a little bit more difficult than we anticipate. A seaside hit is what we're going to expect, and Wardell's going to be the guardian and not let them onto the site.
Oh, it looks like, oh, there is no drone. Wardell happens to swing back at probably the worst possible.
Oh my gosh, he's pinched.
Meanwhile, the trade
Great
happens.
take by 100 Thieves there. Split push on Garage, just reduced the C-Long.
To get
rubbish.
To that Harness Fury steal. Looking around the corner, yeah, that
What a round.
stinger hurts. Hayes taken out. 100 Thieves.
Wow, great C take by 100 Thieves. Textbook C take right there.
Like, think about how that unfolded. Sabrosa and Wardell are like, listen, we got to make something happen. We have no choice.
Oh, wow.
We have no choice. We got to make something happen. You know what we do? We're going to brute force our way down C-Long. We're going to read 100 Thieves stacking, a heavy stack towards C site. No. They do send a player or two there, but they wrap around from the Garage side fast and let those Stingers do the rest. And that really catches, I think, TSM off guard. So 100 Thieves going to put a round in their pocket. And considering it was, to some extent, a thrifty, 3 Stingers and 2 Phantoms, they'll find some upgrades and feel pretty good about being within 2 against TSM.
Well, and yeah, you mentioned at the beginning of the round how important this was financially for them because they were buying down to scraps. So for them to do that, for them to take out a couple of members of TSM and for them to have gun upgrades going into the next round really does bode well. And here we see some of the implications of that. Nitro didn't have a ton to work with, but his buddies did, able to buy up for him. Asuna's going to get some of the love as well, and they're going to be able to come in with plenty of guns to work with. Steel's not going to have, oh, looks like he might be bringing in the light armor. On the other side, for TSM, that play that we saw at the beginning of the round that got Wardell the Blade Storm, now we're going to see the implications of it. He's only going to be bringing in a Sheriff, but you imagine he's going to use it early on here.
Oh my gosh, no, they don't do that again.
Dicey's waiting there with an operator. Wardell gets hit in the mouth.
Honestly, the paranoia goes a little south. Sabrosa now actually teleports back towards the attacker spawn. Steel is looking for him. He's hunting, and Sabrosa will punish the investigation of the crime scene. It's all down to the 3v3. Sabros is going to be playing point, likely looking maybe for a flank. He does know that 100 Thieves did come from that side, so the flank may be a little bit more difficult to deal with. And they're going to use Hedwig to spot him out. Great presence of mind. They have to deal with Sabrosa because he's a problem. He's always a problem. And now it's all down to two final members, Drone and Cutler. They're pushing
Why would he
in.
repeat
They
that,
find
dude?
Nitro
He's got two people
down
long.
to the 2v2. Dicey's gotten up, and he's going to be holding it down long. First, the clone's dissipating. Now it's down to Cutler and Drone. They might try to defuse. They might try to at least flash them off the angle. So far, it's not working out. That's a Hunter's Fury. Hiko's like, yeah, you think I'm going to let you defuse the spike? No,
on Sova,
sir.
dude.
Dicey and Hiko combine their efforts.
Yo, how was the
deal with
exercise?
Sabrosa,
it was good. It was good.
stop
Maggie
the
got
defuse
her.
from TSM.
I didn't really get a good
Very well
exercise,
played
but Maggie
from
got good exercise.
100 Thieves continue to stand strong. TSM had an excellent start to this map. They had a big lead going into halftime, and 100 Thieves on the attacking side have
Dude, Storm,
proven
welcome
They
back.
can hang with the best of them, and yes,
It
as I
took, like,
mentioned
2
earlier, a couple members
hours.
on the
I
side
thought it
of
only
100
took, like,
Thieves aren't
1 hour.
necessarily lighting up the scoreboard.
Can't
but
wait for
fundamentally,
practice.
they're playing
Well, we
this
had
very
4.
well.
We were
Hiko
waiting
saved
for
the
you,
100 Fury
Storm.
there for
We were
that
waiting for
exact
you.
moment, was able to take care of things, but the deed is not done.
I'm
at
selling
least
today,
quite yet.
yes. Oh,
They
gosh.
still have a couple of rounds to go in order to take down TSM, and that's certainly going to help Asuna getting an opening pick there.
These aggressive looks from TSM, I'm just going to be flat out honest, aren't working. They're not working. They need to play a little bit more passive and let 100 Thieves make the mistake, because currently their aggression is causing them to make mistakes. We saw early on Cutler, he sprayed the left side of the window. Why? To allow his teammates to push into the
Asuna,
courtyard.
no.
Yes, he was waiting. The attack played passive. The attack just hung out back in spawn. We're chilling, waiting for TSM to push in.
Wow,
Look
Asuna
what
makes
that,
play
look
there.
what happens. 4v1. Cutler's the last player standing.
Dude, Kuya, well,
Patience
what
from
time
100 Thieves
will
really
neither
boded
one of
well for
those
them
things
this round, and
happen?
I think the over-aggression from TSM, they gotta think a little bit more about how they want to execute.
Yeah.
Because it can work. We've seen it work. You and I casted a
Hold
ton
on.
of complexity where they made it
Hold
work.
on 1 second.
But at the moment, 100 Thieves are finding great ways to deal with it.
Cheeky little spot there from Cutler. But it doesn't look like he's going to get much of an opportunity to put that into use, unless Nitro continues to rotate over. He might get a shot on him. Oh, yeah. Oh, furthermore, a couple of other members. Oh, yep. Didn't even get a chance. Nitro got there first. You saw 2 other members from 100 Thieves coming back that way, right into Cutler's crosshairs. But as we mentioned, no dice from Cutler. 9-9, ladies and gentlemen, as 100 Thieves have roared back after the slow start with 5, of the 6 rounds this half. They're sitting pretty right now. They've got money. They've got guns for days. They're going to have plenty of armor to boot. The thing is, TSM has plenty to work with as well, at least this round. This is a very important round for TSM. You lose this one, it's going to hurt the next round. All of a sudden,
Okay,
we're talking
Kuya,
about
what if we just change?
11-9.
What if we just change practice to like 9 or 10?
A lot of
like,
ultimates available
at night.
here for 100 Thieves as well. Asuna is going to force
that work,
the issue to
Kuya?
push up the garage side, gather a lot of space for 100 Thieves to work with. He's actually just CS surfing straight through the garage, finds a lot of space for Steel to move up. And we know Steel to be in positions like this. This is going to be an incredibly
Like what time do you go to bed today,
Look at how
Kuya?
much that's going to cover. TSM are going to want to deal with it while the rest of 100 Thieves are pushing in from the lunk side. The only person there is Hayes. He's got to survive, so they're going to try to take it down. Steel's going to protect it with his life, and Sabrosa's going to die.
So why don't we
Now
just do
Hayes
like
in
9 or
trouble.
10 when
Shot
you
Dart's
know
gonna
you won't have
find
to
him.
eat, you'll be
3v5,
free.
TSM have to retake.
Does that work?
100 Thieves still have a couple of ultimates to work with as well. They haven't expended
TSM
all of
playing
those
like
resources.
bots.
You see how aggressively as soon as is positioning, oftentimes you'll see them play off the site, but when they have 5 people to work with, they can have more of an aggressive spot. You also see Steel rotating around trying to see if he can spot anyone. Members of TSM are starting to
Kuya,
pull
I know,
back,
but Olivia wants
save
to
up
hang
what they
out.
can
And I'll be
because of the
free at 9
financial
or 10.
implications that we discussed at the beginning of the round. For TSM, if they lose this round, and it looks like that's certainly going to be the case, for them to be able to take guns into the next one is
That
of
works?
the
Okay, cool, cool,
utmost
cool, cool.
importance. That's the best case scenario for them right now.
That works for me too.
Well, C1.
I know, that's what I thought too, right, Kuya?
Sprays are going to come through. Steel's going to try to swing
That's
alongside
what I thought too.
Tuna, and he's going to be taken down. The 3v2. Only one member will fall. The Odin will fall. So I think that's quite important to say. Nitro, unfortunately, a little too close to the danger zone, he's going to fall to the spike. A little mistake there from 100 Thieves. But I have to say, the way 100 Thieves have been able to really suppress Wardell, the Wardell suppression machine really coming out here for 100 Thieves. They're able to, every time these aggressive peaks have come out from Wardell and Sabrosa, really ultimately quite a handful of times towards that C long side. And to be fair, that even that orb control towards that A long side, 100 Thieves have just been at the right place at the right time and be able to deal with it. He hasn't really had an opportunity to come online. Another operator for him this time around. This is a round that he needs to come up big for TSM.
And once again, excuse me, another aggressive peak from TSM. Down A long, you see Drone has taken up a lot of ground. He's moved his way all the way up, not knowing Steel is just on the other side of the wall. And if he swings, Wardell's going to be waiting there with an operator bullet to greet him and send him into the next round. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves not playing anything aggressive, not showing anything quite yet. The spike hasn't moved very much at all. Looks like they are starting to rotate back over towards A, but again, that's probably not where they want to go.
I like the patience here from 100 Thieves because this setup from TSM is actually very beautiful. They've got so much control on the A-long side, and they've stacked towards the C side. If 100 Thieves come in, they're just going to keep trading until it's down to the strong players from TSM, hence Wardell and Drone, and it's going to be very difficult for 100 Thieves to push. And so now they're going to execute on both sides at the same time. This smoke doesn't give a lot of information to TSM. They don't know if they've crossed. They don't know if they've come through. And now it's all up to Nitro to get back onto the site, help them out, and Wardell's like, uh-oh, I know what's going on.
Nitro dodged the op shot? No, Wardell, no. No, Wardell.
He'll find Hiko. It's a 4v4 retake for TSM.
Yeah, but they know where Drone is. The
No,
spike has gone
Wardell.
down.
No.
The operator's sitting just right in front of Dicey. He has the Phantom to work with right now, but you see members of 100 Thieves start to pull away from the site, knowing that Drone can be a problem if left unchecked. First one's going to peek. It's going to back off. Meanwhile, on the site, Color's able to take care of Nitro. Drone finally drops at the hands of Asuna. Now they can turn their attention over onto the site. So Rose is there on the flank. He's able to take care of Steel. No 100 Thieves just down to 2 members left. Hayes gets taken out as well. And oh my gosh, TSM do it. They take the site back. They defuse the spike.
Don't,
and
Storm,
Morgan
you're
and Nick
available
got
at
it
9 or
up
10
at
p.m.
apiece.
Relax.
Beautiful stuff there
Relax.
from Drone. He was playing incredible point defense towards that banana side. That's
Collapse.
ultimately what you have wanted to see from that play. Heavy presence towards the long side on A, and then stack towards the C side with all that Cypher utility. That was the call that they made. Yeah, you're giving up the B side.
Yeah,
you're comfortable with
y'all
retaking
like
it
later
anyways,
anyways.
depending on how you want to play the round. So the fact that Wardell
Baby
dies,
Josh.
it's a little
Oh my
unfortunate in the
gosh.
way that he died. Like usually, that's like we see so many clips on Twitter of him just.
Oh yeah, that
letting
means
the
I gotta
moment
raid
to the
someone.
teleport, and then he quickly flicks and takes him down. Nitro able to survive that and then takes him down, but Drone was the hero for TSM while the rest of the team broke open onto the site and retook it. Now we're tied up. An important round for both teams to establish dominance.
Guns across the board from both squads. There's the one.
No
ultimate
way
on
they
the
know
side
to
of
go
100
C
Thieves.
here.
Run it back has been used. That's going to give 100 Thieves presence onto the C site. Subrosa once again. He's going to be on the flank. Oh, he's on the flank. He's able to get one. And it's going to be traded back. The run it back from 100 from, excuse me.
No.
TSM is there, but Subrosa continues to cause problems for 100 Thieves. They're just down to 3.
Steel is trying to wrap all the way around, go through the A site to the defender spawn, but TSM commit everything.
Dude, that's what sucks when you don't do a
towards the
split through the
defense
garage.
of the C site. All
Just
of
got
the
roasted by the
utilities,
garage
roasted
guy.
with the hero blaze, not allowing that utility to benefit 100 Thieves. Now it's all down to Steel. This puts TSM 11 to 10.
Blow into the
And
mic.
now
I
think
can't believe
for
that's
100
even a
Thieves,
thing.
You're thinking, how do we want to play the rest of this map out? There's not many rounds
Storm,
left.
I got your bet.
We can fight for overtime. But if 100 Thieves 2-0 TSM here, that is an incredible statement piece for this new roster. I had highlighted they have addressed their demons against Tier 2 teams. They just needed to address their demons against Tier 1 teams.
Mine has an anti-blow
So now,
thing.
We're looking at a potential comeback victory here for TSM, but it's hard fought. 11 to 10, that is a tough battle for TSM. But the fact that they've got the round lead here
10 seconds
bodes
left.
well for them in taking us to map number 3.
Dude, why does Steel all of a sudden
Unfortunate
peek
peak.
that?
By Steel there, TSM welcomes him and dispatches him just as quickly. Guns across the board here for both of these squads, and 100 Thieves still have a couple of bucks to work with. Not a ton, but they are going to have a little bit to work with here. You see an operator.
Did that make any noise?
Shifted around to get an operator into the hands of Dicey. Wardell's still going to have his, and he's got plenty
Did that make noise?
of dough to work with as well.
Can y'all hear that?
Continue. TSM looking to extend
No?
the series to
I think it has
dispatch
some kind of
100
filter on
Thieves
it.
here on Haven and force things to the next map. And again, with the top 4
Oh, it
spot
did. It
on
did
the
make
line,
noise. Oh,
100
okay.
Thieves looking to do everything they can to keep it from getting to that point.
Definitely the case here, and we're seeing
Not as
100
loud as
Thieves.
Sins.
Yeah, I don't want to go to that C site anymore. It's not fun. TSM have a pretty good grasp on holding it down. Mom, can we go to the A site instead? Yeah, sure, little Timmy.
Mike's trying to filter it out. Just trying to
This
figure it
time,
out.
100
Whoa,
Thieves
whoa,
with an
that's not
interesting
speech.
look. I mean, TSM
Whoa,
have been
whoa.
playing strong to either side, and B site has been relatively passive.
What about
this
with
time,
this one?
Wardell, his spidey sense is tingling, telling him that there might be some action. And of course, there's also a smoke down. You don't see action towards the long side. No smokes, no nothing. They don't see action towards the C long
You'll hear
side.
that?
So they're anticipating a cheeky play. Sabros is ready for it, and now it's all down to this unfortunate spot where the spike.
Yo, Cinder, did you get yourself a battle pass, bro?
TSM start out strong.
No options anywhere across the map for 100
See ya,
Thieves.
money.
B didn't work. They managed to recover the spike and consider going garage, but they were met with a flurry of bullets from TSM to push them to match point. 100 Thieves unable to find an answer for the last 3 rounds, and it comes down to this. They're not going to have full armor across the board to work with. They are going to have guns, but things not looking good for 100 Thieves here.
You know, it started off incredibly hot, especially on this attacking side. They've got to string 2 in a row, and look at the economy. It's not in a great spot here for 100 Thieves. So TSM on the precipice of taking us to map number 3. Once again, Wardell with the aggressive peek. Drone's gonna find himself at least, or was that Wardell that found? It was oh, okay, it was Keller. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Hedwig's gonna find a couple of members up to no good in the sewers, and Wardell's still peeking. Now he's got to reposition, say, hey, I think there might be some action towards the sewer side. In the meantime, Sabros is in a position
Later, bank
to
account.
deny
Finally
the
got all
rotate,
my
the
points
fast
back you
rotate towards
took
the
from
C
me.
site. So
Why
100
is it
Thieves,
for that?
they don't have a lot of
Bets
time
be
to act
killing
because they
my
need
wallet.
to. This is, you know, a map that
Nice job, Cinder. Wait, I didn't take them from you. They were just accidentally given to you, Cinder. There's a
It's all down
difference.
to the 2v2 Nitro.
Dude, 2v2 for the
alongside
game
Compadre
here.
Hiko. I've got to decide where they want to get this spike down.
Plenty was invested over by A. It looks like there still might be more than over. Drone is going to be
Oh,
the
he
first line
got
of
him.
defense.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, he gets taken out. That's going to give 100 Thieves full license to rotate away. They're going to have the numbers advantage. I don't even know if Cutler wants, or excuse me, I don't even know if Hayes wants this at this point. He's got 17 health. He's severely outnumbered. I mean, it's not like they have much to lose as far as guns go because they have money for days, so you can risk it. But 100 Thieves should be able to get onto the site and get it down with relative ease.
Well, you also have to remember, sorry, excuse me, that there is a Hunter's Fury. Oh, that's so fortunate for Nitro. He gets out. He's going to play the link side. He's going to try to wrap around, leave things up to Hiko. Hedwig comes through. Hayes doesn't smell this or hear this, but he knows that Hiko is pushing forward. Oh,
no.
Beautiful play from Hayes. Neuralstep's going to spot out Nitro, and Nitro is behind. It's all down to Hayes. 17 HP up against the 1 HP.
Oh, Nitro clutches it out! The drone!
A beautiful play from Hayes, but Nitro has the shot. And 100 Thieves one away.
I know, but it still hurts. I'm sorry, Cinder.
Gosh, this map is going down to the wire that easily
Who
could have gone
choked?
the other way. Hayes played that so well, and again,
Hayes?
he didn't
Did
have
Hayes
very
choke?
much health at the very beginning of that.
Dude,
Going
he
into
almost
that 1v2,
clutched that. That was
He
crazy.
was at a disadvantage. For him to be able to play aggressively, knowing where Hiko was going to be, get that down to a 1v1,
Dude, look at
and
the
then
nice
really
blue
almost
suits on
win
you
it
guys.
was really impressive. 100 Thieves, however,
Give me my battle pass.
they were
Yeah, message me
underdogs
on
going into this
message
match.
me on Discord.
They were able to deal
And
TSM
I will give it
a
to you.
significant blow on map 1 and are now chasing the opportunity to get into overtime and potentially put TSM away. Folks, it looks like we're in a bit of a tactical pause. We'll get you back into the action as soon as we
Tactical
possibly can. It
pause.
looks like I'm being told that it's 100 Thieves who have called for this pause, wanting to take a moment, wanting to reset, and ensure that they have all of their proverbial ducks in a row to get us to overtime. Ooh, Simo.
Yes.
This one's big.
Yeah, well, let's talk about this round. 4 ultimates for 100 Thieves. Let's have a quick look at the replay of that last round before we dive a little bit too deeper into the round at hand. Hayes, this Cyber Cage play was beautiful. It's his own, so he can go through it without a hitch. And now it's all down to this 1v1, which unfortunately
missed all of his shots
tries
there.
to at least bait it out, but he needs to defuse. That's the problem. So Nitro, all he needs to do is hold the angle. Looking at this round, though, as it's about to begin, Wardell and Drone are going to be the biggest problem for 100 Thieves. If they can deal with them, if they can deal with Wardell's shot here, that's going to be the big benefactor. They can't.
Takes
He's
Asuna
He's
out.
gone, finds the pick onto Asuna, and now it's 100 Thieves down to 4.
Oh, the damage has been done, but it looks like 100 Thieves want to push the situation anyway. Steel, considering the lockdown. You hear the Bladestorm has been used as well. They're investing everything that they have into this thing. You hear the 100 Furies being used as well to try to clear
There's no
off
one
some
up A
space
long.
and get onto the site. Wardell is just on the outside of it as the 100 Fury, was able to take care of the lockdown. 100 Thieves are going to get onto the site. You hear the spike is going to go down. There's the other 100 Fury. This one coming out at the hands of Hiko. Dicey choosing to go a bit more aggressive here. Keep an eye on Sabrosa on your minimap as he once again is on the flank. That turret potentially going to spot him, give him away. Dicey in the smoke. Just on the other side, he's able to get one. Looking for the second and is going to have to back up.
Oh,
Gets
there's
the
some
assist.
assist.
And he gets the
Oh, he
reset.
gets the third.
Dicey,
What? The 3K? What?
Oh my goodness, Dicey.
Dicey, no. TSM. Oh, what? But TSM and what?
To the 2v2. Hiko takes us into overtime.
That was insane.
Holy
moly.
Unreal. Dicey's Bladestorm unlocked that round for 100 Thieves. And then, of course, who else but Hiko to put this thing into overtime? Let's take a look at that one more time. That was just so damn beautiful. How could we not? He gets to open.
No, change the odds, make them even.
Gets a second on to Hayes.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I gotta
Let me
get
change
out of
the
here.
odds
Oh crap! There's Sabrosa, who was on the flank the entire time, and dispatches of him as well. But TSM brought it down to the wire.
They sure did. Hiko, of course, there towards that sewer side. Now it all boils down to this. If you're unfamiliar with overtime rules, this is your new introduction to how competitive Valorant runs. Well, both teams are going to flip-flop between the defense and the offense, and they'll all have 5,000 credits to spend. Their ultimates will be reset to half, rounding up, so 4 out of 7 or 3 out of 6, depending on which agent you're playing.
Whoa,
so we're seeing
Dusty.
Dicey here opt in
PG
for the operator.
stream.
That means he's going to have no money for utility, no money for armor, nothing. He's just committing to the op. That's important to note because a lot of the TSM members are in and around that area where the op is located, but they've got to focus on this push towards the
Nitro.
B site. Wardell's going to get taken down. Nitro now backing away.
Takes down
4v5
Wardell.
in favor of 100 Thieves.
And man, he messed up Sabrosa as well. Also very
Sabrosa's
intelligent of him
lit right now.
to be firing through the paranoia the entire way down until he got to cover, ensuring that if Sabrosa were to
Oh, Dicey gets the bomb down.
Dicey getting a big pick on there.
Oh, but Drone gets one.
Is down to 3, but Drone getting in on
Oh,
the action.
Drone
Very
with the
good curveball to
2K,
even things
no.
up as TSM get on to A.
Now they're going to be forced into the retake.
It's a
here for
3v3 now,
100 Thieves. You're
dude.
gonna see
Drone
that
made a
hot
play.
hands And the Cyber Cage go down. They are not going to be walking through that. That just really confirms the safety of this spike being planted. Down to the 3v3. We do have an injured Sabrosa. But for the most part, TSM are held onto the site. We have a player
Smoke's
down
heaven,
in hell.
classic.
Drone
Oh, it's a bad
alongside
smoke.
Sabrosa playing a little bit further from the plant spot. We also have to identify it's not a default plant spot. It's in the most absolute corner of the spike. Sorry, of where it's possible to plant. But now they're starting to come through the trade. Drone with one. Now it's another one that's coming in. He's looking for the ace, starting to run away.
Oh, no.
It's TSM that'll take down 100 Thieves, and they only need one more to take us to map 3.
Oh, and Drone with a big 4K there for TSM to get us to this point.
Let me update the odds.
Very strong presence. One things, got down to the 3v3. Things look very good for 100.
No,
Thieves
Kuya,
moving
that
on
bet
to
doesn't
TSM
count.
again,
Let me
able to
update
bring
the odds.
those down to something respectable, to even grounding. And then, well, really, that was all she wrote. They were able to take care of business. Once again, on the side of 100 Thieves, they're going to be bringing in an operator. TSM not going to be responding in kind. What they are going to be doing, however, is playing very aggressively down C long, and guess who's there? With Operator, it's Dicey.
Yeah.
Dicey takes care of Wardell, and the retrade was there. However, Sabrosa gets the best of Hiko. He goes in aggressive. Nitro dispatches of him.
But I have to update the odds if TSM wins
now
a
they're gonna
round.
Try to at least push out the smoke. Hayes is playing point defense, and as soon as Backsight's gonna find one, it's traded. But the advantage is still, of course, to 100 Thieves. Paranoia's not gonna flash out the right side. Hayes wasn't playing towards that side, and now it's all up to Hayes in a 1v2, but the spike is not in possession of 100 Thieves. Dicey and Steel, and it's all up to Hayes. He's gonna play towards Logs. Dicey, sees the weapon. Now it's down to Steel. Neural theft this round means he knows exactly where Steel is located. Now they're gonna play Duck, Duck, Goose, hiding behind the cover. Steel just holding on. 40 seconds left. Hayes has to move because Steel knows exactly where he is. He's just holding the angle. Pre-fires the shot down to the 1v1. That's the camera. He's gonna bait it and swing.
Steel clutches it.
Find the shots. Steel survives with 30 HP. And ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go again.
Overtime.
And really, the onus was on Steel there because they were on the attacking side, and Drone Hayes, excuse me, Hayes.
All right,
Hayes
only
knew where
betting at the
spike
start of
was.
overtime.
Steel
There is
was
no
the one who was
betting
gonna have to mosey his way across, get onto the
after
spike, and
overtime
then try
because
to
I'm not going to
plant
be fast
it, but
enough to
he
change
couldn't-
it.
He was just locked down. There were no options for him. That was such a difficult situation, and for the 1v1 to go down
Bruh.
to the wire
What?
like that, again, just a testament to how well these two teams have played, how evenly matched they've been on this map. This thing has delivered from top to bottom.
Once again, it's the battle of C-Long. We've seen
Oh.
this time and time again, but Dicey with the crossfire. The shots are gonna land through the smoke. The wall goes up. Asuna trying to escape. Cutler will put the nail in the coffin down to the 4v4. A bloodbath here down the long side. And a lot of the members of TSM have committed to this action. They're now going to start to pull away and maybe reconsider where they want to get that spike planted.
Why don't
Well,
you
if
like
they can get
Steel,
any
Dusty?
information from Hayes elsewhere on the map that can kind of open things up and give them some more options to work with. It looks like he's considering working his way up Garage. Dicey has that angle on lockdown as you see members of 100 Thieves start to slowly but surely rotate their way back towards C. Cutler gonna try to get some info. Yeah, Wardell goes in, and oh man, Dicey rips his head off.
Yep, that's an important factor as well to consider.
Hiko
Down
is
one
the only
final
good player in the
Hayes
match.
seems to always be in these positions. The spike is, of course, to his left, as you can see there. But the rest of 100 Thieves are here. They know exactly where the spike is. A clean headshot from Hayes.
Good
That's
night,
going to be
Hayes.
2 Hayes in a 1v2 scenario. Steel starting to rotate over, but Dicey swings from behind the box. And now 100 Thieves are sitting at eliminating TSM from their tournament life.
On the rematch. Guys, the last time these two teams met,
Okay,
it
the
was
odds
not
are open.
pretty for 100 Thieves, and it was on the exact same two maps. So 100 Thieves certainly did their homework. They're playing a completely... They look like a very different roster.
Dicey
relative
is
to what
so
we saw
bad, he
last
can
time.
only
For them to
play
get things
WP.
as far as they have is, quite frankly, really damn impressive. This 100 Thieves roster continues to get better and better, but they've got, again, to cement this, to get
Dude,
this
Dicey is
big
about to
win,
drop a
the big
30
win that they've
bomb.
been trying to get over a T1 team, to demand that they belong in the top 5 conversation. If there was ever a time to do it against anyone, it would be here against TSM for a top 4 spot in the premier Valorant event. Sabrosa's able to get one, but he gets traded out. Steel works his way up, and he's met with Hayes, unfortunately, in the garage window. TSM up 1.
Yeah, they anticipated the same aggression towards that suicide. We've seen what, TSM kind of flip-flop between how they want to play the defensive side, constantly applying pressure towards C-Long or A-Long. This time they guess A-Long, and it doesn't work out. But the advantage in terms of who is still alive does favor TSM. They're going to start to rotate through, figure out how they want to get onto the site. We've seen Spider in a position like this similar. A lot of Omens actually play towards that side. And a lot of defensive teams don't anticipate the Omen playing there. They still check in nonetheless. Recon Bolt's not going to help out with that. He thinks they're coming from that side, but they're not. He's just going to reposition. The Recon Bolt's helping out. Wardell has no idea.
Nitro!
Nitro!
Nitro! No! Nitro clutched up! Oh my gosh, what a play.
Have done it! They've eliminated TSM and move on to the first strike major.
TSM is
They
done.
exercised their demons on the rematch. That was the premier
crazy.
win that they were looking for. That was the
Pretty crazy.
program defining, the roster cementing
Let's
W
go.
that they needed,
Let's
and they
go,
do so
100
in
Thieves,
2-0
let's go.
fashion. I'm so impressed by 100 Thieves. There were many times, especially on Hayes, that they could have rolled over, but Bach, we've done plenty of talking. Well, what are your thoughts? Break this thing down for us.
Well,
Who should
I mean,
we raid?
first of all,
Who should we raid? Who's online right now?
congratulations
No one's
to
online.
100 Thieves. You got to congratulate them. That was hard fought. and they
Warndell
proved
is
themselves with a
molding. He lost
massive
to a
2-0.
boomer.
You know, we talked about it coming into the series. We
that's
felt like we've
unfortunate.
been waiting to see what this team will do under pressure. That was it. They just went through that trial by fire. That was the ultimate test, and they came out on top. That's a massive win over TSM. So huge congratulations to them. And I think to a certain respect, it's kind
We
of
can
a sigh
raid
of relief.
Yams, Munchie TV, E-Boy Nick, Doppio, or Mr. Scoopies. Who do we raid? Who do we raid here? Yo, see ya, Cinder. I'm gonna get you your gift card. Pleasure doing business.
Last guy's bow house. He broke it. He's already there.
I'm holding your lane. Don't worry.
Nice.
This game.
Just, you're so much better when you have confidence. When you're not a little scared cat.
Dude, no way.
Continue.
Right?
Continue.
Yeah.
Overtime.
Do I go B here?
No.
Oh my god. Gamebreaker88 with the raid? Asian Kuya? Gamebreaker? You guys again? It's been so long. I miss you guys. I'll miss you guys. Let me drop you guys some follows.
Just like.
Because I remember you guys. I don't remember if I followed you though last time.
Here and then play like.
Yeah, lovely dogs.
They go.
It's here and here.
I know what to do.
And then have Cam like.
I'm gonna play back. I'm gonna play mid. Oh my god, those emotes are so like good. I remember I said that last time. Dude, who made your emotes? Who made your emotes? You gotta give me their Twitter, tweety addy.
Was there? Joining mid. 3 mid.
Can you come back and close door? Actually, I'm gonna close door.
I got it. Left side. Aren't you leaving me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there's 3 and 3. I didn't know.